Soon after, his body was carried back to the third prince's mansion. BRBR bang. BRBR Zhao Xuelian punched the armrest of the magic throne, his eyes were scarlet. BRBR trash, they are all trash, how dare he die. BRBR he made an agreement with Li Jingyan to exchange Chu Feng's head for the token of the Tianfu secret realm. Now that the agreement has not been completed, Li Jingyan died. BRBR who should he ask for the token that allows him to enter the Tianfu secret realm at will? BRBR as soon as Li Jingyan died, the whereabouts of the token became known. Mystery, is the opportunity he has been planning for so long about to go to waste? BRBR when he thought of this, Zhao Xuelian's anger became even more intense. BRBR the black-robed elder was so frightened that he lay on the ground and didn't even dare to breathe. BRBR Chu Feng, you deserve to die. BRBR bamboo forest on the outskirts of the city. BRBR Jiangji held a flowing light flying boat in her hand, standing in the middle of the bamboo forest. BRBR it was a palm-sized, bright blue, high-level heavenly craft flying boat, with its body engraved with fine wind control runes. BRBR I heard that you are also going to participate in the Tianfu secret realm, this is for you. Jiangji handed the flying boat in her hand to Chu Feng. This flying boat is named Shuiwei. If you encounter a strong enemy in the secret realm, you only need to inject spiritual power to activate it, and it can travel thousands of miles in an instant. The monks in the nascent soul realm will never be able to catch up. BRBR Chu Feng took the moon flying boat and raised his eyebrows slightly. BRBR I also have something to give you. BRBR immediately, he took out a token from the Neji, which was the Tianfu secret realm token found on Li Jingyan. BRBR Jiangji looked at the token and was suddenly surprised. BRBR is this the Tianfu secret realm token? BRBR she is very aware of the value of this token. With it, she can ignore the rules of the four kingdoms and enter the secret realm of Tianfu at any time and from any place. BRBR this is the treasure that countless geniuses dream of, and Chu Feng actually wants to give it to her. BRBR Chu Feng stuffed the token into her hand with a hint of joking in his tone. BRBR take it, I am waiting to enter the secret realm and hold your thigh tightly. BRBR Jiangji's cheeks turned red instantly, spreading from her cheeks to her ears. BRBR because, Chu Feng actually hugged her legs. BRBR don't be so dirty, I haven't showered yet. BRBR Chu Feng moved his whole face into her chest and took a deep breath. BRBR it doesn't matter, I like the original taste. BRBR the sea of clouds surged, and the rays of light were like practice. BRBR at the junction of the four countries, a giant teleportation array emerged. BRBR today is the day when the secret realm of Tianfu opens, and the young geniuses selected by the four countries of Dafeng, Daqi, Weigua, and Yan gathered outside the teleportation array. BRBR the dark crowd stretched for miles, flags fluttering, and the momentum was like a rainbow. BRBR the emperors of the four kingdoms came in person to see off their respective geniuses. BRBR on the high platform, the Qi Emperor Jiangyi was dressed in a bright yellow dragon robe, showing his dignity without anger. BRBR only in the position of Dafeng, the person standing was not Emperor Li Tian, but Li Che. BRBR as soon as he appeared, the audience gasped in surprise. BRBR that's the ancestor Dafeng, how come he looks so young? BRBR I heard that the ancestor Li Che was already close to his lifespan, and now he has returned to his old age. Could it be that he got some kind of fate? BRBR the world is unpredictable. I didn't expect that your majesty is seriously ill, but the ancestor has become so young. BRBR Jiangyi and the emperors of the other two countries looked at Li Che with a bit of inquiry. BRBR Chu Feng was like a drop in the ocean among all the geniuses in Dafeng. BRBR if you are not familiar with him, it will be difficult to connect him with the peerless genius who broke through the Blood River formation with one sword. BRBR he looked calmly at the teleportation array in front of him. There was a secret hidden in the token of Tianfu secret realm. BRBR the Bodhi fairy fruit deep in the secret realm is about to mature. This fruit is the most precious treasure in heaven and earth. BRBR his trip to the secret realm was to find the Bodhi fruit. BRBR on the high platform, Jiangyi raised his hand and pressed it, and the discussion in the audience suddenly stopped. BRBR the surroundings fell into dead silence, except for the sound of hunting flags blown by the wind. BRBR the opening time of the secret realm is 1 month. And the teleportation channel will not be opened again after 1 month. BRBR at that time, you must gather at the teleportation array of the secret realm before you can be teleported out. BRBR if you fail to reach the initial teleportation point within 30 days, you will be trapped in the secret realm forever until the next time the secret realm is opened. BRBR Chu Feng remained indifferent, but secretly making plans in his heart. BRBR the place where the Bodhi fairy fruit matures is a bit far from the initial transmission point. BRBR it seems that after entering the secret realm, we must leave as soon as possible. BRBR at this time a familiar voice came from behind. BRBR brother Chu, long time no see. BRBR Chu Feng turned his head slightly, and standing next to him was none other than Daqi Crown Prince Jiang Taishu. BRBR, Your Highness, do you want to fight me in the secret realm? BRBR. Jiang Taishu's face stiffened, and then he raised his hand and patted Chu Feng's shoulder in embarrassment. BRBR, Brother Chu's GR. Ace in the Confucian Temple Square is still unforgettable to me. Instead of fighting, we might as well join forces. BRBR. His palm seemed casual, but in fact, the moment it touched Chu Feng's shoulder, an undetectable black mist condensed on his fingertips and quietly penetrated into Chu Feng's body. BRBR. The wisp of black mist fell on his soul and planted a soul seed. BRBR. This divine soul species is extremely secretive and extremely difficult to detect. BRBR. Once planted, Jiang Taishu can sense Chu Feng's position anytime and anywhere, as if it were something in the palm of his hand. BRBR. After doing all this, Jiang Taishu was secretly proud, and the smile on his face became even stronger. BRBR. He knew that he could never be Chu Feng's opponent, so instead of fighting alone, it was better to fight in groups. BRBR. Chu Feng's heart moved slightly, and he noticed something strange on Jiang Taishu's palm, but he was not in a hurry to point it out. BRBR. Okay, with Prince Jiang accompanying me, the trip to the secret realm will definitely be less troublesome. BRBR. The goal has been achieved. Jiang Taishu exchanged a few words with Chu Feng, and then returned to Deqi's team. BRBR. The smile on Jiang Taishu's face instantly faded away. He took out a message jade talisman and transmitted a message simultaneously to the message jade talismans of the 300 geniuses of Deqi. BRBR. I have planted a divine soul seed in Chu Feng. After entering the secret realm, I will strangle Chu Feng at all costs. BRBR. Chu Feng's talent and strength are too heaven-defying. BRBR. If it is allowed to grow, it will definitely become a serious problem for Deqi in the future. BRBR. Today is the day of Chu Feng's death. BRBR. He had already arranged for Deqi's 300 geniuses to attack Chu Feng as soon as they entered the secret realm. BRBR. The other side. BRBR. As soon as Chu Feng separated from Jiang Taishu, a plump and delicate body walked in front of him, carrying a faint fragrance. BRBR. The person who came was Taoist Linglong, whom I hadn't seen for a long time and had a pleasant night. BRBR. She walked up to Chu Feng and warned him. BRBR. The secret realm is no different than the outside world. You must be careful in everything and don't be careless. BRBR. After saying that, Taoist Linglong took out a piece of clothing from Neji and handed it to Chu Feng. BRBR. It was a silver-white treasured garment, as thin as cicada wings. BRBR. The celestial silkworm treasure clothes is a high-level heavenly artifact, woven with 1,000-year-old celestial silkworm silk. It can at least withstand a full blow from a nascent soul realm monk. BRBR. Chu Feng took the celestial silkworm treasure clothes and immediately approached her. BRBR. Are you worried about me? BRBR. Taoist Linglong's cheeks turned slightly red, and he quickly turned away, avoiding Chu Feng's gaze. BRBR. Don't be so sentimental, I'm just afraid that you will die in the secret realm, and that girl Jifu will become a widow at a young age. BRBR. Chu Feng looked at her shy appearance, and felt a sense of warmth in his heart. BRBR. He leaned forward slightly and came close to Taoist Linglong's ear. BRBR. Don't worry, I will definitely come back alive and I will never let you become a widow. BRBR. Taoist Linglong pushed Chu Feng away fiercely and said coquettishly. BRBR. What nonsense are you talking about? BRBR. She scolded her, but her eyes showed a trace of panic, and there was a strange feeling in her heart. BRBR. The two people were so close, and they happened to be noticed by a crimson figure not far away. BRBR. That person was none other than Ling Xiangning, the ancestor of the Hehuan sect of the Wei Kingdom. She was dressed in a crimson robe and had a sinister look in her eyes. BRBR. Old Master Linglong, your direct disciple fell into my hands, and I must let you taste the pain of losing a disciple today. BRBR. She waved, and a pink figure walked forward quickly beside her. It was Qi Xintong, the saint of the Hehuan sect and her direct disciple. BRBR. Qi Xintong is dressed in pink gauze, with a graceful figure and beautiful appearance. BRBR. Master. BRBR. Ling Xiangning's eyes were fixed on Chu Feng's back, her voice was cold. BRBR. Xintong, after entering the secret realm, killed a man who was talking to Taoist Linglong. BRBR. Qi Xintong was stunned for a moment, with a trace of doubt flashing in his eyes. BRBR. Master, the disciple has no grudge against him, why do you want to kill him? BRBR. No grudge? Ling Xiaoning sneered, Linglong Taoist has a grudge against me. If you want to blame him, I blame him for not accepting Linglong Taoist as his teacher. BRBR. Although Qi Xintong feels it is inappropriate, it is difficult to violate the teacher's orders. BRBR. As a saint of the Hehuan sect, she has been taught by Ling Xiaoning since she was a child, and she simply cannot refuse. BRBR. She lowered her head slightly, hiding the hesitation in her eyes. BRBR. Disciple understands. BRBR. Ling Xiaoning nodded with satisfaction and patted her shoulder. BRBR, kill him, and I will teach you the supreme skills of the Huan sect and help you break through the realm. BRBR. Qi Xingtong did not respond, but looked at Chu Feng's back again, with a hint of helplessness in his heart. BRBR. On the high platform, Jiang Yi saw that the geniuses of the 4 countries were ready, and he immediately spoke. BRBR. Teleportation array, turn on. BRBR. As soon as the words fell, the spiritual energy around the kings of the 4 countries surged, and the spiritual energy surged out like a tide and poured into the teleportation array under the high platform. BRBR. In an instant, the space runes on the giant teleportation array lit up instantly, and a majestic force of space burst out from the teleportation array and shot straight into the sky. BRBR. Boom. BRBR. A blue light beam several feet thick soared into the sky from the teleportation array and penetrated the sea of clouds. BRBR. The top of the light pillar slowly condensed into a huge light gate. BRBR. Within the light gate, shrouded in clouds and mist, it is the entrance to the secret realm of Tianfu. BRBR. Chu Feng looked at the blue light door, his body flashed, turned into a stream of white light, and rushed into the blue light door first. BRBR. Only a faint afterimage was left, fleeting in place. BRBR. Who dares to rush into the secret realm first? BRBR. It is so fast that even the monks in the later stage of nascent soul can't catch up. BRBR. It seems to be someone from Dafeng. When did Dafeng have such a genius who defies heaven? BRBR. Jiang Taishu looked at Chu Feng's back as he rushed into the light gate, and the murderous intent in his eyes suddenly surged. BRBR. Chu Feng, you can't escape. BRBR. After saying that, he moved and took the 300 geniuses from Daki, turning into a golden torrent, followed Chu Feng, and rushed into the blue light gate. BRBR. The geniuses from the remaining 2 countries also reacted and rushed towards the light gate. His flying boat is too fast. Our flying boat can't catch up at all. If we continue to chase like this, we will only be thrown further and further away. BRBR. But Prince Jiang has an order to kill Chu Feng. If we give up here, we will definitely have no good fruits after we go back. BRBR. What are you afraid of, Jiang? The prince gave us the soul compass. No matter where Chu Feng escapes, we can lock his aura. BRBR. Yes, as long as we follow the compass, we can always catch up with him. BRBR. As Chu Feng goes deeper into the core of the secret realm, the spiritual energy becomes richer and the level of the monster becomes higher. BRBR. Occasionally, blind monsters came to attack, but Chu Feng killed them all casually. BRBR. 10 days later. BRBR. Chu Feng was driving the moon-chasing flying boat, and suddenly he seemed to notice something, and the flying boat stopped immediately. BRBR. There was a faint flash of spiritual light not far away, and Chu Feng's soul sensed the aura of the formation, as well as a powerful aura of a monster. BRBR. Looking up, Chu Feng discovered a cave. BRBR. In front of the cave entrance, a huge monster beast is lying on the ground, staring at the visitor. It is the monster beast guarding the cave, the sky-splitting Xian rhinoceros. BRBR. The sky-splitting mysterious rhinoceros is a 5th-level monster, with strength equivalent to that of a god-transforming monk. BRBR. Its body is as huge as a hill, covered with dark golden scales, and has a spiral rhino horn on its head. BRBR. A pair of bull's eyes were red, exuding a ferocious aura, and the pressure around him was a bit more terrifying than the encirclement of 300 nascent soul geniuses. BRBR. Seeing Chu Feng coming, splitting sky Xuanqi stood up suddenly and let out a deafening roar. BRBR. After roaring, the sky-splitting Xian rhino kicked the ground with all 4 hooves, and charged towards Chu Feng like a cannonball. BRBR. Chu Feng's face condensed, and a trace of fighting spirit flashed in his eyes. He advanced instead of retreating, holding the Xingxi sword at his waist with his right hand, and unsheathed the sword. BRBR. Stars fall from the sky. BRBR. A white sword light several feet long burst out. The sword light fell like a meteor and went straight towards the sky-splitting Xuanqi. BRBR. Boom. BRBR. The sword light and the rhinoceros horn collided together, and a ravine several feet deep was plowed out on the ground. BRBR. The sky-splitting Xian rhino let out a painful roar. A fine crack appeared on the rhinoceros horn on its head, and several pieces of its dark golden scales were also broken into pieces. BRBR. It obviously did not expect that the seemingly young human in front of it would have such terrifying strength. BRBR. The next moment, it opened its mouth and sprayed out a golden energy beam. BRBR. Chu Feng stepped into the void and waved the Xingxi sword in his hand again. BRBR. A series of sharp sword lights burst out one after another, and the sword lights intertwined into a huge sword net, shrouding the sky-splitting Xuanqi. BRBR. The sky-splitting Xian rhinoceros was shrouded in the sword net, rushing left and right, but still unable to break free. The scales on its body were continuously chopped into pieces by the sword light, and it was dripping with blood as it let out painful roars. BRBR. Until the sword net completely shattered its body and cut it into pieces of flesh and blood. BRBR. The huge body suddenly fell to the ground, completely lifeless. BRBR Chu Feng put away the Xingxi sword and stepped into the cave. Inside the cave, the spiritual energy was so rich that it turned into liquid, forming a series of spiritual springs on the ground. BRBR in the center of the cave, a simple stone box is placed on a stone table. BRBR Chu Feng opened the stone box and inside were 4 palm-sized formation discs, respectively engraved with the patterns of green dragon, white tiger, red bird, and Xuanwu. BRBR Chu Feng picked up the array disc and examined it carefully. BRBR These 4 formation discs are all 5th grade formation discs. If any one is activated, a 5th grade formation can be deployed, and the functions of the formations laid out by each formation disc are different. BRBR The blue dragon formation is laid out with illusion formations, the white tiger formation is laid out with killing formations, the Suzaku formation is laid out with trapping formations, and the Xuanwu formation is laid out with defensive formations. BRBR If you combine the 4 formation discs together, you can set up a 6th grade 4-elephant formation, which can trap and kill even the great masters of the void refining realm. BRBR Chu Feng felt happy and put the 4 array discs into the ring. BRBR After putting away the formation disc, Chu Feng did not delay at all, and immediately set off to continue searching for the Bodhi Fairy fruit. BRBR Every token in Tianfu secret realm contains a treasure map of the same treasure. BRBR The token he got contained the treasure map of the Bodhi Fairy fruit. BRBR Although the token has been given to Jiangji, he has already written down the contents of the treasure map. BRBR The place where the Bodhi Fairy fruit grows is located in a deep valley in the secret realm of Tianfu, Falling Demon Valley. BRBR The valley is shrouded in magic mist all year round, and the valley is filled with demon puppets left over from ancient times. BRBR The demon puppet is invulnerable and powerful. It has no intelligence and only knows how to kill. BRBR Ordinary geniuses are not even qualified to approach the deep valley. BRBR Chu Feng drove the moon-chasing flying boat and sped towards the Devil Falling Valley. BRBR It took another day before he arrived outside the Fallen Demon Valley. BRBR The entrance to the valley is shrouded in black mist and filled with evil spirits. BRBR Chu Feng put away the moon-flying boat, and a black figure flew out of the demon tower. It was Xiatian. BRBR Xiatian, open the way. BRBR Yes, master. BRBR Xiatian's figure flashed, turned into a black stream of light, and rushed into the Falling Demon Valley. BRBR As soon as he entered the deep valley, a strong demonic energy erupted. The demon puppets in the valley were instantly alarmed and walked out of the black mist one by one. BRBR These demon puppets are tall, holding giant axes, with red light flashing in their eyes, and they are rushing towards Xiatian. BRBR Coldness flashed in Xiatian's eyes, and with a wave of his hands, 2 black demon flames burst out. Wherever the demon flames passed, the demon puppets were burned to ashes. BRBR As if entering an uninhabited land, he rampaged through the valley, killing most of the demon puppets in the valley, and opened a path for Chu Feng. BRBR Chu Feng followed Xiatian and walked into the deep valley. Occasionally, demon puppets that slipped through the net rushed toward him, but they were all killed by him with a flash of sword light. BRBR The journey was smooth and we soon reached the depths of the valley. BRBR Deep in the valley, the black fog dissipated, and on an empty plain, a towering tree rose from the ground. It was the Bodhi tree. BRBR The Bodhi branches are lush and leafy, with 10 fairy fruits hanging on them, which are the Bodhi fairy fruits. BRBR It's just that the Bodhi fairy fruit is not yet ripe at the moment, and the flesh is green and red. Obviously it will take some time to fully mature. BRBR You're here early. BRBR The corners of Chu Feng's mouth twitched slightly. He didn't have much time to wait here anymore, unless he used the Tianfu token to come in after the fruit was ripe. BRBR However, the variables are too great. BRBR At this moment, Xiatian suddenly turned his head to look at Chu Feng and reminded him. BR Master, you have a weak soul mark on your body. It seems that someone planted a soul seed. The other party can sense your position through this mark. BRBR Hearing this, Chu Feng's heart moved. BRBR The image of Jiang Taishu patting him on the shoulder flashed across his mind. Although he noticed something strange at the time, he did not understand what Jiang Taishu had done. BRBR It turns out that the soul seed was planted for me. BRBR Coldness flashed in his eyes, and then a sly smile appeared in his eyes, and he suddenly had the idea of using a trick in his mind. BRBR Jiang Taishu wanted to use the divine soul seed to track him and take his life, so he would use this divine soul seed to attract Jiang Taishu and others. BRBR Not only should they be allowed to come and go, but they should also use their power to ripen the Bodhi fairy fruit. BRBR Chu Feng took out 4 4-image array discs from Neji and handed them to Xiatian. BRBR Xiatian, place these 4 formation discs in the 4 directions of the southeast, northwest and northwest of Falling Demon Valley, and set up 4 elephant killing formations. You take this map and lure all Jiang Taishu and Daki's geniuses to the Valley of Fallen Demons. BRBR After the incident is completed, I will naturally give you the real antidote and let you go. BRBR Chao Xiao took the treasure map and looked at the markings on it, and he understood instantly. BRBR Chu Feng wanted to use them to introduce the geniuses of Daki into the Falling Demon Valley and have a game of catching turtles in a jar. BRBR But he was very curious. What method does Chu Feng have to deal with those geniuses? BRBR You know, there are nearly 300 people in Dachi who want to kill Chu Feng. BRBR However, he is more concerned about the poison on his body now. BRBR Chu Feng, will you really keep your promise? BRBR Hearing this question, Chu Feng only felt a little funny. BRBR Now, the lives of these 5 people are in his hands. Either do as he said or die. BRBR Do you have a choice? BRBR Chao Xiao gritted his teeth, a trace of determination flashed in his eyes. BRBR We promise you that when the matter is completed, you will give us the antidote and let us leave. BRBR The eyes of the remaining 4 people were full of helplessness. They could only choose to believe Chu Feng, otherwise they would die. BRBR Seeing this, Chu Feng nodded with satisfaction. BRBR Don't worry, I, Chu Feng, have always been true to my word. As long as you do things well, the antidote will naturally be given to you. BRBR After that, he flashed and left first. BRBR Half an hour later, BRBR The originally quiet valley was enveloped by a monstrous murderous intent. Dozens of flying boats of various colors broke through the clouds and landed with a crash. BRBR Nearly 300 Qi Tianjiao gathered in the Falling Demon Valley one after another, and the leader was Jiang Taishu. BRBR Jiang Taishu A pair of cold eyes stared at the 5 Chao Xiao who were standing at the entrance of the valley. BRBR He got the news that Chu Feng was here, and the location matched the location they sensed. BRBR He immediately brought the people over, but he did not expect to see only the 5 people from the Tianma sect, but not Chu Feng. BRBR Where is Chu Feng? Didn't you say you had secured him? BRBR Chao Xiao was held by Jiang Taishu by the collar, his feet were off the ground, and his neck was strangled so painfully, but he did not dare to resist at all. BRBR Prince Jiang calmed down, we had already stabilized him, but who knew that this son was so thoughtful that he discovered that we were stalling for time, and took advantage of our unpreparedness, and directly drove the flying boat into the Devil's Falling Valley ahead. BRBR We tried our best to catch up, but his flying boat was too fast for us to catch up. BRBR The 5 people's acting skills were lifelike, and they all looked ashamed, as if they were really remorseful for letting Chu Feng run away by mistake. BRBR Jiang Taishu stared at Chao Xiao's eyes for a long time, and saw that his eyes were full of fear, and did not seem to be hypocritical, so he let go. BRBR A bunch of trash. I can't even look at anyone. BRBR Chao Xiao just lowered his head, with a subtle calculation flashing in his eyes. BRBR He took out the map from his arms and handed it to Jiang Taishu. BRBR Although we let Chu Feng run away, we picked up something while he was escaping. BRBR This is the treasure map that Chu Feng accidentally dropped. It is located deep in the Fallen Demon Valley. There is also a fairy tree painted on the map. It looks like the legendary Bodhi tree. BRBR Bodhi tree? Bodhi fairy fruit? BRBR Before Jiang Taishu spoke, the Qi Tianjiao behind him exploded. BRBR They all stuck their heads out and stared at the treasure map in Chao Xiao's hand. BRBR The size of the Bodhi immortal fruit. Who doesn't know the name? BRBR It is the most precious treasure in the world. It can not only refine the soul, but also help monks break through the Tao realm. BRBR For this fairy fruit, they will not hesitate to go up the mountain of swords and the sea of fire. BRBR Jiang Taishu's eyes also fell on the treasure map, and a trace of suspicion flashed in his eyes. BRBR Although he had doubts in his heart, he could not resist the temptation of the Bodhi fairy fruit. BRBR What's more, Chu Feng fled into the Falling Demon Valley. If this treasure map is true, then Chu Feng must have gone for the Bodhi immortal fruit. BRBR No wonder Chu Feng has been fleeing deep into the secret realm after entering the secret realm. It turned out to be for the Bodhi immortal fruit. BRBR Then he raised his head and looked at Chao Xiao. BRBR You don't go to Falling Demon Valley to snatch the Bodhi fruit, but you are actually willing to share the map? BRBR Chao Xiao hurriedly struck while the iron was hot, with a trace of embarrassment on his face. BRBR The demonic energy in this valley is overwhelming and full of demon puppets. The 5 of us are simply unable to go to explore the fairy fruit. BRBR Now that Chu Feng has entered the valley first, if we wait for him to take away the Bodhi fairy fruit, it will be too late for us. BRBR He only hoped to lead these people into the trap set by Chu Feng as soon as possible in exchange for his own chance of survival. BRBR Jiang Taishu looked at the treasure map and made quick calculations in his mind. BRBR The dangers of Falling Demon Valley are real, but the temptation of the Bodhi fairy fruit is even greater. BRBR What's more, he has 300 nascent souls in his hands, which is a powerful force in numbers. BRBR No matter how many demon puppets there are in the valley, they can still kill them all. BRBR. As for Chao Xiao and the other 5, when they find the Bodhi fruit, they just need to kill these 5 people. BRBR. The Deqi Tianjiao behind them have already been unable to restrain their greed, and they all stepped forward and raised their hands to Jiang Taishu. BRBR. Prince Jiang, the Bodhi fruit is right in front of you, and you must not let Chu Feng take it all. BRBR. 300 of us joined forces. Why are we afraid of the demon puppet falling into the demon valley? BRBR. Don't hesitate, go in quickly. BRBR. They have no doubt about the authenticity of this map, because even outside the valley, they can feel the rich spiritual energy in the valley. BRBR. Chao Xiao saw the greed in everyone's eyes, but he sneered in his heart. BRBR. As long as they enter the valley, I am afraid that none of these people will be able to come out alive. BRBR. Jiang Taishu pondered for a moment, then raised his hand and waved. BRBR. Follow me into the valley immediately. 1 BRBR. I will obey the prince's order. BRBR. 300 geniuses responded in unison, and their voices shook the valley. BRBR. The demonic aura of falling demon valley is overwhelming, and the black demonic aura shrouds the entire valley like a thick fog. Everything in sight is dim. BRBR. Jiang Taishu led 300 Deqitian through the rich demonic aura and entered falling demon valley. BRBR. As soon as they entered the valley entrance, everyone saw the dead bodies of countless demon puppets scattered on the ground. BRBR. The dead bodies of these demon puppets were obviously killed not long ago. BRBR. It was definitely Chu Feng who did it. As expected, he entered the valley first, broke through the demon puppets' defense line, and killed so many demon puppets. BRBR. Even if Chu Feng is powerful, with him, it is simply impossible for one person to kill all the demon puppets in falling demon valley. Yes, he must have been unable to move forward after he reached this point, and could only hide somewhere in the valley to survive. BRBR. In their opinion, no matter how strong Chu Feng is, he is still alone. BRBR. It is impossible for him to commit suicide to the depths of the valley alone. He must be in danger at this moment and has no time to take care of himself. BRBR. Jiang Taishu also looked at the dead bodies on the ground, with a trace of contempt flashing in his eyes. BRBR. Someone who overestimates his own capabilities dares to break into the Devil's Valley alone. Today he is buried here without even being able to touch the shadow of the Bodhi fairy fruit. BRBR. Along the way, demon puppets constantly rushed out of the demonic aura and rushed towards everyone. BRBR. These demon puppets are tall, with red light shining in their eyes, and they are extremely powerful. BRBR. But Qi Tianjiao has a large number of people, killing demon puppets all the way, and is invincible. BRBR. Although occasionally a few geniuses with lower cultivation levels were injured by the demon puppet, no one died, and they advanced towards the depths of the valley like a broken bamboo. BRBR. But as everyone gradually approached the depths of the valley, the demonic energy in the valley became more intense. BRBR. The number of demon puppets is also increasing, and their strength is becoming more and more powerful. From the initial golden elixir realm demon puppets, they gradually become nascent soul realm demon puppets. BRBR. There were even a few demon puppet leaders in the middle stage of nascent soul, which gradually slowed down the movement of everyone. BRBR. Chao Xiao and the other 5 followed the team, carefully killing the low-level demon puppets that rushed over. BRBR. They could clearly feel that the atmosphere deep in the valley was getting weirder. BRBR. Chu Feng must have laid a trap deep in the valley, and they would probably be implicated if they stayed any longer. BRBR. As he walked to an area with the strongest demonic aura, and the demonic fog in the sky blocked his sight, Chao Xiao winked at the other 4 people. BRBR. The 4 of them understood this and deliberately slowed down their pace, gradually becoming separated from the crowd. BRBR. Then taking advantage of the cover of the magic mist, he flashed and galloped towards the outside of the valley. BRBR. After another incense stick, everyone finally broke through the obstacles of the demon puppets and reached the deepest part of the fallen demon valley. BRBR. The demonic energy here became a little thinner, and the line of sight became clearer. BRBR. Everyone looked up and saw a towering tree rising from the ground in the open space in the center of the valley. The fruit on the tree was the Bodhi fairy fruit. BRBR. The Bodhi fruit is really the Bodhi fruit. BRBR. Finally found it, the treasure of heaven and earth is right in front of us. BRBR. Hurry up and pick the fairy fruit, I want to pick one first. BRBR. The moment they saw the Bodhi fruit, everyone turned red-eyed. BRBR. Everyone, stop. BRBR. Jiang Taishu's sharp scolding suddenly sounded, like thunder, exploding in everyone's ears. BRBR. He stood in front of the Bodhi tree and said coldly. BRBR. Looking at the color of this fairy fruit, it is clear that it is immature. The immature Bodhi fairy fruit contains extremely heavy yin and cold power. BRBR. If it is forcibly refined, it will definitely cause the yin and cold power to reverse the meridians, and the cold air will cause sudden death. BRBR. Everyone was stunned when they heard this, and stopped one after another. BRBR. They looked up at the Bodhi fairy fruit on the tree, feeling as if a basin of cold water had been poured on their hearts. BRBR, but this very fruit is right in front of us. If we wait for it to mature, how long will it take? BRBR, we only have 30 days in the secret realm, and we simply can't afford it. BRBR, what's more, the surrounding demon puppets are still gathering here. If we don't move, we will be surrounded by the demon puppets. BRBR, while everyone was talking about it, 4 light pillars suddenly shot up from the 4 directions of the valley, the southeast, and the northwest. BRBR, 4 green, white, red, and blue light pillars met over the valley, forming a huge light shield that instantly enveloped everyone. BRBR, this is a formation. Someone has set up a formation in the valley. BRBR. Jiang Taishu looked up at the light mask above his head, and a strong sense of crisis suddenly surged into his heart. BRBR, where is Chao Xiao? BRBR, everyone looked around, but Chao Xiao and the other 5 were nowhere to be seen. BRBR, they were still with me just now, but I don't know when they disappeared. BRBR fell into a trap. BRBR, at this moment, Jiang Taishu was horrified. BRBR, all of this is a trap, from Chao Xiao taking out the treasure map, to leading them into the fallen demon valley, to the immature Bodhi fairy fruit in front of them, they are all traps. BRBR, run away. BRBR. Jiang Taishu's spiritual power surged, he took out a golden sword in his hand and struck hard at the light mask above his head. BRBR, but as soon as his long sword touched the light shield, he felt a huge counterattack. BRBR, he spurted a mouthful of blood, and his whole body flew back like a kite with its string broken. BRBR, the moment Jiang Taishu was knocked away, the light shield formed by the intersection of the 4 light pillars completely closed and turned into an indestructible formation barrier, completely sealing off the entire valley. BRBR, no matter how many people attack, they can't shake it even one bit. BRBR, immediately afterwards, the ground suddenly opened up with thin cracks, and countless pink mist poured out from the cracks. BRBR, this pink mist is pervasive, following everyone's mouths and noses, and quietly penetrates into their bodies. BRBR, the eyes of everyone who inhaled the pink mist first flashed with confusion, and then quickly turned red, and their sanity was completely swallowed up. BRBR, this fairy fruit is mine, no one can try to steal it from me. BRBR, whoever dares to hit me, I will kill. BRBR, mine, all mine, give me death. BRBR, crazy roars sounded one after another, everyone had fallen into an illusion, and began to kill each other. BRBR, everyone fell into madness, killing everyone on sight, regardless of friend or foe. BRBR, the lights of swords and shadows intertwined, and heads flew around. BRBR, the former great talents of the Qi dynasty are now like wild beasts that have lost their minds, killing each other in the illusion, with corpses scattered everywhere and rivers of blood flowing. BRBR, the entire fallen demon valley has completely turned into purgatory. BRBR, this is all an illusion, stop it. BRBR. Jiang Taishu held a jade pendant in his hand. The jade pendant emitted a faint white light, blocking out the pink mist and keeping him awake. BRBR, this is his natal protective treasure, which can resist the attack of the soul and protect him from the influence of illusions. BRBR, but he could only watch the 300 Qi Tianjiao he brought killing each other in the illusion, but he could not stop them at all, because they had already gone crazy. BRBR, damn it, break it. BRBR. Jiang Taishu kept bombarding the formation barrier, but even if he attacked with blood-burning essence, the formation barrier would not move at all. BRBR, the power of the 4 elephants killing formation is far beyond what he can contend with. BRBR, at this moment, a figure suddenly appeared in his mind. BRBR. Chu Feng, I know you are here, come out. Just then, a strange scene happened. BRBR, the blood on the ground did not seep into the soil, but instead gathered together to form bloody streams, winding towards the Bodhi tree. BRBR, the bloody stream was absorbed by the Bodhi tree. With the influx of blood, the Bodhi tree turned red as blood at a speed visible to the naked eye. BRBR, every leaf is stained with rich blood color and exudes a strange red light. BRBR, the Bodhi fairy fruit on the branch has become more and more beautiful, and the green fruit body has lost some of its coldness, and has a faint crimson color. BRBR, the next moment, a figure walked into the 4 elephant killing formation. BRBR, Chu Feng's whole body was not stained with any blood, which was incompatible with the bloody mess in the formation. BRBR. Jiang Taishu raised his eyes and immediately fell into madness when he saw Chu Feng. BRBR. Chu Feng, you killed the 300 prodigies of Chu. BRBR. Chu Feng stopped and looked at Jiang Taishu across the pile of corpses. There was no trace of emotion in his tone. BRBR, so what? BRBR, aren't you afraid of being punished by God if you commit murder? BRBR. Jiang Taishu roared hysterically, as if he was a victim. BRBR. Chu Feng sneered, as if he didn't care about the lives of those people at all. BRBR. Jiang Taishu, since you have murderous intentions towards me, you must have the consciousness to be killed. BRBR. Jiang Taishu laughed in anger. He looked at the red Bodhi tree behind him, his eyes full of killing intent. "Br, Chu Feng, do you dare to fight to the death with me?" Br, he knew that he could not escape death today, so it was better to drag Chu Feng to be buried with him before he died. Br, okay. Br, Chu Feng's tone was casual, without any hesitation. Br, seeing Chu Feng agree, a trace of cruelty flashed in Jiang Taishu's eyes. Br, as the crown prince of Dachi, he still has the last trump card. Br, that is the sacred weapon. Inherited by the Daki royal family, which is enough to compete with the monks in the realm of gods. Br, he sacrificed a Guqin from the Neji. The body of the Qin was engraved with golden dragon patterns, and the strings were made of dragon tendons. It was the sacred instrument of the Daki royal family, Dragonine Qin. Br, as soon as the Dragonine Qin came out, the spiritual energy of heaven and earth surged violently in the formation, and a majestic pressure of the holy weapon filled the air. Br, Jiang Taishu put his hands on the strings, burning his own blood and plucked the strings violently. Br, Zheng, Br, a harsh piano sound suddenly sounded, like a dragon roaring and a tiger roaring, causing the entire valley to tremble slightly. Br, the sound of the piano turned into a golden sound wave and spread around. Wherever the sound wave passed, the space was violently distorted and rippled. Br, immediately afterwards, Jiang Taishu quickly plucked the strings, and a song of killing suddenly played. Br, countless golden sound waves burst out from the strings, turned into golden sound blades, and shot towards Chu Feng. Br, this blow gathered all Jiang Taishu's power, and even a monk in the early stage of the god transformation realm could not resist it. Br, blood spilled from the corner of Jiang Taishu's mouth, but his eyes were full of madness. Br, Chu Feng, accept death. Br, however, Chu Feng remained unmoved and did not even raise his eyelids. Br, just when the golden killing array was about to fall on Chu Feng, he tapped his fingertips lightly. Br, formation. Br, after the words fell, 4 huge phantoms, Qinglong, White Tiger, Suzaku, and Xuanwu, appeared from the light pillar, hovering above Chu Feng's head. Br, 4 phantoms intertwined and turned into a huge beam of light that suddenly collided with the golden killing array. Br, the terrifying airwave centered on the collision point and spread in all directions. The remaining limbs and broken arms in the array were crushed into powder by the airwave. Br, Jiang Taishu's golden sound blade disintegrated inch by inch, and the golden killing array collapsed instantly. Br, seeing this, blue veins popped up on Jiang Taishu's forehead. Br, Chu Feng, you promised to fight me to the death. Br, he thought that Chu Feng would fight him openly, but he did not expect that the other party would directly activate the formation. Br, however, Chu Feng answered calmly. Br, I just promised to fight to the death with you, but I didn't say I wouldn't use the formation. Br, to be honest, he used 9 ways to kill Jiang Taishu, and he didn't even need to do it himself. Br, in this case, why should he waste his spiritual energy with a dead man? Br, the remaining power of the 4-image beam of light did not dissipate, and it hit Jiang Taishu hard. Br, no. Br, the beam of light penetrated Jiang Taishu, and his body instantly shattered, leaving only a big head flying up. Br, there was completely no sound in the formation, leaving only more than 200 mummy corpses with a ferocious dead appearance. Br, it's still a little bit worse. Br, Chu Feng looked at the Bodhi fairy fruit and couldn't help but frown. Br, to fully mature, you need more nourishment of blood. Br, he pondered for a moment, then turned and walked out of the valley. Br, there are 5 people outside, I don't know if counting them is enough. Br, in a dense forest on the west side of the secret realm. Br, more than a dozen big monsters surrounded the 2 disciples of the Tianjian sect, led by a black wolf monster in the god transformation realm. Br, how can there be a great demon in the realm of gods in the secret realm? Br, the 2 disciples of Tianjian sect were shocked and quickly pulled out their long swords. Br, but their cultivation in the golden core are. Ilm is like a mantis trying to act as a chariot in front of these big monsters. Br, the black wolf demon slapped out its claws, smashed a disciple's sword to pieces, and tore open his chest. Blood spurted out, and the man died on the spot. Br, another disciple tried to escape, but his neck was bitten off by the leopard demon. Br, such hunting continues throughout the secret realm, and countless geniuses have died at the hands of the demon clan. Br, the secret realm of Tianfu was originally a place where humans hunted monsters and beasts, but now it has become a hunting ground for many big monsters to hunt humans. Br, in the canyon on the south side of the secret realm, Yunruashi, the saint of the Tianjian sect, was wearing a long dress that was already stained with blood. Br, the originally beautiful face was now full of exhaustion, her hair was messy, and blood was still oozing from many wounds on her body. Br, behind her, 5 nascent soul realm demons were chasing after her, led by a golden-haired lion demon. BRBR run, run faster. BRBR even if you run to the end of the world, you can't escape from our grasp. BRBR stop and have fun with us, brother. Brother, I can let you die a little more happily. BRBR the secret realm has been controlled by our demon tribe, where can you escape? BRBR Yunruashi's face turned red, but she could only grit her teeth and run away. BRBR she must deliver the news alive. Great changes have taken place in the secret realm of Tianfu. BRBR the secret realm originally had strong suppression on the demon clan, and would never allow the demon clan to break through to the middle stage of the nascent soul realm. BRBR however, all the big monsters chasing her at the moment are in the late stage of nascent soul realm. BRBR seeing that a group of big demons were about to catch up, Yunruashi could only burn her own blood essence to speed up the flying boat again. BRBR the speed of the flying boat increased several times, like a white stream of light, speeding towards the outside of the canyon. BRBR but just when she thought she could get rid of those big monsters, a chirping sound suddenly came from above her head. BRBR a golden eagle demon from the late nascent soul realm spreads its wings and flies towards him. He is extremely fast and is not weaker than Yunruashi's flying boat. BRBR outside the Devil's Falling Valley, Chao Xiao and the other 5 were huddled behind a rock, all of them looking pale. BRBR they could clearly hear the screams coming from the valley, and the sound was like a dizzying song, lingering in their ears. BRBR until the sound in the valley completely disappeared, leaving only deathly silence. The 5 of them dared to raise their heads slightly and look in the direction of the falling demon valley, with fear in their eyes. BRBR it's over, it's all over. BRBR Jiang Taishu and his 300 great Qi Tianjiao were just gone. BRBR Chu Feng was too cruel, he actually dared to kill all 300 people. BRBR Chao Xiao frowned, and his face was so gloomy that it could drip water. BRBR will Chu Feng deny his account? BRBR hearing this, a disciple showed a look of despair. BRBR only Chu Feng has the antidote for the poison on our bodies. If he refuses to give us the antidote, we can only live for 1 day at most. BRBR at this moment, a figure walked out of the fallen demon valley. BRBR Chu Feng looked at several people with a playful tone. BRBR I didn't expect you to exit the valley early. You are a bit smarter than I thought. Chao Xiao's face suddenly turned red and he could only clench his fists, but he did not dare to say another word to refute. BRBR a hint of impatience flashed in Qingzhao's eyes, and he shouted sternly. BRBR that's enough, you guys lead the way for me immediately. BRBR Chu Feng no longer looked at Chao Xiao and the other 4, turned around and walked towards the fallen demon valley. BRBR Qing Mandrel and the 9 great demons looked at each other and followed suit. BRBR Qingzhao walked at the end and glanced coldly at Chao Xiao and the others. BRBR follow you 4 and go in too. BRBR Chao Xiao and the other 4 trembled. More than 200 people from Jiang Taishu died inside. They are really worried about falling into the demonic valley. BRBR but facing the threat of Qing drill, they did not dare to resist at all, so they could only bite the bullet and walk ahead to explore the road. BRBR the demonic energy in fallen demon valley is several times stronger than outside the valley, and your throat will feel tight even if you take a breath. BRBR Chu Feng walked at the front, as if strolling in a garden. BRBR not long after, 3 tall demon puppets rushed out of the mist. These demon puppets were all of the nascent soul realm. BRBR Chu Feng turned his body slightly, a sharp sword energy condensed on his fingertips, and with a backhand wave, 3 white sword lights shot out like meteors. BRBR puff, puff, puff. BRBR 3 soft sounds sounded one after another, and the sword light penetrated directly through the demon puppet's head. BRBR the bodies of the 3 demon puppets suddenly fell to the ground, twitched for a few breaths, and then completely lost their breath. BRBR the 4 of them, Chao Xiao, became increasingly frightened and exchanged frightened looks with each other. BRBR this Chu Feng is too powerful. He will kill the demon puppets in the nascent soul realm at will. BRBR he was able to trap and kill 300 great Qi Tianjiao, but now he brings us and the demon tribe into the valley, and he must have no good intentions. BRBR he must be trying to repeat his old tricks. He must have set up a formation in the valley to trap us and these big monsters here. BRBR Chao Xiao frowned and felt a chill running down his spine. BRBR Chu Feng can even kill all the 300 nascent soul geniuses brought by Jiang Taishu. How can he be afraid of these 10 great monsters of the monster clan in front of him? BRBR this man took the initiative to lead the way, but it was just a disguise. He must have wanted to lead them into a trap that had been laid out and catch them all. BRBR the further you go deeper into the valley, the surrounding demonic energy becomes more intense, the blood stains on the ground become denser, and you can even see scattered limbs of De Qi Tianjiao. BRBR Chao Xiao knew that he would definitely be dead if he kept going. Only by betraying Chu Feng and letting the demon clan fight to the death with him could he have a chance of survival. BRBR thinking of this, a trace of determination flashed in Chao Xiu's eyes. BRBR he approached Qingzhao and deliberately lowered his voice. BRBR this Chu Feng has a vicious mind. He has arranged a powerful killing array in this valley. He used this killing array to trick and kill the 300 Qitianjiao before. BRBR don't be deceived by him. He brought us in just to lead us into the killing array. BRBR although he made a lot of noise, Chu Feng had already entered the realm of transformation, how could he not hear what he said? BRBR Qingzhao raised his hand to hold Chao Xiu's shoulder, and then looked at Chu Feng. BRBR boy, is what he said true? BRBR Chu Feng glanced sideways at Chao Xiu, as if he were looking at a dead person. BRBR, are there fluctuations in the formation? Can't you feel it? BRBR Qing Mandril's soul spread out, and the power of the soul of the god transfo. Ramation realm spread around like a tide, carefully exploring every corner of the valley. BRBR although the demonic energy was strong, it could not stop the exploration of the soul of the god transformation realm, but he probed for a long time. In addition to the rich demonic energy and the aura emitted by the Bodhi fairy fruit, he did not notice any fluctuations in the breath of the formation at all. BRBR the remaining 9 the big demons also concentrated on their investigation, and after a while, they all shook their heads at Qingzhao. BRBR Chao Xiu's heart suddenly trembled when he saw this. BRBR my lord, he must have hidden the formation. BRBR Chu Feng suddenly stopped, with a hint of sarcasm in his tone. BRBR I am all with you, how can I trap myself in it and kill him too? BRBR Qing Mandril nodded with deep understanding, and most of the vigilance in his heart disappeared in an instant. BRBR he kicked Chao Xiu on the body and said coldly, BRBR if you dare to talk nonsense again, I will cut your tongue. BRBR Chao Xiu was scolded so hard that he didn't dare to say another word. BRBR after about half a stick of incense, the demonic energy in front of him suddenly faded a bit, and a faint red light penetrated the fog and caught everyone's eyes. Curtain. BRBR then, a strong fragrance mixed with blood floated over. BRBR Chu Feng stopped and raised his hand to point forward. BRBR here we are, the Bodhi fairy fruit is in front. BRBR everyone looked up and were stunned by the sight in front of them. BRBR in the deepest open space of the valley, a towering Bodhi tree grew there. BRBR dozens of crimson Bodhi fruits hang among the branches, which are moist and plump, and the fragrance is emitted from these fairy fruits. BRBR around the Bodhi tree, there are more than 200 mummies lying in random directions. The corpse was the former Daki Tianjiao. BRBR their bodies were shriveled, their eyes were wide open, and their bodies were extremely miserable. BRBR the 4 of them were so frightened that they almost sat on the ground. BR they stared at the mummies, their lips were trembling, and they couldn't even speak. BRBR more than 200 of the Qi Tianjiao actually died here, and they died so miserably. BRBR Qing Mandril's eyes moved from the mummy to the Bodhi fairy fruit, and the tip of his nose moved slightly. BRBR, some people are using their essence and blood to ripen the Bodhi immortal fruit. BRBR the essence and blood of these people are used to nourish the Bodhi immortal tree and make the immortal fruit ripen in advance. BRBR as soon as these words came out, Chao Xiu and the 4 of them were enlightened. BRBR Chu Feng designed to trap and kill nearly 300 Qi Tianjiao in order to use their essence and blood to ripen the Bodhi fairy fruit. BRBR the blood essence and blood of these people are not enough. Chu Feng actually wants to use the demon clan demon and even the 4 of them as nourishment to let the Bodhi fairy fruit mature completely. BRBR after thinking about all this, Chao Xiu looked at Chu Feng in horror. BRBR Chu Feng had no intention of giving them the antidote from the beginning. They were just pawns used by Jiang Taishu and others to enter the valley and should be discarded after use. BRBR Qingzhao's gaze also fell on Chu Feng, and the pressure of the god transformation realm quietly spread. BRBR you set up this formation to ripen the fairy fruit, right? BRBR this is not a question, but a statement. BRBR the 9 great demons also reacted instantly, bursting out the pressure of the nascent soul realm and surrounding Chu Feng. BRBR Chu Feng didn't show the slightest hint of panic on his face, and instead clapped to Qing Mandril. BRBR, congratulations, you got the answer right. BRBR Qing Mandril shook his head. He did not think that Chu Feng had the ability to pull out any waves from their NDS. BRBR in the face of absolute power, any trick is in vain. BRBR boy, you are quite courageous. BRBR Qing Mandril showed its mouth full of sharp fangs, with a trace of killing intent in its tone. BRBR I would like to see what other methods you have. BRBR Chao Xiu and the other 4 were so frightened that they crawled and hid behind the rocks nearby. They looked at the surrounded Chu Feng from a distance, their eyes filled with gloating. BRBR this battle is not something they can participate in at all. The harder Chu Feng and the demon clan fight, the better. It is best for both sides to lose, so that they can have a chance of survival. BRBR Chu Feng was in the center of the pressure of the transformation god realm, with a trace of amusement flashing in his eyes, as if he was looking at a clown. BRBR seeing Chu Feng's appearance, Qing Mandrel became even more angry. BRBR, tear him apart. BRBR as soon as the words fell, the 9 great demons roared at the same time and rushed towards Chu Feng. Their magic weapons went straight to Chu Feng's vitals. BRBR just when the attacks of the 9 great demons were about to touch Chu Feng's body, a surge of demonic energy suddenly fell from the sky above the valley. BRBR it poured down like a black waterfall, covering the entire valley in an instant. BRBR boom, BRBR the moment the demonic energy fell to the ground, the entire valley shook violently, and huge ravines opened on the ground. BRBR Qing Mandrel's pressure from the god transformation realm was instantly crushed without a trace in front of this demonic energy. BRBR the attacks of the 9 great demons were blocked by the demonic energy, and they were all shaken and flew backwards, almost losing their magic weapons. BRBR a tall figure slowly condensed from the demonic energy, it was Xie Tian. BRBR this is, BRBR a wolf demon propped up his body, his lips were trembling, and he couldn't even speak. BRBR Chao Xiao and the other 2 were hiding behind the rocks. They had been frightened out of their wits by the overwhelming demonic energy, and they collapsed on the ground. BRBR demon, BRBR Qing Mandrel's pupils shrank suddenly, and his heart couldn't help but thump. BRBR extraterritorial evil demon. BRBR he suddenly turned his head to look at Chu Feng, his voice trembling. BRBR you actually colluded with the extraterritorial evil demon. BRBR even a fool can understand that this terrifying extraterritorial evil demon is basically in league with Chu Feng. BRBR no wonder Chu Feng is so confident and willing to lead the way into the valley. BRBR this is not leading them, this is clearly choosing a tomb for them, hoping to kill the demon quietly in this valley. BRBR they are not afraid of Chu Feng. Even if Chu Feng is ruthless, he is just a god-forming cultivator. BRBR but the evil spirits outside the territory are different. The terror of the ancient evil spirits has long been engraved in the bones of the demon clan. BRBR Chu Feng looked at the frightened expressions of the demons and clapped his hands again. BRBR, congratulations, you got the answer right again. I understand. BRBR Xie Tian didn't say much, turned into a black energy, and penetrated into the heavenly demon tower in Chu Feng's hand. BRBR Chu Feng put away the 4-symbol formation disc and walked out of the valley, and then a familiar voice came. BRBR Chu Feng. BRBR hearing this familiar voice, Chu Feng raised his eyes and saw that the person coming was none other than Jiangji. BRBR the moment Jiangji saw Chu Feng, her beautiful eyes lit up. BRBR she still held the token of Tianfu's secret realm in her hand. It was with this token that she found this place by following the map. BRBR looking at her slightly tired look, Chu Feng felt a little distressed in his heart. BRBR when he handed the token to Jiangji, it was equivalent to giving her the treasure map of the Bodhi fairy fruit, and he also designated this place as the meeting point for the 2 of them. BRBR but I didn't expect that such changes would happen in the secret realm. BRBR thinking of this, Chu Feng brushed the broken hair on her forehead with his fingertips and tucked the messy hair behind her ears. BRBR I didn't expect you to come so quickly. BRBR he raised his hand to take off the ring and put it on Jiangji's ring finger. BRBR then the fingertips lightly tap on the ring, placing a restriction. BRBR this is a gift for you. BRBR Jiangji looked down at the ring on her ring finger, her eyes filled with joy. BRBR what's in this, and why is there a ban? BRBR Chu Feng held her hand, looking mysterious. BRBR don't worry, open it again after leaving the secret realm. There will be no surprises now. BRBR ever since he knew that there was a Mahayana demon emperor in the secret realm, he had no intention of leaving alone. BRBR since he was the one who let Jiangji enter the secret realm, he will not ask for the token that can leave the secret realm at any time. BRBR with the demon tower here, he was only 10% sure of killing the demon emperor. BRBR so before that, he prepared for the worst, stored all the treasures in the Neji, and gave them to Jiangji. BRBR the most important thing is Xingxi sword and Shankuan Zijing furnace. Xian and Pei Yuhan do not need to accompany him to stay on the adventure. BRBR even if he holds 2 holy weapons, he will never be a match for the demon emperor. BRBR Jiangji didn't know what Chu Feng was thinking, she just thought it contained some interesting things. BRBR after all, the man in front of her can always come up with new tricks to play with her. BRBR then I'll listen to you and wait until we leave the secret realm to see again. BRBR then, her expression became solemn and she raised her eyes to look in the direction outside the valley. BRBR I saw a lot of monsters on the way here, and even big monsters in the god transformation realm. There seems to be something wrong with this Tianfu secret realm. BRBR Chu Feng's heart moved, and Jiangji also discovered something strange about the monsters. BRBR however, he still pretended to be shocked on the surface. BRBR I just killed 10 big demons of the demon clan in the valley. It seems that there is indeed something strange about the demon clan. BRBR he deliberately pretended to be ignorant and did not want Jiangji to worry too much. After all, the demon emperor of the great perfection in the Mahayana period is not something Jiangji can compete with now. BRBR once Jiangji knows the existence of the demon emperor, she will definitely choose to stay. BRBR Jiangji's expression became more solemn. BRBR since there is something strange happening in the demon clan, it is too dangerous for you to be alone. Before leaving the secret realm, I should be by your side to protect you. BRBR Chu Feng has not yet thought of a reason to lure Jiangji out of the secret realm, so he can only nod in agreement for the time being. BRBR then I have to hold your tea. GH tightly. BRBR the two of them were walking in the air, and suddenly their attention was attracted by a figure in front of them. BRBR that person was Qi Xintong, the saint of the Hehuan sect. She held an animal skin map in her hand and looked up at the surrounding mountains from time to time, as if she was looking for something. BRBR Chu Feng and Jiangji looked at each other. They quietly hid their figures and followed Qi Xintong, wanting to see what she was looking for. BRBR Qi Xintong was unaware of the two people behind him. He just followed the markings on the map and walked around the continuous mountains for about an hour before finally stopping in front of a steep mountain wall. BRBR Qi Xintong looked at the mountain wall, a flash of ecstasy flashed in her eyes. She looked around to make sure no one was there before she took out a palm-sized red formation disc from the ring. BRBR Qi Xintong raised his hand and threw the formation disc into the air. He silently recited the formula to break the formation. A wisp of spiritual energy condensed on his fingertips and was injected into the formation disc. BRBR the red array instantly burst out with bright red light, turning into a red light curtain that enveloped the entire mountain wall. BRBR boom, BRBR with a loud noise, the entire mountain shook violently, and gravel rolled down the mountain wall. BRBR a cave entrance about 10 feet wide was exposed on the mountain wall, and a rich colorful glow spewed out from the cave entrance. BRBR Qi Xintong looked at the scene in front of him and couldn't help shouting excitedly. BRBR this is the legendary Gu Taoist's cave, found it. BRBR when they heard the three words Gu Taoist, both Jiangji and Chu Feng were shocked, and even their breathing stopped for a moment. BRBR Gu Taoist. BRBR that was a legendary figure who was famous 1,000 years ago. As his name suggests, Taoist Gu is the best at refining Gu. BRB. It is said that Taoist Gu has refined countless Gu in his life, and the strongest one is his natal Gu golden silkworm Gu. BRBR this golden silkworm Gu looks like a silkworm baby, but it has the power to reach the heavens and the earth. The most unnatural thing is its natal magical power to bring the dead back to life. BRBR no matter how injured you are, even if your soul is completely destroyed, as long as the golden silkworm Gu is still there, it can bring the owner back to life. This kind of magical power is unparalleled. BRBR unexpectedly, his cave was hidden in the mountain range of the Tianfu secret realm, and Qi Xintong actually found it. BRBR Chu Feng and Jiangji looked at each other and saw the same thought in each other's eyes, cut off the who. BRBR Qi Xintong couldn't grasp such an incredible opportunity. BRBR while Qi Xintong was excited, Jiangji had already led Chu Feng into the cave. BRBR with her cultivation in the integration stage, she could avoid being discovered by Qi Xintong. BRBR Qi Xintong felt a blur in front of his eyes, as if something flashed across his face. BRBR she was still immersed in the excitement of finding the cave, and she did not realize that someone had already entered the cave she was looking for. BRBR not long after entering the cave, Chu Feng used the phantom formation in the 4-elephant formation disc. BRBR the entrance to the cave is still glowing with glow, but in fact it has been shrouded in phantom formations. BRBR without a way to break the formation, Qi Xintong could only spin around in the illusory formation. BRBR the passage in the cave winds downwards, deep into the earth's veins. BRBR after the two of them walked for half an hour, the front suddenly opened up, and a huge cave appeared in front of them. BRBR countless rare elixirs grow in the cave. Those 8th grade elixirs that are rarely seen in the outside world are everywhere here like weeds. BRBR. In the deepest part of the cave, there is a crystal white elixir growing, which is the legendary Lingyu Immortal Ji. BRBR on the Lingyu Immortal Ji, there was a palm-sized silkworm baby lying on it. BRBR the chubby body rose and fell slightly, as if he was sleeping soundly. BRBR but the moment Chu Feng and Jiangji saw the silkworm baby, they were both shocked. BRBR the two of them held their breath in unison, for fear of disturbing the silkworm baby. BRBR this is not an ordinary silkworm baby, this is the Taoist Gu's natal Gu, the golden silkworm Gu. BRBR Chu Feng quickly came to his senses and quietly sent a message to Jiangji. BRBR, you attract its attention, and I'll attack in a sneak attack. BRBR, she nodded, and then held out a cyan soul-binding rope. BRBR, the spirit-binding rope is made from 1,000-year-old spirit vines and is designed to defeat all kinds of poisonous insects and monsters. BRBR Jiangji flicked the spirit-binding rope, and the spirit-binding rope turned into a stream of cyan light and wrapped around the golden silkworm Gu, trying to tie it up while it was sleeping. BRBR, but just when the soul-binding rope was about to touch the golden silkworm Gu, the naive golden silkworm Gu suddenly opened its eyes, and its pair of small golden eyes still looked half asleep. BRBR, its body shrank slightly, and instantly turned into a golden stream of light, jumping from the petals of the Lingyu immortal Ji, easily avoiding the entanglement of the soul-binding rope. BRBR, the golden silkworm Gu was suspended in the void, its small body swaying slightly, and it made a squeak sound at Jiangji, as if it was provoking. BRBR, a trace of surprise flashed in Jiangji's eyes. She didn't expect the golden silkworm Gu to react so quickly. BRBR, she raised her hand and waved it, and several green oars burst out from her palm and shot towards the golden silkworm Gu. BRBR, a trace of disdain flashed in the gold eyes of golden silkworm Gu. Its body shuttled flexibly through the void, avoiding all spiritual lights. BRBR, just as it was twisting its body towards Jiangji, the heaven alchemy diagram suddenly unfolded over the cave. BRBR buzz, BRBR, as the devouring power of the heaven refining diagram exploded, the golden silkworm Gu was immediately drawn into the whirlpool, and no matter how hard it struggled, it could not escape. BRBR, at the same time, Chu Feng immediately activated the beast control spirit technique. BRBR, a series of spiritual techniques burst out from Chu Feng's fingertips and merged into the golden silkworm Gu's body. BRBR golden silkworm Gu felt the integration of the spiritual art, and struggled crazily to force the spiritual art patterns out of the body. BRBR, but Chu Feng's beast-controlling spirit technique is like a gangrene attached to the bone. Once integrated, it cannot be shaken off. BRBR Chu Feng's soul quietly penetrated into the golden silkworm Gu's body. The golden silkworm Gu's resistance became weaker and weaker, and the anger in its eyes gradually dissipated. BRBR, the next moment, it flew directly into Chu Feng's palm, and its small head gently rubbed against Chu Feng's fingertips. BRBR, it has recognized its master. BRBR Jiangji immediately came up to him, with a curious look on his face. BRBR, I didn't expect that the beast-controlling spirit art could also tame the golden silkworm Gu. BRBR, as soon as he finished speaking, the golden silkworm Gu turned into a stream of light and rushed straight into Chu Feng's heart. BRBR, a warm current spread from the heart to the limbs and bones, and Chu Feng's soul was completely connected with the golden silkworm Gu's soul. BRBR, countless information instantly poured into his mind, all about the secrets of the golden silkworm Gu. BRBR, the golden silkworm Gu can not only bring the dead back to life, but can also swallow all Gu insects and toxins, reaching the master's body. Physical body. BRBR, feeling the power of the golden silkworm Gu, Chu Feng suddenly felt happy. BRBR, with the golden silkworm Gu as his trump card, his confidence in dealing with the demon emperor increased to 30%. BRBR, but if he wanted to truly kill the demon emperor, the golden silkworm Gu alone was not enough. He also needed to meet the Rakshasa queen on the second floor of the demon tower. BRBR, I'm going to refine the Ling Jade immortal Ji here. Look at Qi Xintong and don't let her break the illusion formation and come in. BRBR Jiangji nodded. BRBR, don't worry, I will definitely not let her step into the cave. BRBR, until Jiangji's figure disappeared from sight, Chu Feng took out the heavenly demon tower, and his figure disappeared in an instant. BRBR, the next moment, he appeared in the demon tower. BRBR Xiatian. BRBR Xiatian actually looked at an Xian on the second floor with a fearful look on his face, and then said tentatively. BRBR Master, can I not go up? BRBR, how scary is she to scare you like this? BRBR in the end, Chu Feng walked up to the second floor alone. BRBR, when he stepped onto the second floor, he saw the legendary Rakshasa queen, and his footsteps instantly froze in place. Chu Feng looked at Xiatian who was kneeling on the ground, but said no more. BRBR the next moment, his figure reappeared in the cave. BRBR at this moment, a crack appeared in the space, and Jiangji's figure instantly appeared in front of Chu Feng. BRBR, she was standing by the illusion formation when she suddenly felt a powerful and heart-stopping demonic energy erupting from the depths of the cave. BRBR, the demonic aura made her unable to think too much, tearing apart the space and heading straight into the depths of the cave. BRBR, but when she saw that Chu Feng was the only one in the passage, most of the demonic energy around her had already dissipated, and her tense nerves instantly relaxed. BRBR, I seem to have felt an extremely powerful demonic energy just now. Did something happen? BRBR Chu Feng handed the heavenly demon tower to Jiangji with a serious expression. BRBR, this is the ancient tower I just discovered accidentally, called the Heavenly Demon Tower. The tower contains extremely powerful demonic energy, and there are also foreign demons sealed in the tower. The demonic energy just escaped from this tower. BRBR, this tower is too dangerous, you should take it out immediately. Go and find a secret place to seal it. BRBR, we must not let the demonic energy in the tower explode in the Tianfu secret realm, otherwise the consequences will be disastrous, and the geniuses in the entire secret realm will suffer. BRBR, Jiangji raised her hand to take over the Tianma tower, and could faintly feel the demonic energy surging in the tower. BRBR, her brows wrinkled slightly, and a trace of doubt flashed in her eyes. BRBR, the outbreak of the Heavenly Demon Tower in the secret realm is already so dangerous. If it is taken out of the secret realm and is not suppressed by the secret realm, wouldn't the demonic energy in the tower become even more raging and the consequences even more disastrous? BRBR, but this doubt only flashed head through her heart and was suppressed by her complete trust in Chu Feng. BRBR, she knew that Chu Feng was by no means a reckless person, and there must be a reason for this arrangement. BRBR, what will you do if I leave? BRBR, Chu Feng smiled, pretending to be relaxed, and then pointed to the remaining ring on his finger. BRBR, don't worry, with the Xingxi sword and the purple gold furnace of the universe, no one in this secret realm can do anything to me. BRBR, hearing this, Jiangji nodded immediately. BRBR, the weapon spirits of the two holy weapons have already reached the great perfection of refining the void, and are only one level behind her. BRBR, in this secret realm, Chu Feng could indeed be said to be walking sideways. BRBR, I will be back soon, wait for me. BRBR, she said and turned around to leave, but just when her figure was about to merge into the crack in space, Chu Feng suddenly reached out and held her jade hand tightly. BRBR, Jiangji paused and turned to look at Chu Feng in confusion. BRBR, why, BRBR, before she finished speaking, she was pulled into Chu Feng's arms, and her plump and delicate body crashed into the beating chest. BRBR, before she could react, Chu Feng lowered his head and covered her lips. BRBR, this kiss came unexpectedly. BRBR, Jiangji's body instantly stiffened, she even forgot to breathe, and the cyan aura around her body instantly dissipated. BRBR, her cheeks turned red at a speed visible to the naked eye, and her slender fingers subconsciously grasped Chu Feng's robe. BRBR, the kiss was so long that Jiangji almost suffocated and her mind went blank. BRBR, the body gradually became soft from the initial stiffness, and leaned gently into his arms. BRBR, Chu Feng didn't slowly let go of the person in his arms until he felt her breathing becoming more rapid. BRBR, I'll wait for you to come back. BRBR, Jiangji's pretty face turned red. She raised her head and looked into Chu Feng's gentle eyes, and her heart felt ripples. BRBR, you know how to bully me. BRBR, as soon as she finished speaking, her figure instantly transformed into a stream of cyan light and merged into the cracks in space. BRBR, it wasn't until Jiangji's figure disappeared completely that the tenderness on Chu Feng's face slowly faded and he walked out of the underground cave. BRBR, when he passed through the phantom formation of the Four Elephants formation, he heard a violent collision of spiritual energy from outside the formation, as well as the sound of a woman's cooing. BRBR, Chu Feng paused and hid outside the formation. BRBR, at this time, there was only an illusion formation between Qi Xintong and Chu Feng. Chu Feng could see Qi Xintong, but Qi Xintong could not see him. BRBR, I saw Qi Xintong breaking out of the illusion array in embarrassment. Her long skirt was already in a mess, and a large hole was torn in the skirt, exposing her white calves. BRBR, my hair stuck to my sweaty cheeks, and there were beads of sweat on my forehead and neck. BRBR, she was panting heavily, as if she had just been fished out of the water. BRBR, Qi Xintong supported the rock next to him, stood up slowly, and raised his hand to wipe the sweat from his face. BRBR, what a powerful phantom formation. BRBR, her throat rolled, and the scene in the phantom formation could not help but appear in her mind. BRBR, this must be a test for me by Taoist Gu. BRBR, thinking of this, Qi Xintong's pretty face couldn't help but look serious. BRBR, she raised her hand to straighten her messy dress, then turned her head to look deep into the cave. BRBR, the next step is the harvest time. BRBR, after saying that, she staggered towards the depths of the cave without noticing Chu Feng on the other side of the illusory formation. BRBR, Chu Feng looked at Qi Xintong's embarrassed back, a trace of curiosity flashed in his eyes. BRBR, what did she experience in the illusion? BRBR, however, no one is destined to be able to answer this question. BRBR, after Qi Xintong's figure completely entered the cave, Chu Kai raised his hand and put away the four-image array. The aura of the illusory array instantly dissipated, and the entrance to the cave returned to its original appearance. BRBR, he turned around and left the cave without staying any longer. BRBR, not long after Chu Feng left, Qi Xintong's furious roar came from the cave. BRBR, who stole my opportunity? BRBR outside the secret realm of Tianfu. BRBR the four camps stood according to the situation, with flags fluttering. BRBR Daki's camp is the most magnificent, with a gilt flag embroidered with the vigorous word ginger, making a hunting sound in the strong wind. BRBR in the main tent in the center of the camp, Emperor Jiangyi of Dachi sat on a gilded throne. BRBR suddenly there was a rush of footsteps outside the tent, mixed with the blocking sounds of the guards, but was abruptly broken through by a panicked voice. BRBR Your Majesty, something bad has happened. BRBR a minister in court uniform stumbled into the tent with a look of panic on his face. BRBR he rushed straight to Jiangyi, knelt on his knees, and his body was shaking violently. BRBR Your Majesty, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, has passed away. BRBR boom, BRBR the pressure around Jiangyi was instantly chaotic, and he stared at the minister in front of him. BRBR what did you say? BRBR the minister was so frightened by Jiangyi's eyes that he trembled, but he still took out a rosewood box from his arms. BRBR in the wooden box, there is a soul tablet engraved with Jiang Taishu's name, but the soul tablet has been broken. BRBR Your Majesty, we have gathered the 500 geniuses who have entered the secret realm, and now the soul cards are less than 50 pieces intact. BRBR His Royal Highness the Princes. Soul cards, and the soul cards of nearly 300 geniuses, were all shattered at the same time. BRBR Jiangyi directly overturned the jade table in front of him, and the cups were shattered on the ground. BRBR he stood up suddenly, even his lips were trembling slightly. BRBR all of them are dead, how is this possible? BRBR 500 geniuses, this is almost the strongest foundation of the younger generation of Daki. BRBR now there are less than 50 people left. BRBR nearly 300 people died at the same time, which means that Daki's genius has directly broken down. BRBR Jiangyi felt like the sky was falling, and a rush of energy and blood rushed to the top of his head. BRBR his throat felt sweet and he almost spit out a mouthful of blood. BRBR Jiangyi knew something about Jiang Taishu's plan. Jiang Taishu united hundreds of geniuses to surround Chu Feng in the secret realm and strangle this undeveloped genius in the cradle. BRBR he originally thought that nearly 300 geniuses joining forces would be more than enough to deal with one Chu Feng. BRBR but I never expected that the ending would be so tragic. BRBR how did the other 100 or so people die? BRBR Jiang Ye's voice suddenly rose, his eyes full of doubts. BRBR he knew very well that Jiang Taishu had only united about 300 people, but now there were only 50 people left in Daki. BRBR although there are dangers in the secret realm, it is by no means so terrifying. BRBR in previous years, only 10% of the geniuses have been lost. What is going on? BRBR the minister was kneeling on the ground, not daring to raise his head at all. BRBR the soul card shattered so suddenly that I could not find out the reason. BRBR His Royal Highness must have sacrificed his life to kill Chu Feng. BRBR Jiangyi closed his eyes. Jiang Taishu and Chu Feng died together. This is the worst outcome and the best outcome for Daki. BRBR. Chu Feng died, and Daki lost a heart. He has a serious problem and will lose a powerful enemy in the future. BRBR but for some reason, he always feels a little uneasy in his heart. BRBR I hope that monster is dead, otherwise, I will have endless troubles. Xietian's scarlet eyes glanced at her slightly, but his tone remained calm. BRBR, my master is Chu Feng. BRBR Chu Feng? BRBR Jiangji's pupils shrank suddenly, and then she sneered. BRBR, don't talk nonsense, Chu Feng is a righteous monk, how can he associate with you evil demons from outside the territory? BRBR return the Tianfu token to me quickly, otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. BRBR she did not believe Xietian's words at all, and only thought that the evil demon wanted to use Chu Feng's name to deceive her and delay time. BRBR the Tianfu token is the key to returning to the secret realm. Chu Feng is still waiting for her in the secret realm. She must not let this evil spirit take away the token. BRBR after the words fell, Jiangji's spiritual energy suddenly surged. BRBR even if the opponent is a fusion realm demon that is 2 realms higher than her, she has no intention of retreating. BRBR Xietian raised his finger and pointed at the sky not far away, where the Tianji mirror light curtain was shining brightly, clearly projecting the scene in the secret realm into the void. BRBR you'll understand when you look at it. BRBR Jiangji looked in the direction he pointed, and her eyes fell on the light curtain of the Tianji mirror. BRBR Chu Feng's figure was clearly reflected in the light curtain. BRBR his eyes were looking forward through the light curtain, as if he could see her directly. BRBR the next moment, Chu Feng's voice passed through the light curtain of the Tianji mirror and was clearly transmitted to everyone's ears, and also hit the bottom of Jiangji's heart. BRBR Jiangji, don't come back. BRBR it was just 6 words, but it was like thunder exploding in Jiangji's mind, making her freeze. BRBR her fingertips trembled slightly, and the condensed sword energy quietly dissipated. Her whole body seemed to have had all its strength drained away, and she stood there blankly. BRBRSH. He looked at Chu Feng in the light curtain, and only those 6 words echoed in her ears. BRBR the extraterritorial evil demon next to her turned out to be true. Chu Feng really didn't want her to return to the secret realm. BRBR countless scenes flashed through Jiangxi's mind instantly, and those details that she had ignored before became extremely weird at this moment. BRBR countless unusual things flashed crazily in her mind, weaving into a dense web that tightly wrapped around her heart, leaving her breathless. BRBR she suddenly turned her head to look at Xie Tian, her pretty face cold. BRBR, did something happen in the secret realm? BRBR her intuition told her that Chu Feng must be hiding something from her. The changes in the secret realm were far more terrifying than she imagined. BRBR it was so terrifying that even if Chu Feng had an extraterritorial evil demon at the 3rd level of the fusion realm, he still could not solve it. BRBR Xie Tian opened his mouth, but Chu Feng in the light curtain spoke again. BRBR this time, he told everything that happened in the secret realm. BRBR the demon emperor of the great perfection in the Mahayana period. BRBR Jiangxi felt that all the blood in her body froze instantly, and despair rushed from the soles of her feet to the sky. BRBR her legs softened, and she almost collapsed on the ground. BRBR she finally understood that Chu Feng was why should he try every means to get her to leave the secret realm first. BRBR because he knew that once she knew the existence of the demon emperor and the horror of this blood sacrifice, she would definitely leave the Tianfu token to Chu Feng. Chu Feng didn't want her to fall into this dangerous situation, so he let the extraterrestrial demon take away the Tianfu token. BRBR Jiangxi's eyes turned red instantly, and crystal tears rolled in her eyes. BRBR the next moment, she immediately broke the restriction that Chu Feng left on. The ring. BRBR when she saw what was in the ring, Jiangxi's last psychological defense completely collapsed, and her tears finally couldn't help but roll down her cheeks. RBR in the Neji, there are 10 Bodhi immortal fruits neatly placed. Next to the Bodhi immortal fruits, lie the Xingxi sword and the Qiankuan purple gold furnace. BRBR Chu Feng said, there are the Xingxi sword and the Qiankuan purple gold. With the furnace here, he could walk sideways in the secret realm. BRBR but he left these 2 sacred artifacts that could protect his life to her, together with the precious Bodhi fairy fruit. BRBR this shows that Chu Feng had no intention from the beginning. She has no intention of coming out of the secret realm alive. BRBR Chu Feng, you liar. BRBR Jiangxi's voice was choked with sobs. She hated herself for being slow, hated herself for not discovering Chu Feng's lies earlier, and hated herself for being like this. He coaxed him to leave the secret realm, leaving him to face all the dangers alone. BRBR she wiped away the tears on her face, raised her eyes to look at Xie Tian, and stretched out her hand. BRBR give me the Tianfu token, I'm going to save him. BRBR even if there is a demon emperor in the Mahayana stage ahead, even if there is a desperate situation ahead, she will go back and return to Chu Feng. BRBR Xie Tian put away the Tianfu token and the demon tower together, and his scarlet eyes lowered slightly. BRBR I only obey the master's orders. The master asked me to stop you and not allow you to enter the secret realm again, and I will never let you take a step forward. BRBR hearing this, Jiangxi stopped talking nonsense. BRBR the only way to get back the Tianfu token is a battle. BRBR a dark flag flew out from Jiangxi's ring and floated behind her. BRBR 10,000 souls flag. BRBR immediately, Jiangxi raised her hand, and the Xingxi sword and the Qiankuan purple gold furnace flew out of the Neji and fell into her hands. BRBR holding the Qiankuan purple gold furnace in her left hand, she held the Xingxi sword in her right hand. BRBR in that case, I will take it back with my own hands. BRBR the Qiankuan purple gold furnace and the Xingxi sword shook slightly at the same time, and 2 clear and powerful voices came from the sacred weapon at the same time. BRBR, I'll help you. BRBR Ziyan and Pei Yuhan were sealed in the Neji by Chu Feng. They had already recognized Chu Feng as their master, so they could not break the restriction left by Chu Feng. BRBR at this moment, they were the same as Jiangxi. Just want to return to Chu Feng. BRBR with 3 holy weapons in hand, Jiangxi is confident that she can fight even against the 3rd-level extraterrestrial demons in the integration stage. BRBR why are you doing this? BRBR seeing Jiangxi insisting on taking action, Xie Tian's scarlet eyes flashed with a cold light. BRBR his body swayed and turned into a black stream of light, rushing straight towards Jiangxi. BRBR a huge claw struck at Jiangxi. BRBR Jiangxi took the wind control step with her feet, and the Xingxi sword in her right hand suddenly unsheathed. BRBR cut. BRBR the silver sword shadow fell to the ground like a meteor, tearing apart the demonic energy all over Xie Tian, approaching the critical point. BRBR at the same time, the Qiankuan purple gold furnace in Jiangxi's left hand shook violently, and a purple gold flame spurted out from the furnace mouth. Countless soul shadows of the 10,000 soul banner also roared out at the same time, rushing towards Xie Tian's soul. BRBR boom, BRBR sword energy, flames. The soul shadow collided with Xie Tian's demonic energy, and the terrifying air waves spread wildly in the surroundings. BRBR the clouds in the sky were torn apart by the air waves, forming a huge cloud gap. BRBR Xie Tian's body was the body of an extraterrestrial demo. Which was 100 times stronger than the human race. Even if he was struck by the sword energy of the Xingxi sword, it would only leave a shallow mark on his body and not damage his roots. BRBR in fact, he never wanted to actually hurt Jiangji, he just wanted to prevent the other party from entering the secret realm. BRBR his cultivation level is higher than that of Jiangji, and his physical body is extremely strong. Even if Jiangji holds 3 sacred weapons and has 2 powerful weapons to help him, he is far from his opponent. BRBR every attack he makes has room for defense, and it is mostly defensive. RBR after fighting for dozens of rounds, Jiangji also noticed this, and became more and more convinced that Xie Tian just wanted to stop her, not to take her life. BRBR Xie Tian didn't seem to want to fight with Jiangji anymore, so he found a gap and fled away. BRBR his escape speed was extremely fast, and he distanced himself from Jiangji in an instant. BRBR want to run? BRBR a stern look flashed in Jiangji's eyes. If Xie Tian ran away, it would be difficult for her to catch up and get the Tianfu token back. BRBR she gritted her teeth, her heart trembled, and she made a crazy decision. BRBR blood-burning technique. BRBR the energy and blood all over Jiangji's body burned crazily. Under the burning of essence and blood, her cultivation instantly surged to the 3rd level of the fusion realm. BRBR at the same time, her speed also surged several times, turning into a stream of cyan light, chasing Xie Tian. BRBR there was only the black figure in her eyes, and only the Tianfu token that could allow her to return to the secret realm. BRBR the cost of burning essence and blood is huge, but Jiangji can no longer care about it at this moment. BRBR she just wants to catch up with Xie Tian as soon as possible and get the token back, even if she pays her life for it, she will not hesitate. BRBR Xie Tian felt the terrifying aura coming from behind him, and when he looked back, he saw Jiangji burning blood and essence to increase her speed, chasing him crazily. BRBR a flash of panic flashed across his eyes, and he stopped suddenly. BRBR Xie Tian didn't dare to run away anymore. BRBR what a madman. If Xie Tian continues to escape, Jiangji will exhaust her essence and blood in order to catch up with him, and end up dead. BRBR he did not dare to think about how Chu Feng would punish him when he came out of the secret realm alive and found that Jiangji died because of him. BRBR Xie Tian turned around, a hint of fighting intent flashing in his eyes. BRBR since I can't escape, I can only continue to struggle with this woman. BRBR seeing Xie Tian stop, Jiangji further confirmed Xie Tian's concerns. BRBR he didn't dare to hurt her, let alone let anything happen to her. BRBR in this case, she no longer had any worries and simply let go of all her defenses. BRBR Jiangji's fighting style is completely lifeless. Every attack burns her own essence and blood, and every sword carries the determination to die together. BRBR the sword energy of Xingxi sword slashed at Xie Tian's vital points again and again, not caring even if his own flaws were exposed, and never flinching even if his energy and blood surged when he was shocked by Xie Tian's demonic energy. BRBR for a time, the situation of the battle completely reversed. BRBR Xie Tian did not dare to hurt Jiangji, but was forced to retreat by Jiangji's desperate fighting style, so he could only defend with difficulty. BRBR he never expected that the seemingly weak woman in front of him could be so strong. BRBR in order to return to the secret realm, he did not hesitate to burn his own essence and blood and risk his life. BRBR Jiangji's complexion became increasingly pale, and the cost of burning essence and blood began to appear. BRBR her breathing became more and more rapid, and the spiritual energy around her began to become disordered. BRBR her time is running out, and the power of burning essence and blood cannot last long. BRBR therefore, Xie Tian must be taken down before the power is exhausted. BRBR Jiangji took a deep breath, and a brilliant silver aura erupted all over her body. The shadow of the Xingxi sword soared 100 feet, turning into a silver giant sword that penetrated the sky and the earth, suspended in the sky. BRBR the purple gold flames of the Chankuan purple gold furnace were all integrated into the giant sword, causing the giant sword to ignite with raging purple gold fire. BRBR this is the strongest sword Jiangji has ever sacrificed her whole body to cultivate. BRBR sword domain burns the sky. BRBR Jiangji raised her hand and pointed towards Xie Tian, and the silver giant sword that penetrated the heaven and earth slashed hard at Xie Tian. BRBR where the giant sword passed, the sky was torn apart, forming a huge black crack. BRBR. The spiritual energy between heaven and earth was drained by this sword, forming a huge whirlpool of spiritual energy that revolved around the giant sword. BRBR. The power of this sword is such that even a monk in the fusion realm would not dare to resist it. BRBR. Xuelian knew that if he was struck by this sword, even if he was a demon in the fusion realm, he would definitely be seriously injured. BRBR. However, he did not escape, and he did not even defend himself. BRBR. Just when the giant sword was about to fall on him, he suddenly raised his hand, holding a drop of blood as smooth as red jade in his palm. BRBR. It is Chu Feng's painstaking effort. BRBR. This is the blood of my master. If you kill me, this drop of my blood will dissipate in an instant, and it will be impossible for the master to leave the secret realm alive. BRBR. Only at this moment did he understand why Chu Feng gave this drop of his blood to him instead of to Jiangji. BRBR. With this drop of his heart, he has something that makes Jiangji fearful. BRBR. Unexpectedly, the master has even thought of this level. BRBR. Jiangji's eyes fell on the drop of blood, and she could clearly feel Chu Feng's aura. BRBR. Her body stiffened suddenly, and he sword in her hand stagnated in midair. BRBR. The silver giant sword that penetrated the heaven and earth quietly dissipated at this moment. BRBR. The Xingzi sword in Jiangji's hand slowly lowered, and the tears in her eyes rolled down again. BRBR. Why are you so stupid? BRBR. She turned around and left, which made Xuelian finally breathe a sigh of relief. BRBR. However, before his breath completely relaxed, he lifted it up again in an instant. BRBR. I saw Jiangji desperately starting to bombard the barrier of the secret realm with sword after sword, obviously planning to forcefully break into the secret realm. BRBR. Xuelian held his forehead and said, my aunt. BRBR. BRBR. Chu Feng stood on the flying boat and secretly calculated in his heart that the Xingzi sword and the purple gold furnace of the universe had already been handed over to Jiangji, and the demonic tower was also taken away from the secret realm by her. BRBR. Now he only has the golden silkworm goo and the heaven refining diagram in his hands, his cultivation of the divine transformation realm, and the murderous evil devoured from Xianchaji, so there are not many trump cards left. BRBR. Going to the initial teleportation square this time is almost a desperate move. BRBR. When the flying boat reached a continuous cliff and canyon, a woman's gasping sound reached his ears. BRBR. Chu Feng subconsciously raised his eyes and saw a woman in white stumbling away in the canyon below, followed closely by 30 large monsters of different shapes. BRBR. The woman had obviously exhausted her spiritual power and could hardly fly in the air. BRBR. Those big demons were like a cat playing with a mouse. They were not in a hurry to step forward, and just hung at a distance. BRBR. Chu Feng's eyes narrowed and he seemed to recognize the person in front of him. BRBR. If he remembers correctly, this person is a saint from the Tianjian sect. BRBR. Yunruashi's plain white robe from the Tianjian sect had already been soaked with blood, and was torn in many places by the monster's claws, revealing wounds of varying depths on her fair skin. BRBR. The originally pure and beautiful face is now as pale as paper, with bright red blood constantly spilling from the corners of her mouth, and her beautiful eyes like autumn water are covered with bloodshot eyes. BRBR. The heavenly spirit sword in her hand was also full of cracks and its aura was dim. It was obviously at the end of its strength. BRBR. The 30 monsters chasing her all had fierce auras. The leader of them was a tiger monster, exuding the terrifying coercion of the void refining realm. BRBR. Chu Feng's peripheral vision subconsciously scanned the light curtain of the Tianji mirror above the sky. At this moment, everyone outside the secret realm was staring at every move in the secret realm through this mirror. BRBR. What's more, Yunruashi is a member of Dafeng, so he should take action no matter what. BRBR. At this moment, Yunruashi, who was running away, happened to look up and saw Chu Feng driving the flying boat. BRBR. She had seen Chu Feng defeat the third Prince Dafeng in the Confucian Temple Square, but even so, Yunruashi did not think that Chu Feng could be the opponent of this group of monsters. BRBR. Especially the leader of the Tiger Demon is a great demon in the void refining realm. No matter how strong Chu Feng is, he has no chance of winning. BRBR. Yunruashi used her last bit of strength to shout in the direction of Chu Feng. BRBR. Run away. BRBR. In her opinion, Chu Feng is the hope of the younger generation of the human race and must not be lost in the hands of this group of monsters. BRBR. However, instead of turning the flying boat to escape, Chu Feng controlled the flying boat to swoop down. BRBR. The hull of the boat cut through the air, like a meteor falling to the ground, and landed in front of Yunruashi in an instant, blocking her from the big monsters. BRBR. An 8th grade healing elixir was thrown out by Chu Feng and fell into Yunruashi's arms. BRBR. Your spiritual power is exhausted, first adjust your breath well. BRBR. The 8th grade Hunyuan grass can quickly restore spiritual power and repair injuries, which is enough to cause competition among sects in the outside world. BRBR. Ordinary monks would find it difficult to obtain one in their lifetime, but in Chu Feng's hands, it was like throwing out a big cabbage. BRBR the scene instantly caused everyone outside the secret realm to fall into deathly silence. BRBR my god, that is the 8th grade Hunyuan grass, right? Chu Feng actually threw it to Yunruashi so casually? BRBR, then the two of them knew each other before, otherwise this move would be too generous. BRBR impossible, the saint once said before entering the secret realm that it would be great if she could get to know Chu Feng in the secret realm. BRBR but now is not the time to be generous. The tiger demon is in the void refining realm. Chu Feng is a big level away from the tiger demon. There are still 29 great demons above nascent soul. This is a death. BRBR, the holy girl Yun of the Tianjian sect is exhausted, and Chu Feng is like getting himself involved. BRBR Taoist Xuanzhen is not worried. After all, he knows his master's trump card. Unless the great demon in the integration stage appears, he will never be Chu Feng's opponent. BRBR, all the disciples of the Tianjian sect were staring at the light curtain of the Tianji mirror. Yunruashi was the goddess in their hearts. How could they not be impatient when seeing the goddess life hanging by a thread at this moment? BRBR Yunruashi looked down at the Hunyuan grass in her hand and froze in place. BRBR as a saint in the Tianjian sect, she has seen countless heavenly materials and earthly treasures, but the 8th grade Hunyuan grass is still extremely rare, and she is OT qualified to obtain this resource at all. BRBR Chu Feng actually gave it to her so casually without even frowning. BRBR what makes her even more anxious is that she is in a desperate situation now. How can she have time to adjust her breath and refine the elixir? BRBR even if this Hunyuan grass is refined and some spiritual power is restored, it is still vulnerable to the tiger demon in the void refining realm. BRBR it's just a matter of hanging on for a while, it can't change the inevitable ending. BRBR fellow Taoist Chu, BRBR Yunruashi was about to speak and told Chu Feng to leave quickly and leave her alone. BRBR but after only this moment of delay, 30 demon clans surrounded Chu Feng and Yunruashi. BRBR the coercion of the tiger demon in the void refining realm enveloped the two of them, forming a huge cage of demonic energy that made it difficult to fly without wings. BRBR Yunruashi's last glimmer of hope was completely shattered, and the light in her beautiful eyes completely dimmed. BRBR she raised her head and looked at the extremely tall figure that covered her with all the evil spirit. BRBR Chu Feng was like a glimmer of light in the darkness, causing an imperceptible ripple to appear in her dead heart. BRBR she will undoubtedly die today, and Chu Feng will most likely die here together with her. Before she dies, she does not want to leave any regrets. BRBR Yunruashi's voice sounded softly. She looked at Chu Feng's back and introduced herself word by word. BRBR, my name is Yunruashi, a saint from Tianjian sect. BRBR after she finished speaking, she closed her beautiful bloodshot eyes, her long eyelashes trembled slightly, and a teardrop slid down her pale cheek. BRBR then she suddenly raised her voice. BRBR Chu Feng, I like you. BRBR Chu Feng, who was about to step forward to fight the demon clan, staggered suddenly when he heard these words, and his whole body froze on the spot. BRBR he have. And wondered if he heard it wrong. BRBR the saint from the heavenly sword sect behind him actually confessed her love to him? BRBR Chu Feng's brain went blank for a moment, and he forgot to activate his spiritual power. BRBR, what's going on? BRBR this confession, through the light curtain of the Tianji mirror, was clearly transmitted to the ears of everyone outside the secret realm. BRBR the entire world outside the secret realm instantly fell into deathly silence. BRBR everyone was shocked on the spot, as if they had heard some fantasy, and even forgot to breathe. BRBR especially for the hundreds of disciples of the Tianjian sect, their hearts seemed to be tightly grasped by a big invisible hand, and they were so painful that they could not breathe. BRBR Yunruashi is the unworldly goddess in their hearts, and the white moonlight in the hearts of countless disciples. BRBR but now, not only do they have to watch their goddess die at the hands of the demon clan, but they also have to watch their goddess confess to another man before she dies. BRBR it hurts. BRBR it hurts so much. BRBR this kind of pain is 1,000 times more severe than when they are in desperate situation. BRBR it's over, my goddess has a heart, and she's about to fall. I can't stand it anymore. The disciples of Tianjian sect collapsed and shouted, and some even covered their faces and squatted on the ground, crying uncontrollably. BRBR the monks from the other 3 countries also exploded, with expressions of sadness on their faces. BRBR, the saint of the heavenly sword sect actually confessed her love to Chu Feng before she died? BRBR, what kind of charm is Chu Feng that even the saint of the heavenly sword sect falls in love with him? BRBR, what a pity for a beautiful couple, I am afraid they will both die here today. BRBR it's really a trick of fate. If they can survive, it will be a good story. Unfortunately, they are destined to be tragic. BRBR The 30 demon clan surrounding the two people heard Yunruashi's confession and saw Chu Feng's stunned look, and suddenly burst into unbridled laughter. BRBR The leader of the tiger demon took a step forward and grinned. BRBR What a pair of fateful mandarin ducks. BRBR A wolf demon's eyes were full of lustful light, staring at Yunruashi's pale but beautiful face, and said with a strange smile. BRBR Your Majesty, don't kill this boy yet. I want to make this woman surrender to us in front of him. BRBR As soon as these words were spoken, the other demon clans all agreed. BRBR Ha ha ha, old wolf is right, let her look at her sweetheart, but she can only serve us monsters, this is so happy. BRBR This kid still wants to be a hero and save the beauty, he is really overestimating his ability. BRBR Be good and capture him without any effort, let us brothers have fun, and maybe give you a good time. BRBR They didn't take Chu Feng seriously at all, they only regarded him as an ant that could be crushed to death, and they only thought about how to humiliate Yunruashi and torture the two of them. BRBR Yunruashi's delicate body trembled suddenly, her originally pale cheeks turned red, and her eyes were full of disgust. BRBR She would rather die than be ravaged by the demon clan, let alone be wantonly humiliated by these demon clan in front of Chu Feng and tarnish her innocence. BRBR The next moment, she closed her beautiful eyes, and the last trace of spiritual power remaining in her body began to surge wildly. BRBR She is ready to explode her golden elixir. She would rather break into pieces than let the monster succeed. BRBR Before she died, she was able to meet Chu Feng and express her deepest feelings. She had no regrets in her life. BRBR The girl's voice was soft and choked, like her last whisper. BRBR Chu Feng, marry me in the next life, okay? BRBR However, she did not wait for the spiritual power of her self-destruction to explode. Instead, she first heard the screams of the demon clan one after another. BRBR Ouch, BRBR My demon pill, how is this possible, you have hidden your cultivation. BRBR No, this is a formation, such a terrifying formation. BRBR The 30 big demons who were originally arrogant fell into panic in an instant, and screams continued one after another, echoing in the canyon. BRBR Yunruashi suddenly opened her beautiful tearful eyes, and in her vision blurred by tears, she saw a scene she would never forget. BRBR There was an array of light condensing under Chu Feng's feet, but the tiger demon standing in front of him had its demon core crushed directly. BRBR She had no idea what had just happened, and why in the blink of an eye, the tiger demon died in Chu Feng's hands. BRBR Could it be that Chu Feng really hid his cultivation? BRBR Immediately afterwards, Chu Feng seemed to have transformed into a god of death, constantly charging among the big monsters. BRBR Wherever his figure passes, the head of the big demon will surely fall to the ground. BRBR This, BRBR Outside the secret realm. BRBR Everyone was shocked when they saw Chu Feng killing everyone in the Tianji mirror. BRBR What happened just now? He just condensed a formation. How could he directly kill the tiger demon? BRBR Even though everyone saw the tiger demon Chu Feng killed with their own eyes, they still didn't understand how he did it. BRBR At that moment, the tiger demon seemed to have suddenly lost all resistance, and let Chu Feng's hand pierce directly into his abdomen. BRBR Even Taoist Xuanzhen clenched his beard in shock. He originally thought that the master would activate the two holy weapons to directly kill these monsters. BRBR However, the development of things was completely different from what he imagined. BRBR It turns out that master has a backup plan that I didn't know about. It's too scary. BRBR In just a few breaths, all those big monsters were slaughtered. BRBR Until this moment, Yunruashi realized that she was saved. BRBR However, just as the corners of her mouth rose, they suddenly fell down again. BRBR Although she was saved, her whole person was already dead. BRBR Originally, I thought that I would definitely die, so I confessed my love to Chu Feng in public. BRBR I never expected that Chu Feng would kill those big demons just like chopping melons and vegetables. BRBR Good news, survived. BRBR Bad news, might as well be dead. BRBR What did I just say? BRBR At this moment, Yunruashi's head was buzzing, her cheeks were red as if she could bleed, and she did not dare to raise her head to look at Chu Feng. BRBR Until Chu Feng appeared in front of her, the tall figure covered her face. BRBR Hurry up and refine this elixir. We will soon reach the teleportation point. BRBR Oh, okay. BRBR Yunruashi breathed a long sigh of relief, and held the elixir a little tighter in her jade hands. BRBR I don't know why, but she felt a little disappointed in her heart. She had just confessed her love to Chu Feng in public, but Chu Feng didn't respond at all. BRBR Don't he like me? BRBR Thinking of this, Yunruashi couldn't help but let out a long sigh, her whole body collapsed, and she sat helplessly on the flying boat. BRBR at this moment, Chu Feng suddenly came in front of her, and his warm breath blew on her earlobe. BRBR, thank you for your like. BRBR hearing this, Yunruashi couldn't help but trembled, and a wave of heat instantly rose from the top of her head. BRBR, what does this mean? Does he like me too? BRBR however, at this moment, the light of the Tianji mirror continued to envelope the two of them. BRBR in front of so many people, she really didn't have the courage to ask the questions in her heart. BRBR but before she could react, Chu Feng suddenly bit her earlobe, and it was gone at the touch. BRBR Yunruashi's plump legs suddenly tightened, and she seemed to understand something. BRBR the Demon Emperor's Hall. BRBR the Demon Emperor's face looked a little solemn, and the power of the ascending thunder calamity was far beyond imagination. BRBR even if he has reached the great perfection of the Mahayana stage, he is not completely sure that he can withstand the thunder tribulation. BRBR if you are not careful, your soul will fly away, and thousands of years of dormancy will come to nothing. BRBR it's time to close the net. BRBR the moment the words fell, dense demonic roars came from outside the palace, sweeping through the entire secret realm like a tide. BRBR the elite monsters lurking around the initial teleportation square suddenly burst out from their hiding places. The transformed monsters were like a black torrent, quickly encircling the teleportation square. BRBR the demon kings all over the secret realm received the voice transmission from the soul of the demon emperor, and they also gathered crazily towards the teleportation square. BRBR the demonic energy surged from all directions, like black clouds, covering the sky of the secret realm. BRBR even the light curtain projected by the Tianji mirror was blurred by this rich evil spirai. TBRBR these monsters have been trapped in the secret realm of Tianfu for tens of thousands of years, and have been suppressed by the secret realm's avenues for a long time. BRBR the Demon Emperor wants to use the power of the teleportation array to break the barrier of the secret realm and lead the demon clan out of this prison. BRBR, pass my order to find Taoist Gu's natal golden silkworm Gu. BRBR golden silkworm Gu is a heaven-defying spiritual Gu between heaven and earth. It can quickly repair the heavy damage to the body and soul when thunder disaster approaches. BRBR by refining this Gu, his confidence in surviving the thunder disaster can be increased by another 30%. BRBR the initial teleportation square has long become the only gathering place for the remaining human geniuses in the entire secret realm. BRBR on the square, there were less than 200 talented people standing here and there. BRBR compared to the thousands of people who initially entered the secret realm, there are less than 10% survivors at this moment. BRBR the clothes of these survivors were all stained with blood and scarred. BRBR the previous joint hunting of the monster clan has already made them frightened. Even if they gather in this last safe place, they still don't feel the slightest sense of security. BRBR when will the teleportation gate be opened? If we don't open it, we will be found by the demon clan sooner or later. BRBR forcibly opening the teleportation array in advance will take at least a day. Are we really going to die here? BRBR transformation of God's big monsters can be seen everywhere in the secret realm. What is going on in the secret realm? BRBR, stop talking and recover your spiritual power quickly. If the monster clan really comes, you will have to take a few people with you even if you die. BRBR at this moment, Chu Feng landed on the square with Yunruashi. BRBR Yunruashi refined the 8th grad. Elixir, and her injuries have long since healed. BRBR when she looked at Chu Feng's back, there was a hint of shyness in her eyes. BRBR obviously she has not yet recovered from her desperate confession, and she followed Chu Feng all the way, never leaving. BRBR Chu Feng's eyes quickly swept across the square, and soon he saw the familiar figure, Ling Yi, among the crowd. BRBR Ling Yi held the spirit beast whip of the 10,000 beast sect in his hand, and beside him were Su Qing, Su Bai, Meng Shishir, and Yao Meng from the Danyang sect. BRBR Su Qing and Su Bai held a long sword with a solemn expression. Meng Shishir lowered her head, her eyes were red, obviously frightened by the previous hunt. BRBR Yao Meng stood closely by Meng Shishir's side, staring at the surroundings warily. BRBR Chu Feng walked over quickly, and Ling Yi noticed his aura almost instantly. BRBR when he saw Chu Feng's safe and sound figure, his tense heartstrings instantly relaxed, and the worry in his eyes turned into mist. BRBR she quickly stepped forward and held Chu Feng's hand tightly. BRBR Chu Feng, all the monsters in the secret realm have moved. We have been surrounded. What should we do? BRBR Ling Yi's palms were slightly cold and trembling, and Chu Feng could clearly feel the fear in her heart. BRBR, don't worry, as long as I am here, you will definitely be able to get out. BRBR after saying this, Chu Feng took out the 4-symbol formation disc from the Neji. BRBR this is the 4-elephant formation. If anyone dares to attack you later, you can directly activate the formation and activate the 4-elephant formation, BRBR under the void refining realm. No one, no matter the demon or human race, can walk out of this formation alive. BRBR Ling Yi looked down at the 4-elephant formation in the palm of his hand, a trace of doubt flashing in his eyes. BRBR, what about you? BRBR hearing this, Chu Feng raised his finger and pointed to his own ring. BRBR, I still have a lot of trump cards, please help me protect the people of Danyang sect. BRBR Ling instantly remembered the 2 sacred weapons in Chu Feng's hands and stopped refusing. BRBR, I will protect everyone. BRBR just as Ling Yi was putting away the array disc, Chu Feng suddenly reached out and grabbed Yunruoshi, who had been following silently behind him, and pulled her in front of him and Ling Yi. BRBR Yunruoshi was caught off guard, her body froze slightly, and her cheeks instantly turned red. BRBR her head hung lower, almost buried in her chest, and she did not dare to raise her head to look into Ling Yi's eyes. BRBR Chu Feng introduced Ling Yi. BRBR this is Yunruoshi, the saint of Tianjian sect. From now on, she will be your sister. BRBR when the word sister fell, Ling Yi's neck became flushed. BRBR she glared at Chu Feng, subconsciously raised her foot and lightly stepped on Chu Feng's instep. BRBR she pursed her lips, wanting to say something, but she was too shy to speak. BRBR I could only clench my fists, feeling ashamed and angry, but helpless. BRBR and Yunruoshi's head buzzed even more, and her whole body froze on the spot, her mind went blank, and only the word sisters kept echoing in her ears. BRBR she never thought that Ling Yi, the saint of the 10,000 Beast sect, was already Chu Feng's Taoist companion. BRBR didn't what I just said mean that she is also Chu Feng's woman? BRBR Mengshishir on the side was full of disappointment. BRBR she looked at Chu Feng's back, but did not dare to step forward. BRBR Chu Feng's eyes happened to fall on Mengshishir. Looking at the girl's red eyes, his heart softened slightly. BRBR he stretched out his arms and hugged Mengshishir into his arms. BRBR this is Mengshishir, a disciple of the Danyang sect, and also your sister. BRBR Ling Yi looked at Yunruoshi and Mengshishir in front of her, and suddenly she clenched her fists in anger, biting her thin lips with her silver teeth. BRBR this guy is a complete scumbag. BRBR boom, BRBR the soaring demonic energy instantly swept through the entire teleportation square, making all the geniuses tremble. BRBR the next moment, the great demons all over the mountains and plains surrounded the entire teleportation formation, with the end as far as the eye could see. There were millions of them. But in Chu Feng's eyes, their movements were as slow as a turtle crawling. BRBR a hint of coldness flashed in Chu Feng's eyes, and 3-sword energy shot out instantly. BRBR puff, puff, puff. BRBR 3 soft sounds rang out one after another. The 3 sneak attack monks did not even have a chance to get 3 feet closer to Chu Feng, and their flesh bodies were instantly pierced by the sword energy. BRBR in an instant, he killed 3 members of his own race without mercy. BRBR everyone in the square was stunned for a moment, and even the crying stopped suddenly. BRBR they never expected that Chu Feng would be so decisive and take action against his own clan without hesitation. BRBR Chu Feng retracted his hand and even looked at the 3 corpses and said sarcastically. BRBR, they are too noisy, please kill them all quickly, so that I don't have to do it myself. BRBR the demon aura around the demon emperor suddenly stagnated, as if Chu Feng had pinched his life gate again, and his scales stood upright with anger. BRBR he can't really kill everyone. The core of the blood sacrifice array requires the blood of living people as a guide. BRBR if all the geniuses of the human race are slaughtered, the formation will not be able to truly activate. BRBR the demon emperor's scarlet eyes turned slightly, and his gaze fell on Yunruoshi. BRBR looking at the woman who had just come forward and scolded everyone for Chu Feng, a sneer appeared at the corner of her mouth. BRBR you don't care about the life and death of these ants, but what about this woman? BRBR if you don't hand over the golden silkworm goo, I will kill her next. BRBR Yunruoshi's expression suddenly tightened, her pretty face turned pale, but she was not afraid at all. BRBR in order to prevent Chu Feng from being threatened, she instantly activated all the spiritual power in her body and was ready to self-destruct the golden elixir. BRBR she would rather lose her soul than become a bargaining chip for the demon emperor to coerce Chu Feng. BRBR Chu Feng, leave me alone. BRBR the demon emperor just snorted softly, and the Mahayana coercion instantly enveloped Yunruoshi's body, suppressing the raging spiritual power in her body, making her unable to move even a finger. BRBR in front of the Mahayana stage, one is not even qualified to self-destruct. BRBR Yunruoshi froze on the spot, her beautiful eyes full of despair, but she couldn't make a sound. BRBR Chu Feng raised his eyes to look at the demon emperor and threatened again. BRBR you can kill her, but if she dies, the golden silkworm goo will explode with me, and you will still get nothing. BRBR today, even if all the humans in the secret realm die, I will never let you do it. BRBR the demon emperor laughed in anger, and his laughter was like thunder. BRBR, what a spineless ant, I want to see how long your bones can be strong. BRBR today, I will let you watch your loved ones and friends become the stepping stones for my ascension. BRBR the sky and the earth change color, and the world is reversed. BRBR above the sky of the secret realm, blood clouds rolled and surged, and the entire world was dyed blood red. BRBR it was a blood sacrifice formation covering thousands of miles, and millions of monsters knelt down at the same time. BRBR the bloody light of the formation shot straight into the sky, as if it was about to pierce the sky of the secret realm. BRBR the next moment, the blood sacrifice formation was fully operational. BRBR a domineering devouring power burst out from every line in the formation. BRBR everyone felt that the essence and blood in their bodies were being drawn out crazily, pouring into the bloody formations continuously. BRBR their bodies shriveled up at a speed visible to the naked eye, and their cultivation levels dropped rapidly. BRBR the blood energy all over the sky gathered into bloody torrent. Converging in the direction of the demon emperor. BRBR the entire secret realm of Tianfu has completely become the last sacrifice on the way to the demon emperor's ascension. BRBR feeling the growing power in his body, the demon emperor raised his head and laughed wildly. BRBR this emperor has been dormant for thousands of years, and finally waited until today to ascend to the fairy world. BRBR above the sky of the secret realm, the void suddenly twisted, and a huge black crack suddenly tore apart. BRBR the next moment, the purple gold thunder disaster suddenly came. BRBR thunder clouds rolled crazily on the sky, and thousands of purple and gold thunder dragons roared and shuttled. BRBR this is the ascension thunder tribulation for Mahayana monks. Once the tribulation is successfully overcome, the demon emperor can ascend. BRBR the demon emperor made a secret with both hands, drawing all the human vitality swallowed up by the blood sacrifice formation to his whole body, turning it into a thick layer of blood-colored light armor. BRBR he wants to use the vitality of these countless human races to resist the thunder and calamity of heaven. BRBR use the power of thunder to break through the barrier of the secret realm, completely break away from this prison, ascend to the immortal world, and achieve the supreme immortal position. BRBR outside the secret realm. BRBR when the purple gold thunder ripped through the sky, everyone froze in place, as if they had been cast a restraining spell. BRBR the teacup in Jiang Ye's hand shattered instantly, and the sharp jade stubble penetrated deeply into the palm of his hand. BRBR ascending to the thunder tribulation, he will use the secret realm to overcome the tribulation and forcefully break the barrier between heaven and earth. BRBR once this devil breaks out of the world, this world will surely become a human hell. BRBR everyone has a look of despair on his face. Facing a great demon in the Mahayana stage, they had to be glad that they did not enter the secret realm. BRBR even at this moment, some people have started to retreat. According to the current development, it is only a matter of time before the demon emperor tears apart the space of the secret realm and ascends to the upper world. BRBR if the demon emperor really breaks through the secret realm, they will be the first to suffer. BRBR if you don't leave now, when will you wait? BRBR let's go quickly, the disciples in the secret realm can't be saved anymore. BRBR keep the green mountains here, don't worry about running out of firewood. After the demon emperor ascends, we can still control the entire demon clan. BRBR what Lao Jiao said is right. BRBR the secret realm. BRBR the remaining human race geniuses all looked haggard, and the essence and blood in their bodies were being drained out at a speed visible to the naked eye. BRBR some people have become so thin that they have become mummies. They don't even have the strength to raise their hands. They can only watch their life force being swallowed up by the formation. BRBR Chu Feng stood at the front of the crowd, protecting the girls around him behind him, blocking the devouring power of the blood sacrifice formation. BRBR when it comes to swallowing, how can it be compared to his heaven refining diagram? BRBR Mengshirshir, Ling Yi, Yunruashi, and others gathered around Chu Feng, all thinking that they would definitely die today and there would be no chance of survival. BRBR under the shadow of death, they can no longer suppress the deep feelings in their hearts. BRBR Mengshirshir snuggled next to Chu Feng, her originally smart eyes filled with bloodshot eyes. BRBR she clutched Chu Feng's sleeves tightly, her voice choked and soft. BRBR Chu Feng, I don't regret being able to die by your side. BRBR Ling Yi stretched out her slender jade hand and held Chu Feng's right hand tightly. BRBR her fingertips were cold, without a trace of warmth. Her clear face was full of tears, and she looked at Chu Feng with tearful eyes. BRBR I have lived for the 10,000 beast sect all my life, but after meeting you, you are the only one left in my heart. BRBR Yunruashi's eyes were red, and she looked into Chu Feng's eyes and mustered up all her courage. BRBR, Chu Feng, my biggest regret in this life is that I couldn't spend a good night with you. BRBR Su Qing, who had been standing silently aside, suddenly took a step forward. BRBR Chu Feng, I like you. BRBR Su Qing's voice was filled with deep regret. It was obvious that they met earlier, but he did not dare to reveal his feelings, instead letting the latecomer Yunruashi take over. BRBR as soon as she finished speaking, Subai beside her suddenly raised his head, his clear eyes full of shock. BRBR in fact, she had already fallen in love with Chu Feng. BRBR I just have an introverted personality and never have the courage to speak, so I always keep this feeling in my heart. BRBR but she never expected that her sister would also fall in love with Chu Feng. BRBR Subai clutched the corners of his clothes tightly, lowered his head and murmured. BRBR me too. BRBR Chu Feng looked at the tearful girls in front of him, and a trace of tenderness finally flashed in his eyes. BRBR remember, as long as you live, you will not have any regrets. BRBR the moment the words fell, the aura around Chu Feng suddenly surged. BRBR he raised his head and looked at the purple and gold thunder clouds rolling in the sky, and the sound was as loud as a bell. BRBR today, Chu Feng is willing to fight and slay the demon. BRBR the next moment, Chu Feng's body began to disintegrate from the center of his eyebrows, turning into countless golden streams of light. BRBR the monstrous killings penetrated the heaven and the earth, heading straight into the thundercloud. UDS. BRBR the heaven and earth trembled, and countless dark gaps opened in the space of the secret realm. BRBR thousands of thunder dragons roared, and the entire secret realm fell into unprecedented turmoil. BRBR the remaining people in the teleportation array were completely stunned on the spot. BRBR those monks who had previously accused Chu Feng of being selfish and forcing him to hand over the golden silkworm goo only felt burning pain on their faces. BRBR he actually surrendered. He wanted to trade his life for his life. BRBR, we scolded him for being selfish and disrespectful before, but he is the one who really dared to fight to the death. BRBR I wrongly blamed him, we all wrongly blamed him. BRBR the women around Chu Feng collapsed instantly when they saw Chu Feng's physical body disintegrating. BRBR Chu Feng, no. BRBR Meng Shishir's whole body went limp, and her tears were like broken beads. BRBR Ling Yi threw himself in the direction of the light beam, but was bounced back by an invisible force. BRBR she collapsed on the ground, clutching the ground with both hands, her nails broken, and still roaring at the light beam desperately. BRBR, come back, I won't allow you to die. BRBR Yunruashi froze on the spot, her beautiful eyes were hollow, tears fell silently, and it was as if all her soul had been sucked away from her whole body. BRBR outside the secret realm. BRBR the aura of the Tianji mirror was still hanging in the air, and everyone could not regain their senses for a long time. Only the pillar of light rising into the sky was left in their minds. BRBR Taoist Xuanzhen's muddy old eyes were instantly filled with tears, and his voice was so choked that he could hardly make a sound. BRBR Master, BRBR on the other side, Jiangji was already on the verge of collapse. BRBR from the moment she was stopped by Xie Tian and learned that Chu Feng wanted to face the demon emperor alone, she kept slashing at the barrier of the secret realm with her sword. BRBR but the secret realm barrier was indestructible, and the force of the counterattack injured her time and time again. BRBR her spiritual power had long been completely exhausted, and there was a tearing pain in her meridians, all supported by a willpower to return to Chu Feng. BRBR when the scene of Chu Feng's military retreat was reflected in the telescope mirror, Jiangji suddenly froze in his sword swing. BRBR poof, BRBR a mouthful of blood spurted out from her mouth and splashed on the barrier in front of her. BRBR the sword in her hand could no longer be held and fell to the ground. BRBR Chu Feng, you are not allowed to leave me. BRBR when Yuyan's eyes widened like autumn water. She covered her mouth tightly, for fear that she would cry out of control. BRBR, how could he choose to retreat? BRBR the demon emperor stood at the core of the blood sacrifice formation and looked at Chu Feng's retreat with disdain on his face. BRBR even if the ants try their best, they are just like mantises. BRBR but while his maniacal laughter was still echoing in the world, sudden changes occurred in the world. BRBR the thick purple gold thundercloud was swallowed up by the darkness at a speed visible to the naked eye. BRBR in an instant, the entire sky was occupied by thunderclouds of punishment. BRBR thousands of dark thunder pillars tens of feet thick condensed in the thunder clouds. They were not the ascending thunder catastrophes that washed away mortal bodies, but the annihilating punishments used by heaven and earth to punish sinners. BRBR the wild laughter on the demon emperor's face froze instantly, like a poultry being strangled by the neck, and the laughter stopped abruptly. It was the result of Chu Feng's natal essence and divine soul imprint, and it was also the only chance of survival he had left in the world after his army was overthrown. BRBR previously, this drop of blood had been silent, like a dead thing. BRBR but at this moment, an extremely subtle tremor suddenly came from inside the blood bead. BRBR Xiatian's pupils shrank suddenly, and his scarlet eyes suddenly widened, staring at the blood drops in his palms, not even daring to breathe. BRBR I saw that the trembling of the drop of heart blood became more and more intense, from a subtle tremor to a crazy beating. The pale golden light on the surface was like a spark igniting a prairie fire, suddenly bursting into bright golden light. BRBR the originally silent breath suddenly revived, exuding a weak but tenacious breath of life. BRBR this drop of the heart's blood resonates subtly with the fragments of Chu Feng's remnant soul that are scattered throughout the Tianfu secret realm, pulling in the imprints of those souls that are about to dissipate little by little. BRBR Xiatian's heart trembled. As an alien demon, he had lived for tens of thousands of years and had seen countless reincarnations of life and death, but he had never seen such a strange sight. BRBR he kneeled down on one knee subconsciously, pressed his right hand on his left chest, and lowered his head deeply. BRBR the backup plan left by the master is indeed extraordinary. Could it be that the master can really come back from the dead? BRBR the moment Xiatian bowed, the aura of the golden silkworm goo hidden deep in the blood of his heart exploded. BRBR golden light spurted out from the inside of the blood bead, like the rising sun, instantly covering the entire hidden valley. BRBR the golden light dissipated the evil spirit in the valley, and every ray of golden light contained the power to bring the dead back to life. BRBR the golden silkworm goo was the result of Ta Waist Goo's lifelong efforts. Before Chu Feng was defeated, he had stored the core fragments of his soul in the golden silkworm goo, integrating it with his heart and blood, just to wait for the moment of resurrection. BRBR at this moment, using the heart's blood as a guide, the power of the golden silkworm goo was completely released. BRBR threads of golden light were like slender golden threads, entwining the suspended blood beads, collecting and condensing all the fragments of Chu Feng's remnant soul that were scattered between the heaven and the earth in the Tianfu secret realm. BRBR those broken soul imprints, nourished by the golden light, merged bit by bit like a puzzle, recondensing into a complete outline of the soul, completely integrated with the natal essence in the blood of the heart. BRBR a pale golden cocoon of light slowly condensed, about as tall as a person, suspended above the bluestone platform, tightly wrapping Chu Feng's condensed soul. BRBR inside the light cocoon, the vitality of the golden silkworm goo poured in continuously and began to reshape Chu Feng's body. BRBR the meridians emerge from nothingness, like crystal jade veins, running through the limbs and bones. BRBR the Dantian has regrouped and is wider and tougher than before the war was over. BRBR the golden light was locked by the ancient restrictions of the valley and was not leaked to the outside world. Neither the remaining geniuses in the secret realm nor the people outside the secret realm knew anything about it. BRBR only Xiatian, who was standing by the light cocoon, witnessed this heaven-defying resurrection technique with his own eyes. BRBR he originally thought that after Chu Feng's army was defeated, his soul would be scattered and he would never survive. BRBR unexpectedly, the master actually achieved the most difficult resurrection from the dead by relying on the golden silkworm goo and his life's hard work. BRBR this method, let alone human monks, even the demons from outside the territory may not be able to match it. BRBR time passed little by little, and the pale golden light cocoon gradually became transparent, and the outline of the physical body inside became clearer and clearer. BRBR the golden silkworm goo turned into a small golden stream of light, penetrated into the light cocoon, and stopped at Chu Feng's heart. BRBR crack, BRBR a crisp cracking sound came from the surface of the light cocoon, like an eggshell breaking. The pale golden light cocoon slowly cracked open, and golden light spurted out from the gap. BRBR immediately, the cocoon of light shattered completely, turning into golden light spots all over the sky, dissipating in the air of the valley. BRBR a tall figure slowly floated above the bluestone platform, and Chu Feng slowly opened his eyes. BRBR his eyes were still clear and deep, a golden light flashed deep in his eyes, and then he was as restrained as before. BRBR he raised his hand and gently touched his chest, feeling the warm breath of the golden silkworm goo in his heart, and a faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. BRBR I succeeded. BRBR with the help of the golden silkworm goo's heaven-defying magical powers and his destiny, he came back from the dead and returned to the world from the punishment of heaven, earth and heaven. BRBR Chu Feng stood on the bluestone platform, feeling the reshaped body, and was about to use his spiritual power to explore his condition. BRBR suddenly, an extremely majestic power surged out of golden silkworm goo's body, flowing along his meridians like a rushing river, and poured crazily into the depths of his bones. BRBR, what's going on? BRBR Chu Feng's body trembled slightly, and he felt a warm feeling in his chest. A supreme aura that overcame heaven and earth suddenly burst out from his body and shot straight into the sky. BRBR a skeleton glowing with colorful light slowly took Sha. Pe, integrating with the bones around him. BRBR Xietian, who was kneeling on the ground, could not help but widen his eyes. BRBR, this is the supreme bone. BRBR, the top innate divine bone in the world, among hundreds of millions of monks, it is impossible to give birth to a supreme bone. BRBR, only the bloodline of the ancient imperial clan has a very small chance of awakening. BRBR, those who possess this bone are born to be the supreme genius, and in the future they can attain the rank of immortal, and even rival the emperor. BRBR, Chu Feng's throat rolled slightly. Even Xietian was so shocked, which shows how precious this supreme bone is. BRBR, could it be that the golden silkworm goo has the ability to reshape the root bone? BRBR, other than the golden silkworm goo, he really couldn't think of any reason why he suddenly awakened the supreme bone. BRBR, I didn't expect that after the war was over, there would be unexpected surprises. BRBR Zhongzhou. BRBR, the spiritual energy here is so rich that it almost turns into a liquid state. There are many fairy mountains and fairy palaces everywhere. BRBR, the Kanglan imperial clan is one of the ancient imperial clan at the top of Zhongzhou. It has been inherited for millions of years and has a profound heritage. There are many strong people in the clan, and there are even several ancestors who have achieved enlightenment and ascended. BRBR, deep in the ancestral land of the Kanglan imperial clan, an ancient holy array suspended above the 9 heavens stands quietly. This array is called the Supreme Induction Array. It was refined with the essence and blood of the Emperor Dao by an ancestor of the Kanglan imperial clan who had the supreme bone. BRBR, specially used to sense the birth of the supreme bone genius in the clan. This formation has only changed 3 times in millions of years, and each time a genius of the imperial clan was born who shocked the past and the present. BRBR, at the moment when Chu Feng's supreme bones were taking shape, the Supreme Induction Array, which had been silent for millions of years, suddenly erupted into bright golden light. BRBR, the golden light shot straight into the sky, illuminating the entire Kanglan imperial clan. Even the other top forces in Zhongzhou felt this terrifying supreme fluctuation, and they all looked sideways and were shocked. BRBR dong, dong, dong. BRBR, the big bell of the Kanglan imperial clan's ancestral temple was triggered by the wave of formations and rang loudly. The sound of the bell spread throughout the entire imperial clan. BRBR, 9 consecutive rings mean that a rare opportunity has appeared in the clan. BRBR, in just half a stick of incense, Chu Feng, the patriarch of the Kanglan imperial clan, the 3 supreme elders, and many elders gathered in the main hall of the ancestral land. BRBR, everyone looked excited and looked at the Supreme Induction Array in the center of the hall. BRBR, clan chief, this is the abnormal movement of the Supreme Induction Array, and it is the strongest ever. BRBR, a white-haired elder pointed at the array pattern, his whole body trembling with excitement. BRBR, the leader, Supreme Elder Chu Xianxiao, is already in the Mahayana stage. BRBR, his beard and hair were all white, but his eyes were wide open at this moment, and his hand stroking his beard kept shaking. BRBR, yes, this is definitely the appearance of the Supreme Bone. Someone in our Kanglan imperial clan has finally awakened to the Supreme Bone. BRBR, this is an opportunity for our clan to rise. Heaven and earth are favoring my Chu family. BRBR, Chu Feng is dressed in a golden imperial robe, his eyes are sharp, and he can't hide the excitement in his heart. BRBR, immediately activate the bloodline traceability array to deduce which tribe the holder of the Supreme Bone belongs to. BRBR, our direct line of the Kanglan imperial clan, has not given birth to a Supreme Bone in nearly 1,000,000 years. Could it be that a collateral line has produced such a heaven-defying clan? Tianjiao? BRBR, the 3 supreme elders immediately stepped forward and jointly activated the bloodline traceability array. Light golden bloodline lines emerged from the array, intertwined with the light of the Supreme Induction Array, and began to deduce the bloodline origin of the Supreme Bone holder. BRBR, after a moment, the bloodline pattern suddenly froze, and a clear bloodline appeared in front of everyone's eyes. The expressions of the elders instantly changed, full of surprise. BRBR, the patriarch, the supreme elder, found out. BRBR, the holder of the Supreme Bone, is not a direct descendant of the Zhongzhou clan, but a collateral branch of our clan who traveled to the eastern region 10,000 years ago. BRBR, Chu Feng frowned and couldn't help but feel a little emotional. BRBR, the collateral lineage that existed thousands of years ago has long been cut off from its own clan and has become an inconspicuous small clan in the eastern region. BRBR, I didn't expect that in this lineage, a genius who awakened the Supreme Bone would be born. BRBR, the 3 supreme elders looked at each other, their eyes full of excitement. BRBR, Chu Xianxiao took a deep breath, and then said in a deep voice, BRBR, the eastern region is remote and lacks spiritual energy, but it can give birth to the Supreme Bone. This son has unparalleled talent and great luck. He is the future of our Kanglan imperial clan. BRBR, I personally led the team and rushed to the eastern region at full speed to find this clansman with the Supreme Bone and bring him back to the main clan of Zhongzhou. BRBR, from today on, we will devote all our efforts to cultivating this child, providing him with the best training resources, helping him to grow rapidly, and reviving the prestige of our Kanglan Emperor. Il clan. BRBR. Chu Songshuan's voice echoed in the Supreme Hall, as if he had seen the past glory of the Kanglan Imperial clan over the other 8 imperial families. BRBR. All the elders in the hall bowed to accept the order. BRBR. They know what it means to have a genius from the imperial clan. BRBR. That is the hope of the entire imperial clan, and even the confidence to dominate Zhongzhou in the future. BRBR. Before we find this person, we must keep it a secret. BRBR. Yes, if other imperial clans know that someone in our clan possesses the supreme bone, they will definitely take action secretly. BRBR. If anyone dares to touch the supreme bones of our clan, I don't mind starting a war between the imperial clan. BRBR. BRBR. In the valley, BRBR. Chu Feng was completely unaware of the shock of the Kanglan imperial clan in Zhongzhou. He restrained the supreme aura in his body and only felt that his physical body had reached an unprecedented peak. BRBR. This feeling is really wonderful. BRBR. Xiatian immediately stepped forward, his tone full of respect. BRBR. Congratulations, Master, on your physical transformation. Your strength is even better than before. BRBR. Chu Feng nodded slightly and raised his hand to help Xiatian. BRBR. To be honest, there are not many people he can entrust to him in the secret realm. BRBR. Except for Jiangji, Xiatian is the only one left. BRBR. Unexpectedly, this extraterrestrial evil spirit did not disappoint him. Not only did he find a hidden place, he also guarded this piece of his heart, waiting for his resurrection. BRBR. Xietian, when I ascend, I will set you free. After hearing that Chu Feng died, those lingering scenes with Chu Feng became the sharpest knife piercing her heart. BRBR. She ignored the imperial edict. Her mind was filled with the news of Chu Feng's death. She was so distraught that she didn't even have the strength to resist. She let the imperial guards drag her and walked towards the Ling Palace. BRBR. In front of the cold palace, Lu Lingyi and Jiang Yuyan met. BRBR. Once upon a time, one was a queen whose mother respected the world, and the other was a concubine who dominated the harem. BRBR. Now, both of them are in messy clothes and with tears streaming down their faces. BRBR. The two looked at each other speechlessly. They both lost the person they cherished most in their hearts and fell into the boundless darkness together. BRBR. The cold palace is in dilapidated condition, the walls are mottled and falling off, the roof is leaking, and the cold wind passes through the hall. BRBR. There is only a shabby wooden bed in the house, a wooden table with missing legs, and not even a thick quilt. The food and clothing are simple and rough, inferior to even the lowest palace maid. BRBR. The palace maids and eunuchs who used to fawn around the two of them in the past all had different faces now. BRBR. At the same time, earth-shaking changes also occurred in Dafeng's court. BRBR. Li Jingyu has become the crown prince of the East Palace and has unlimited fame. However, because his mother Lu Lingyi was deposed, he has completely lost all support. BRBR. Being confined in the mansion and not allowed to go out. BRBR. Li Jingyu stood at the door of the empty East Palace, clenching his fists, his nails embedded in his palms and bleeding, but he was unable to save himself. BRBR. Faced with his father's imperial edict, he could do nothing but watch as everything about him was taken away. BRBR. Father, are you really so heartless towards me? BRBR. The second prince was originally unknown, but now he gained power and was appointed as the new prince. BRBR. His mother-in-law was also canonized as a noble concubine, and she was favored in the harem. The mother and son were extremely prosperous. BRBR. Above the court. BRBR. The ministers who followed the trend of others changed their houses one after another and gathered around the second prince. No one dared to mention Chu Feng's name anymore. BRBR. It was as if the young man who stirred up the storm had never appeared. BRBR. Li Tian's desire for revenge has completely gone crazy. What he wants is not killing but humiliation. BRBR. Chu Feng got involved in his harem, and he wanted to hold all Chu Feng's beauties in his hands. BRBR. Those rats in Yuntian Palace who hide in the gutter all day long, now I have to use them. BRBR. At the beginning, Yuntian Palace was exterminated because of Chu Feng, and many people had no choice but to seek refuge with him. BRBR. These people already have a sworn hatred against Chu Feng, so it is perfect for them to take action. BRBR. Tell them, I want all Chu Feng's women. BRBR. Feng Bao immediately bowed and accepted the order. BRBR. I will do it now, my servant. BRBR. Danyang City, Wanbao Pavilion. BRBR. Sun Yue and Zi Shuha were sitting side by side on the soft couch in the back hall of Wanbao Pavilion. They did not know the news of Chu Feng's death. BRBR. I don't know how Chu Feng is doing now. The secret realm is extremely dangerous, and I always feel panicked. BRBR. Sun Yue gently twisted the handkerchief, her beautiful face full of worry. BRBR. Zi Shuha held her hand, with concern hidden in his eyes. BRBR, he will definitely be able to turn danger into good. We just need to guard Wanbao Pavilion and wait for him to come back. BRBR. As soon as the two of them finished speaking, there was a sudden noise in the front hall. BRBR. The spiritual jade counter was severely smashed, and the elixirs and magic weapons were overturned to the ground. BRBR. 10 men in black with ferocious faces strode into the door, led by an old man with sinister eyes like a wolf, who was the remaining 6 elders of Yuntian Palace. BRBR. Young Chu Feng destroyed my Yuntian Palace and killed my sect members. This hatred is irreconcilable. BRBR. Today, I will ask his woman to come out and pay with her life. BRBR. The pressure of the 6th elder's nascent soul realm spread wantonly, and the air in the entire Wanbao Pavilion seemed to freeze. BRBR. The guests in the pavilion were so frightened that they rolled and crawled in all directions. BRBR. In just a moment, the huge Wanbao Pavilion lobby was in a mess. BRBR. Sun Yue stood up and walked out of the back hall quickly. Looking at the mess on the ground, her eyebrows stood up involuntarily. BRBR. Who are you? How dare you run wild in Wanbao Pavilion? BRBR. The 6th elder looked at her sideways, with a cruel smile on his lips. BRBR. You must be Chu Feng's woman. Today I will sacrifice you to my dead comrade from Yuntian Palace. BRBR. Before he finished speaking, the 6th elder waved his hand, and a concentrated black spiritual power palm wine suddenly blasted out. BRBR. Sun Yue had no time to dodge, she only felt a sharp pain in her chest, as if she had been hit by a huge boulder. BRBR. Poof. BRBR. A mouthful of bright red blood spurted out from her mouth, and she flew backwards like a kite with a broken string, hitting the wall heavily. BRBR. The wall cracked in an instant, and Sun Yue's meridians were shattered, and she collapsed to the ground. She didn't even have the strength to use her spiritual power. BRBR. Yue. BRBR. Zishua's eyes were about to split when he saw this. BRBR. The aura around her surged, and a cyan sword was instantly unsheathed, piercing the 6th elder's heart. BRBR. Old man, die. BRBR. But between the 1st level of Yuanying and the 9th level of Yuanying, there are 8 entire small realms separated by a natural chasm, and the difference in strength is like the difference between clouds and mud. BRBR. In the eyes of the 6 elders, Zishua's sword moves were too slow to be vulnerable to a blow. BRBR. The 6th elder sneered and blocked. At the moment when the spiritual power collided, Zishua felt a huge force coming along the sword body, which made her arm numb and almost let go of the sword. BRBR. She tried her best to activate the skills, but they were easily resolved by the 6th elder. BRBR. In just a dozen rounds, a hint of impatience flashed in the eyes of the 6th elder, and the fierce spiritual power pressed directly into Zishua's chest. BRBR. Poof. BRBR. A ferocious blood mark exploded on Zishua's chest, and the blood instantly soaked into her long skirt. BRBR. The nascent soul inside the body shook violently and almost collapsed. BRBR. She was covered in blood, her legs softened, and she collapsed heavily to the ground. BRBR. When my husband comes back, I will make you pay the price. BRBR. Hearing this, the 6th elder laughed out loud. BRBR. Chu Feng has already died in the Tianfu secret realm, and you still expect him to save you, so stop dreaming. BRBR. No way, you want to lie to me. BRBR. Zishua simply cannot imagine that the man who seems to be confident no matter what happens, will die in the secret realm. BRBR. However, another bad thought came into her mind. BRBR. If Chu Feng is really still alive, will these remnants of Yuntian Palace still dare to come and cause trouble for them? BRBR. Husband. BRBR. The 2 elders behind the 6th elder took out the spirit chains, locked Sun Yue and Zishua, and forced them out of Wanbao Pavilion like they were dragging animals. BRBR. There was only a mess on the ground in Wanbao Pavilion. The people of Danyang City watched from a distance, daring to be angry but afraid to speak. The whole city was in an uproar. No one dared to step forward to stop it. BRBR. BRBR. Late night, Danyang sect. BRBR. Zhao Yurong was sitting on the bed concentrating on practicing, but suddenly there was a whistling wind outside the door. BRBR. Tianan is an undercover outer sect elder placed by Yuntian Palace in Danyang sect. He has been lurking for more than 10 years, and tonight it is finally his turn to take action. BRBR. Tianan slapped Zhao Yurong hard with his palm, the wind of the palm was extremely sharp. BRBR. Bang. BRBR. Zhao Yurong hurriedly used her spiritual power to resist, but the gap between the golden core realm and the nascent soul realm was too huge. With just one move, she was severely knocked away. BRBR. She felt that the spiritual power in his dantian was completely disordered. The palm he just struck almost shattered his golden elixir. BRBR. Who are you? How dare you break into Danyang sect at night? BRBR. Come with me. BRBR. Tianan sneered, took out the spirit chain and locked Zhao Yurong, sealing all her cultivation. BRBR. There are people outside the sect who have already responded. BRBR. After the group of people met together, they immediately rushed towards the Dafeng capital overnight. BRBR. In just one day, all 3 of Chu Feng's wives were arrested. BRBR. The 3 were forcibly taken into the Dafeng palace and locked in a secret room. BRBR. A dim oil lamp flickered, making the 3 people's pale faces look even more haggard. BRBR. Zhao spoke first. BRBR. What is going on? Why did I hear that Chu Feng died in the secret realm? BRBR. Hearing this question, Zhao Xuelian nodded miserably. BRBR. Although she didn't want to make Zhao and Sun Yue sad, so she never told them the news. BRBR. But now, it would be impossible not to say anything. BRBR. I have received a message from the ancestor of the sect. Chu Feng is indeed, BRBR. She could not say the next words, and the word death could not be uttered no matter what. Having already said it, she simply told everything she knew. BRBR. When they heard the news of Chu Feng's death from Zhao Xuelian, Zhao and Sun Yue's eyes suddenly turned red. BRBR. Not long after, the stone door of the secret room came to light. He was slowly pushed away. BRBR. Li Tian walked into the secret room, looking down at the 3 women chained on the ground, as if looking at prey in his hands, with a sinister smile on his lips. BRBR. Sun Yue, Zhao Xuelian. BRBR. Li Tian slowly read out the names of the 3 people, and his eyes swept over their blood-stained faces one by one. BRBR. They are all Chu Feng's favorites, right? BRBR. Sun Yue held on to her weak body, her eyes full of anger. BRBR. Li Tian, Chu Feng is a hero of the human race for killing the demon emperor. Aren't you afraid of being reviled by the world if you capture us? BRBR. Li Tian looked up to the sky and laughed as if he had heard a big joke. BRBR. Hero? Is he worthy? BRBR. He Chu Feng is just a kid who doesn't know the heights of heaven and earth. My queen and noble concubine have all been touched by him. BRBR. I will lose all my face as an emperor. This shame and humiliation, I will take it back from you one by one today. BRBR. He walked up to Sun Yue and said coldly, BRBR. Aren't you all devoted to Chu Feng? BRBR. What a pity, he is already dead, his soul is gone, and he will never come back. BRBR. Now, you are my prisoners when you fall into my hands. BRBR. I will make you suffer all kinds of humiliation, make you cry and beg for mercy, and make Chu Feng watch his woman bow to me under the 9 springs. BRBR. Zhao endured the severe pain in his chest and spoke coldly, BRBR. Chu Feng is not dead, he will definitely come back. BRBR. The day he comes back will be the day when your Dafeng will be destroyed. BRBR. You still dare to be tough? BRBR. Li Tian's face darkened, ND. He slapped Zhao on the face. BRBR. Then, he turned to look at Zhao Xuelian. BRBR. You are the wife of Chu Fengming, so you must care about him the most. BRBR. I tell you, as long as you obey me, I may be able to spare your life. BRBR. If you refuse, I have plenty of ways to make your life worse than death. BRBR. Zhao Xuelian raised his pale face, with no fear in his eyes. BRBR. I am born as Chu Feng's, and die as Chu Feng's ghost. I will never beg for mercy from a mediocre emperor like you. BRBR. Chu Feng is upright and upright, how can he be compared to a narrow-minded person like you? BRBR. Looking at their unyielding appearance, Li Tian's anger suddenly surged in his heart. BRBR. Okay, what a man who would rather die than surrender. BRBR. He gritted his teeth and looked ferocious. BRBR. I want to see how hard your bones are. The Imperial Guards abandoned their helmets and armor and fled in all directions, unable to resist at all. BRBR. Before the deputy commander could react, Chu Feng's figure appeared in front of him instantly. BRBR. At this moment, even if he faced a young man whose cultivation was far weaker than his own, he could not muster any courage to resist. BRBR. It's simple. Those who resisted just now are all dead. BRBR. Spare my life. BRBR. Just in the middle of his words, Chu Feng's big hand had already covered his face. BRBR. Where is Zhao Xuelian? BRBR. The deputy commander asked tentatively, trembling all over. BRBR. Say it, can you exchange my life? BRBR. However, Chu Feng had already lost his patience and directly robbed the power of his soul through the formation. BRBR. Soul search. BRBR. The deputy commander felt that his consciousness instantly became empty, and then a stinging pain came from his mind. BRBR. BRBR. As the screams echoed through the palace, Chu Feng got the news he wanted to know. BRBR. At the same time, his expression became much gloomier. BRBR. It turns out that Li Tian not only arrested Zhao Xuelian, but also Zhao and Sun Yue. BRBR. Although the deputy commander didn't know much, he had been pointed in a direction, which was the royal garden. BRBR. There is a dungeon in the royal garden, but he needs to find the entrance to the dungeon himself. BRBR. With a flash of cold light, the long sword instantly cut the deputy commander's throat. BRBR. Since you have chosen to take action, you have to bear the price of taking action, die. BRBR. Your life was gone the moment you attacked me. BRBR we walked to the depths of the Imperial Garden. BRBR the Dan fire suddenly shot up into the sky, dyeing the entire sky red. BRBR the Dan King Guhai stands in the sky. He practices the Dan Dao technique burning heaven Dan Huangju. BRBR the pressure at the peak of the divine transformation. Realm spread wantonly, causing all the flowers and plants in the royal garden to wither, blocking Chu Feng's path. BRBR Guhai is the enshrined Dan King of the Dafeng dynasty. At this moment, he looked down at Chu Feng and said coldly. BRBR, but someone with a cultivation level in the transformation of God realm dares to break into the palace, what an arrogant and ignorant ant. BRBR Chu Feng looked directly at Guhai, his tone was indifferent and decisive. BRBR I don't want to kill irrelevant people, either die or get out. BRBR after seeing the other party's elixir fire, Chu Feng had already guessed the identity of the person in front of him. BRBR Chu Feng never expected that the first meeting between the two would be under such circumstances. BRBR the dignified alchemy king is willing to be someone else's lackey, so he doesn't mind slaughtering dogs today. BRBR presumptuous. BRBR hearing this, Guhai suddenly became furious. The elixir fire all over his body surged several feet, and the burning Heaven Pill Emperor technique was operating to the extreme. BRBR how dare you, a junior, speak to me like this. BRBR originally, he was the #1 person in the Defeng alchemy way, but just because of the appearance of this junior in front of him, everything that originally belonged to him was taken away. BRBR he would never believe that a 20-year-old young man could refine a 9th grade elixir. BRBR today, he was going to expose this lie. BRBR death. BRBR after the words fell, Guhai made a secret with both hands, activating all the lifelong elixir fire. BRBR the sky-burning elixir lotus. BRBR the elixir fire condensed into 9 red elixir lotuses with a size of 100 feet, and the heart of the lotus bloomed with the sky-burning flame, and at the same time triggered the heaven and earth elixir. BRBR purple pill thunder fell from the clouds, intertwined with the pill fire, and the entire imperial garden turned into a sea of fire. BRBR the air was scorched and twisted violently, and the thunder and fire roared, as if it was going to burn the entire world. BRBR the ancient sea palm. With a push of his heart, a huge pill fire palm that was several feet high slammed down towards Chu Feng. BRBR Chu Feng stepped on the star-shifting formation, and the formation patterns moved rapidly. BRBR at the same time, the supreme bone golden light in his chest burst out, illuminating the entire imperial garden. BR the supreme pressure of the supreme bone swept out, suppressing the pill fire slightly. BRBR Chu Feng clenched his right fist, condensed the power of heaven and earth, and intertwined with the power of the pill fire that rebounded from the formation. BRBR the power of the supreme, break. BRBR the 9 red lotuses instantly shattered, the red fire scattered in all directions, and the red thunder was bounced towards Guhai. BRBR Guhai had no time to react, and was hit in the chest by several attacks at the same time. His body collapsed on the spot, leaving only a broken soul trembling in the void in fear. BRBR impossible, this is absolutely impossible. BRBR how could that dignified peak-level god-forming person be killed with one punch? BRBR or looking at the flesh and blood on the ground, he had to believe that he was dead. BRBR I hope you know more. BRBR as soon as he finished speaking, Chu Feng instantly appeared in front of Guhai and searched for the soul again. BRBR Guhai's soul shook violently and almost collapsed. BRBR until Chu Feng knew everything he wanted, his 5 fingers clenched tightly in an instant, it directly crushed King Dan's soul. BRBR Chu Feng turned into a stream of light and headed towards the dungeon in the Imperial Garden. BRBR as soon as he found the entrance to the dungeon, eunuch Feng Bao suddenly stopped in front. BRBR Chu Feng. Your Majesty treats you well, but you dare to kill the palace. Guards, slaughter the Imperial army, and kill the alchemy king. BRBR today, our family will clean up the house for His Majesty and cut you into pieces as a warning to others. BRBR Feng Bao pinched the Yin Ju, and the Yin evil soul-capturing skill exploded with all his strength, and the black mist around him turned into dozens of pitch-black Yin soul claws. BRBR the claws were surrounded by soul-capturing black energy, arousing the Yin evil energy in the world. BRBR Chu Feng's eyes turned cold, and without any hesitation, the Dozhuanqing shifting formation instantly spread out, covering Feng Bao and Yin Sha's power. BRBR Feng Bao Gang was about to activate the spiritual power of the 6th level of refining to control the Yin soul claws. It felt like the cultivation in the body was flowing rapidly. BRBR the power of the Yin Sha soul capturing skill was drawn out wildly by the formation, the Yin soul talons instantly collapsed, and the black mist dissipated. BRBR the power of the void refining realm. Standing in front of the Dozhuanqing shifting formation, he was vulnerable and unable to withstand the force of the formation. BRBR his eyes widened, but he didn't even have the strength to move. BRBR what did you do, you traitor? BRBR the only answer to him was Chu Feng's sword, BRBR the sword light flashed, and the old eunuch in the void refining realm was directly split into two pieces. BRBR Chu Feng rushed into the dungeon, condensed the power of the supreme bone in his right fist, and blasted out, BRBR bang, BRBR with a loud noise. The stone door of the secret room instantly shattered, gravel flew, and smoke filled the air. BRBR in the secret room, Li Tian was just about to pull off Zhao Xuelian's skirt when he heard the loud sound of the stone door shattering and turned around suddenly. BRBR when he saw the figure standing at the door, Li Tian's eyes suddenly shrank. BRBR he was shaking violently, as if he had seen a ghost, and his voice changed. BRBR Chu Feng, why are you here? BRBR Chu Feng looked at the three pale ladies and wished he could eat Li Tian alive. BRBR Li Tian, you deserve to die. BRBR after Li Tian discovered that Chu Feng was not a ghost, he immediately recovered from his panic. BRBR although he was seriously injured, he was still a strong man in the void refining realm. BRBR it was you who caused trouble in the harem first, so don't blame me for attacking your woman. BRBR however, just when he wanted to use the spiritual power in his body to directly kill Chu Feng, he was horrified to find that the spiritual power in his body was empty. BRBR what is going on? BRBR looking at Chu Feng approaching step by step, he immediately shouted outside the dungeon, BRBR, come quickly, help. BRBR however, there was no response from outside the dungeon, BRBR until Chu Feng walked up to him, the tip of the sword was pressed against his throat, BRBR you are dead today, I said, no one can save you. BRBR no, BRBR as if thinking of something, Li Tian immediately turned his head to look in the direction of the forbidden area of the palace. BRBR ancestor, save me. BRBR the next moment, a sigh came from the void. BRBR hearing that familiar voice, Li Tian breathed a sigh of relief. His ancestor had not given up on him yet. BRBR although Li Che didn't know how Chu Feng survived from the secret realm, now that the other party had come to his door, he couldn't stay out of the matter. BRBR little friend, after all, he is a bloodline of my Li family and is the Emperor of Dafeng. For my sake, can you please, BRBR, get out? BRBR before Li Che could finish his words, Chu Feng interrupted the old man with a cold voice. BRBR he did not believe that Li Che would not know anything about what Li Tian did secretly. BRBR the other party actually acquiesced to this mat. After his death, so what dignity did this old man have in front of him? BRBR old guy, I'm going to spare your life, just because I don't want Dafeng to fall apart without a guard dog. BRBR even though Li Che was scolded bloody, he didn't refute at all. BRBR he knew very well that the emperor could not be saved today. BRBR Chu Feng's energy has already surpassed that of Dafeng, and even he can't stop him. BRBR if you still want the Li family to continue to be the master of Dafeng, this emperor who has only a limited time must give up in order to calm Chu Feng's anger. BRBR however, Li Tian was stunned when he heard Chu Feng's merciless words. BRBR how dare this guy be so arrogant? BRBR however, what he didn't expect was that the ancestor didn't react at all, as if he chose to remain silent. BRBR old, BRBR before he finished speaking, Chu Feng slapped his head into the chest with a palm. BRBR the corpse fell heavily to the ground, and a dead silence fell in the dungeon. BRBR it was not until the moment of Li Tian's death that the three women recovered from the shock. BRBR Chu Feng is really not dead. BRBR Zhao Xuelian was the first to throw himself into Chu Feng's arms and immediately burst into tears, as if he wanted to cry out all his grievances. BRBR, they all said you were dead, but I thought it was true. BRBR she kept beating Chu Feng on the back and chanting. BRBR I thought I would never see you again. BRBR Chu Feng held her tightly in his arms and continued to comfort her. BRBR I'm sorry, I'm late. BRBR at this moment, Zishuha and Sun Yue also rushed over. BRBR Chu Feng wanted to say something more, but was immediately blocked by Zishuha who missed him terribly. BRBR the two of them kissed passionately, as if all their thoughts were being melted into this kiss. BRBR it wasn't until there seemed to be two eyes staring directly at the two of them that Zishuha took a step back. With a blush. BRBR after all, Chu Feng is not hers alone. BRBR it is not good to eat alone, let alone eating alone in front of two people. BRBR you, what are you staring at me for? BRBR Sun Yue and Zishuha spent the longest time together, she joked slightly jealously. BRBR we are afraid that you will eat my husband. BRBR after Chu Feng left the healing elixir for the three girls, he placed them in the emperor's palace. BRBR however, just when the three of them wanted to have a romantic relationship with him, Chu Feng did not stay. BRBR because, after searching the soul of the deputy commander, he also learned another thing. BRBR Lu Lingyi and Jiang Yuyan were both deposed and imprisoned in the cold palace. BRBR both these two women ended up like this because of him, and he couldn't ignore them. BRBR you go ahead and heal your wounds first, I'll be back soon. Jiang Yuyan's voice stopped suddenly, as if the strings of a piano had been cut off, and her whole body froze in place. BRBR, her eyes widened, her mind went blank, and she even forgot to breathe. BRBR inside the room. BRBR on the dilapidated bed, Chu Feng and Lu Lingyi's clothes were messy and unsightly. BRBR after Jiang Yuyan was shocked, her cheeks turned red at a speed visible to the naked eye. BRBR from the cheeks to the roots of the ears, and then to the neck, it was like a ripe cherry, scalding hot. BRBR, it was as if a restraining spell had been cast on her, and she didn't know where to put her arms and legs. BRBR, not only is Chu Feng, whom I miss day and night, not dead, but he is still with Lu Lingyi. BRBR, Jiang Yuyan's lips trembled slightly, and she quickly lowered her head, not daring to look at the two people on the bed anymore, wishing she could find a crack in the floor to crawl in. BRBR, she never expected that when she rushed to help, she would encounter such a scene. BRBR, after a while, Jiang Yuyan came back to her senses and quickly exited the room with a blushing face. BRBR, yes, I'm sorry, I came at the wrong time. BRBR, but just as she took a step back, a strong suction force suddenly came from the room, like an invisible big hand, and it instantly wrapped around her waist. BRBR, ah, BRBR, Jiang Yuyan exclaimed, her body being pulled uncontrollably by the suction force and flying towards the room, unable to resist at all. BRBR, bang. BRBR, the door was closed again. BRBR, the next second, Jiang Yuyan's body fell on the old but warm bed, and landed beside Chu Feng. BRBR, for a while, it seemed a little crowded. BRBR, Jiang Yuyan panicked and tried to get up, but Chu Feng gently raised his hand to hold his shoulder. BRBR, Chu Feng looked at Jiang Yuyan, who was so embarrassed that her beautiful eyes were watery and panicked, her eyes were full of doting. BRBR, he stretched out his fingers and gently lifted Jiang Yuyan's chin, asking her to raise her head and look directly into his eyes. BRBR, you came at the right time. BRBR, Jiang Yuyan met Chu Feng's gentle eyes, and her cheeks became even hotter. BRBR, her body struggled slightly and quickly turned her head, her voice timid and resisting. BRBR, I didn't mean it, I just wanted to help Sister Lingyi. BRBR, before she finished speaking, Chu Feng lowered his head and blocked her lips. BRBR, Jiang Yuyan's struggle instantly froze, her body went limp, and she closed her beautiful eyes. BRBR, at midnight, the waning moon was setting in the west, and there was silence in the cold palace. BRBR, Lu Lingyi and Jiang Yuyan had already been tossed into a deep sleep, and they did not even have the strength to return to the palace, with a faint smile on their lips. BRBR, Chu Feng stood up quietly, arranged his clothes, and left the cold palace quietly. BRBR, the Emperor's palace has long been tidied up, brightly lit and warm. BRBR, after Zhao Yurong, Sun Yue, and Zishua took the elixir, all their injuries dissipated. BRBR, the three of them washed up, lost their embarrassment, and regained their former beautiful appearance. BRBR, why hasn't Chu Feng come back yet? BRBR, Sun Yue gently twisted the handkerchief, her pretty little face full of longing. BRBR, the two had just met and were about to be separated again. Her heart gradually rose, fearing that she would lose Chu Feng again. BRBR, Zhao Yurong smiled gently and gently held her hand. BRBR, don't worry, he will definitely come back after handling the matter. BRBR, at this moment, Chu Feng walked in. BRBR, tonight, he is afraid that he will become a fool. BRBR, beloved concubines, here I come. BRBR, on a giant airship. BRBR, Chu Xianxiao stared at the direction pointed by the compass in his hand and murmured in a low voice. BRBR, the fluctuation of the bloodline of the Supreme Bone is in the capital of the Dafeng dynasty in the eastern region. It is finally found, BRBR, in just half a day, the royal sky boat descended over the capital of the Dafeng dynasty. BRBR, the gilded light illuminated the entire capital, and the people in the city were so frightened that they fell to their knees one after another, thinking that it was a god coming to the world, and they were as silent as cicadas. BRBR, Chu Xianxiao stood up, his consciousness sweeping across the entire capital. BRBR, the pointer of the bloodline compass shook slightly, and finally pointed in the direction of the palace. BRBR, but when his spiritual consciousness penetrated into the palace, he found that there was no breath of the Supreme Bone there, only the remaining faint fluctuations remained. BRBR, you are not in the capital? BRBR, Chu Xianxiao frowned, a trace of doubt flashing in his eyes. BRBR, the breath has just left, chase. BRBR, the royal sky boat started up again, turned into a gilded light mark, and went straight to Danyang sect. BRBR, Danyang sect was already in an uproar. BRBR, Chu Feng succeeded in one step and directly established Li Jingyu as the new emperor, and Lu Lingyi became the empress dowager. BRBR, no one in Dafeng could disobey him, so Li Che could only acquiesce to this matter. BRBR, after settling Lu Lingyi and Jiang Yuyan, he directly left the Dafeng palace with Zhao Yurong, Sun Yue, and Zishua. BRBR he can confuse the harem, but he cannot be too unscrupulous. BRBR after all, he has no intention of becoming emperor, and the ancestor of the Li family is still alive. BRBR the Danyang sect's disciples who were inspecting the mountain gate saw Chu Feng's figure from a distance. They were startled for a moment, and then they felt as if they had seen a ghost. BRBR then, that's the Supreme Elder? BRBR impossible, didn't the Supreme Elder fight in the secret realm of Tianfu and die together with the Demon Emperor? BRBR, am I dazzled? BRBR, it's impossible for me to be dazzled too, right? BRBR the exclamation at the mountain gate spread throughout the entire Danyang sect in an instant. BRBR Taoist Xuanzhen always thought that Chu Feng had died. He was grieving all day long. He even personally set up a tomb for Chu Feng and worshipped him every day. BRBR, but when he heard the noise outside, his ears suddenly pricked up. BRBR master, is not dead? BRBR the next moment, his figure instantly appeared in the void. BRBR after seeing the familiar figure clearly, he completely froze on the spot, and his muddy old eyes were round. BRBR Taoist Xuanzhen lived for more than 10,000 years. He was used to seeing separation between life and death, but he had never been so shocked as he was now. BRBR he quickly rushed to Chu Feng, grabbed Chu Feng's arm, and held it tightly with his fingertips. BRBR master, you are still alive, it's so great. BRBR Chu Feng felt warm in his heart when he saw Taoist Xuanzhen bursting into tears with excitement. BRBR, I'm back alive. BRBR not long after, everyone in the Danyang sect rushed over after hearing the news, and gathered densely in front of the mountain gate. Seeing Chu Feng standing in front of them, they were completely shocked. BRBR it is incredible that the Supreme Elder can survive such a punishment from heaven. BRBR I knew that the Supreme Elder would never fall easily, so he is back now. BRBR, the Supreme Elder has returned, and our Danyang sect is about to rise. BRBR however, Chu Feng did not stay too long in Danyang sect, and turned around to go to 10,000 Beast sect. BRBR at first, he deceived Jiangji out of the secret realm, and now he has to make amends. BRBR not long after he left, a roar that shook the world suddenly came from the sky above Danyang sect. BRBR the royal sky boat descended on Danyang sect. From the sky abo. The Yang sect, the pressure of the Mahayana stage poured down like a tsunami, instantly covering the entire Danyang sect. BRBR the mountain peaks of the Danyang sect trembled violently, and the mountain guard formation at the mountain gate was automatically activated, but it trembled slightly under the pressure, as if it would collapse at any time. BRBR what a terrifying pressure, it seems to be more terrifying than the Demon Emperor in the Tianfu secret realm. BRBR, that is, the royal sky boat of the Zhongzhou imperial clan. Only the legendary ancient imperial clan has such a treasure. BRBR, how could our Danyang sect attract the Zhongzhou imperial clan's supreme flying boat? BRBR everyone in the Danyang sect was so frightened that the whole sect fell into a dead silence. BRBR Taoist Xuanzhen forcibly withstood the pressure of the Mahayana period and looked up at the Yukongju above. BRBR Xuanzhen, the master of the Danyang sect, I don't know why the great immortal has come to visit. BRBR after the words fell, the door of Yukongju slowly opened. BRBR Chu Xuanxiao's body was filled with Mahayana pressure and restrained, but he still made the world change color. BRBR his eyes indifferently swept across the kneeling Danyang sect below, and finally landed on Taoist Xuanzhen. BRBR I, Chu Xianxiao, of the Kanglin Emperor clan, came here just to find me, a member of the Chu clan, a baby surnamed Chu who has awakened the supreme bone. Guided by the compass, he is here. BRBR baby surnamed Chu? Awakened the supreme bone? BRBR Taoist Xuanzhen was stunned when he heard this. Everyone in the Danyang sect looked at each other and shook their heads. BRBR back to the immortal, there are no children in our Danyang sect who have awakened the supreme bone. BRBR Xuanzhen Taoist naturally did not dare to lie in front of a Mahayana monk. The supreme bone only exists in legends, how could it appear in their Danyang sect? BRBR. The rest of the people also agreed. BRBR, there are a few disciples named Chu, but there are no babies. BRBR Chu Xianxiao frowned, thinking that these people wanted to take the supreme bone as their own. BRBR the bloodline compass in my hand is the supreme treasure of our clan. It will never go wrong. He is obviously here. BRBR his consciousness swept across the entire Danyang sect again, and he checked carefully, but he did not find the person he was looking for. BRBR at this moment, the pointer of the bloodline compass suddenly turned sharply, heading in the direction of the 10,000 Beast sect. BRBR, he left again? BRBR his face darkened, and then he asked. BRBR, who took away the baby surnamed Chu? BRBR Taoist Xuanzhen looked at the direction of the bloodline compass and thought of Chu Feng who had just left. His heart suddenly moved and he asked tentatively. BRBR, the person you are looking for is not my master, right? BRBR your master? BRBR hearing this, Chu Xianxiao was stunned. BRBR he looked carefully at Taoist Xuanzhen up and down, and then shook his head. BRBR this old Taoist has lived for at least 10,000 years. How could his master be a baby? BRBR at this moment, he seemed to have thought of an incredible possibility. BRBR, could it be that, the people of our clan who have awakened the supreme bone are not babies? BRBR Taoist Xuanzhen looked at Chu Xuanxiao's shocked expression and his tone became more certain. BRBR my master's name is Chu Feng. He just left the sect and went to the 10,000 Beast sect. BRBR Chu Feng, BRBR Chu Xianxiao read the name silently, his heart moved, and he quickly asked. BRBR your master, have you just come from the capital of Dafeng dynasty? BRBR Taoist Xuanzhen nodded immediately without any concealment. BRBR master is indeed from Dafeng capital. BRBR as soon as these words came out, Chu Xianxiao suddenly realized, and a hint of joy flashed in his eyes. BRBR we found the right person. BRBR go to 10,000 Beasts sect immediately. BRBR when everyone in Danyang sect heard this, they all suddenly realized and exploded instantly. BRBR it turns out they came to find the Supreme Elder. BRBR the Supreme Elder turned out to be a member of the Kanglin Imperial clan in Zhongzhou. I didn't expect that he had such an amazing origin. BRBR no wonder the Supreme Elder's talent is incredible. It turned out to be a Taiku. The bloodline of the Imperial clan. BRBR the person just said that the Supreme Elder has awakened the Supreme Bone, which is the top level of cultivation foundation that only exists in legends. BRBR Zhao Yurong stood in the crowd and heard the discussion, but he felt a little doubt in his heart. BRBR Chu Feng was clearly from Qingshan City, so why did he suddenly get involved with the ancient Imperial clan in Zhongzhou? BRBR however, when she looked up, the royal sky boat in the void had already disappeared. However, what surprised him was that Chu Feng did not kill him immediately, but directly used the star-shifting formation to draw all his power into himself. BRBR Chu Feng was limited by his own cultivation and soul power, so the range covered by the Dozhuan star-shifting formation was only 100 feet. BRBR however, after extracting Long Yi's power, it was completely different. BRBR Long Si, Long Lu, and Long Jiao looked at each other and Long Lu said coldly. BRBR you two break the formation, I'll trap this kid. BRBR after hearing Long Yi's reminder, he already made a decision in his heart. BRBR as long as he doesn't take the initiative to attack Chu Feng and keep 100 feet away from him, this kid can't do anything to them. BRBR with the 6th grade formation alone, trying to kill them is tantamount to wishful thinking. BRBR as long as they break through this formation, they have plenty of ways to control a small person in the God transformation realm. BRBR Long Si and Long Jiao immediately understood what Long Lu was thinking. They no longer paid attention to Chu Feng, but tried their best to break the formation. BRBR Chu Feng raised the corners of his mouth slightly and stared at the remaining 3 dragon guards with playful eyes. BRBR, who told you that the range of my formation is only 100 feet? BRBR buzz, BRBR Chu Feng obtained the power of the peak realm of refining the void. With a flash of light in his eyes, the formation instantly covered 1,000 feet in radius. BRBR at this moment, the entire area covered by the 4 elephants formation is covered by his star-shifting formation. Now the remaining dragon guards have no chance. BRBR Long Dun's eyes widened for a moment, with a look of disbelief on his face. BRBR at this moment, his eyes were full of panic, and he had an extremely terrifying thought in his mind. BRBR could it be that this boy in the realm of gods has been pretending to be a pig and eating the tiger with them from the beginning? BRBR he originally thought that the range of Chu Feng's formation was only 100 feet, but he did not expect that the other party could expand the range of the formation to 1,000 feet in an instant. How could he fight? BRBR, how did you do it? BRBR however, after asking this question, he suddenly figured something out. BRBR Chu Feng only expanded the formation's coverage to 1,000 feet after extracting his power, so as long as he dies, Chu Feng will have nowhere to draw on. BRBR thinking of this, he immediately took out a short knife from his sleeve and stabbed it into his chest. BRBR Chu Feng, I will die with you. BRBR now he is no different from a mortal, he cannot even self-destruct, so he can only commit suicide in this way. BRBR at this moment, the remaining 3 dragon guards were already dead souls. They had no intention of entangled with Chu Feng anymore. They just wanted to break through the 4 elephant formation quickly. BRBR want to run? BRBR Chu Feng immediately activated the star movement formation and began to transfer the power of these 3 people. BRBR the most desperate thing happened for Long Yi. At the moment when the dagger in his hand pierced his heart, the cultivation levels of Long Si, Long Lu, and Long Jiao had already been transferred to him by Chu Feng. BRBR the 3 of them suddenly acted like mortals without cultivation. They were in the 4 elephant formation. They had no defensive capabilities and were soon completely shattered by the killing formation. BRBR the dragon spurted out a mouthful of blood, and there was only deathly silence in his eyes. BRBR at the moment of his death, he watched 3 brothers being strangled by the killing array. BRBR all the 10 dragon guards died at the hands of a kid in the god transformation realm. This made him feel extremely aggrieved. What was even MO? Re-aggrieved was that he committed suicide. BRBR screams continued to be heard from the 4-elephant formation. Shan Yuanhong was fighting Xia Tian. Hearing the screams, his movements suddenly stopped. BRBR no, this is the voice of the Dragon Guard. BRBR he just wanted to pull away and go to rescue, but he was tightly entangled by Xia Tian. The demonic energy of the demon tower swept across crazily, suppressing him tightly, making it impossible for him to escape. BRBR the screams kept coming and going, Shan Yuanhong's heart was bleeding when he heard them. BRBR those are the top 10 dragon guards. BRBR every one of them is a dead warrior trained by the Lingxian imperial clan who spent resources. The 10 of them joined forces and killed countless powerful men in the fusion realm. BRBR now they are falling one after another in Chu Feng's formation, leaving no room for resistance. BRBR the corners of Shan Yuanhong's eyes twitched crazily, and there was a hint of sluggishness in the movement of spiritual energy throughout his body. BRBR he turned his head sharply and stared at the 4-elephant formation, a trace of anger flashing in his eyes. BRBR bastard. My dragon guard. BRBR 4 monks, distraction during battle is a fatal flaw. BRBR Xia Tian, who had been holding him tightly, instantly seized this golden opportunity. BRBR Xia Tian was already at a disadvantage due to the fragments of Shan Yuanhong's imperial weapon, and the wound on his chest was still flowing with demon blood, but at this moment, a cold demon light burst out from his eyes, and all the demon energy around him exploded without reservation. BRBR the 9-story heavenly demon tower trembled violently in his hands, and a shadow of the heavenly demon supreme standing tall on the sky slowly emerged from the tower. BRBR the demonic roar shook the sky, making the entire canyon tremble. BRBR you dare to be distracted while fighting with me. BRBR Xia Tian suddenly exerted force with his arms and smashed the heavenly demon tower, which was imbued with the cultivation of the fusion stage, towards Shan Yuanhong's chest. BRBR wherever the tower passed, the space was compressed and collapsed layer by layer, and the dark devil wind roared out, tearing Shan Yuanhong's golden body to pieces in an instant. BRBR Shan Yuanhong realized something was wrong and wanted to defend himself, but it was already too late. BRBR bang, BRBR with a deafening bang, the demon tower hit Shan Yuanhong firmly on the chest. BRBR the Lingxi armor on Shan Yuanhong instantly shattered into countless fragments, a large piece of his chest was sunken, and countless ribs were broken at the same time. BRBR like a rag doll that was blown away, he flew backwards for more than 1,000 meters and hit the rock wall of the canyon hard, knocking a huge human-shaped pit out of the hard mountain wall. BRBR rubbles rolled down, burying half of his body inside. BRBR poof, BRBR a large mouthful of golden red blood spurted out from Shan Yuanhong's mouth. His sharp eyes dimmed instantly, and his aura became extremely depressed. BRBR Shan Yuanhong, who originally thought he had a chance to win, could not even stand up at this moment. He could only lean on the ground with his elbows and stare at Xia Tian resentfully. BRBR you dare to hurt me. The Lingxian imperial clan will not let you go. BRBR every word he uttered would stretch the wound, causing his whole body to convulse in pain. BRBR the injury on Xia Tian's chest also collapsed again due to the full blow just now, but Shan Yuanhong's injury was obviously more serious than him. BRBR he glanced at Shan Yuanhong coldly, as if looking at a dead person. BRBR if he hadn't kept this person alive to wait for Chu Feng's treatment, he would have killed this guy with one move. BRBR in the 4-elephant formation. BRBR Chu Feng did not kill Long Yim directly, but instead used his spiritual power to hold him to his last breath. BRBR at this time, Long Yi's eyes were empty and his spirit had completely collapsed. BRBR he held his head in his hands, trembling all over, and his teeth kept chattering. BRBR kill me quickly. BRBR he watched with his own eyes as 9 of his companions were killed one by one in Chu Feng's formation. The fear of being unable to resist and could only wait for death completely crushed his will. BRBR the reason why Chu Feng did not kill him was because there were still many unanswered questions in his heart. BRBR who sent you here? How did you know that I had awakened the supreme bone? BRBR hearing this question, Long Yi seemed to have regained some sanity. BRBR kill me immediately if you have the guts. You will never get any news from me. BRBR after hearing this, Chu Feng didn't ask any more questions. BRBR he pressed directly on Long Yi's Tianling cap and forcibly performed the soul-searching technique. BRBR I want to see for myself what secrets are hidden in your memories. BRBR. As soon as the soul-searching technique was used, Chu Feng's soul directly invaded Long Wei's sea of consciousness. BRBR. But as soon as it came into contact with the core of Long Wei's soul, a dazzling golden forbidden light suddenly burst out from the depths of Long Wei's soul. BRBR. This is the death ban engraved in the soul of every core clan member of the Lingxian Imperial Clan. Once the soul is forcibly searched by an external force, the soul will be instantly detonated and completely shattered, leaving no secrets behind. BRBR. No, the soul is banned. BRBR. Chu Feng's face changed slightly, and he wanted to take back his soul, but it was too late. BRBR. Boom. BRBR. Long Yi's soul directly shattered into countless light spots under the power of the restriction, and completely dissipated between heaven and earth. BRBR. His body went limp and his head tilted. On the side, he was completely breathless and could not die anymore. BRBR. However, before he died, the corners of his mouth raised slightly, obviously knowing that Chu Feng was destined to get nothing. BRBR. Chu Feng withdrew his hand with a solemn expression, and a hint of coldness flashed in his eyes. BRBR. That's cruel. BRBR. Even the soul has placed a death ban, obviously to keep the secret of intercepting and killing him. BRBR. With a thought in his mind, the 4 array discs turned into 4 streams of light and were retracted into the ring. BRBR. The 4-elephant formation was retracted instantly. BRBR. The light and shadow in the canyon dissipated, leaving only the mess and corpses on the ground, and Shan Yuanhong half kneeling in the rubble. BRBR. Chu Feng walked to Xie Tian, and his eyes fell coldly on the severely wounded Shan Yuanhong. BRBR. Who are you, and why do you want to kill me? BRBR. Shan Yuanhong raised his eyes and found that all 10 dragon guards were dead. His vision suddenly went dark and he almost fainted. BRBR. He couldn't understand, and he couldn't understand anyway, how a person in the realm of transformation could kill all 10 dragon guards in such a short period of time. BRBR. Even if it was with the help of the 6th grade formation, it was absolutely impossible to do it. BRBR. He raised his head with difficulty, stared at Chu Feng with a vicious gaze, and then glanced at Xie Tian beside Chu Feng, and suddenly let out a sad and wild laugh. BRBR. Ha ha ha. BRBR. Chu Feng, you still have the nerve to ask me why I killed you? BRBR. As a human monk, you actually colluded with the evil spirits from outside the territory, bringing these evil spirits who are causing trouble to the world with you as your minions. BRBR. You are blaspheming the way of heaven and causing trouble to the common people. BRBR. You scoundrels who collude with evil spirits should be punished by everyone. BRBR. Shan Yuanhong roared at the top of his lungs, trying to cover up his true purpose with the accusation of colluding with evil spirits. BRBR. He knew that the secret of the Supreme Bone must not be exposed. Once Chu Feng knew that they came for the Supreme Bone, he would definitely be even more angry. Be wary. BRBR. How can Chu Feng be so easy to fool? BRBR. Chu Feng's lips curled into a sneer, then he shook his head helplessly. BRBR. You said it so grandly, don't you just want the Supreme Bone in me? BRBR. He stopped talking nonsense to Shan Yuanhong and turned to look at Xie Tian beside him. BRBR. Sohun, I want to know where he came from. BRBR. Yes, master. BRBR. Xie Tian held the demon tower in his hand and walked towards Shan Yuanhong step by step. BRBR. Shan Yuanhong looked at the approaching Xie Tian, with a trace of determination flashing in his eyes. BRBR. He knew that he had been seriously injured and was no match for Xie Tian. BRBR. Once the soul is searched, the secret of the Lingxian Emperor clan's plan to seize the Supreme Bone will definitely be exposed. BRBR. Rather than being tortured to death by soul-searching, it would be better to drag Chu Feng to be buried with him. BRBR. The originally chaotic spiritual energy in the integration stage around him began to run wild. BRBR. Chu Feng, don't even think about knowing the secrets about me, come with me to hell. BRBR. Chu Feng's expression suddenly changed, and he instantly sensed the fatal danger. BRBR. He's going to blow himself up. The Kanglan Imperial Clan sent the Supreme Elder to pick him up. I'm afraid the entire eastern region has never seen such a prosperous time. BRBR. Before Chu Feng could speak, Jiangji sent a message to him. BRBR. Chu Feng, do you really plan to return to the Kanglan Imperial Clan with him? BRBR. Chu Feng felt his heart soften when he saw her worried look, but he still nodded. BRBR. I want to go. BRBR. Jiangji's body stiffened for a moment. She bit her lower lip tightly and couldn't help but remind her. BRBR. I know that the Kanglan Imperial Clan is an ancient imperial clan in Zhongzhou and has a profound foundation, but have you ever thought about it? If a tree is as beautiful as a tree in the forest, the wind will destroy it. BRBR. Chu Feng awakened the Supreme Bone. This was a heaven-defying opportunity. BRBR. But if he returns to the Kanglan Imperial Clan, he will definitely affect the interests of other direct descendants in the clan. BRBR. Those people have grown up in the Imperial Clan for many years and have deep roots. If someone secretly attacks Chu Feng, with Chu Feng's cultivation in the God transformation realm, even if he has the Supreme Bone, what will happen? BRBR. Jiangji held Chu Feng's hand and continued. BRBR, as long as you stay in the Eastern Territory, I will do my best to help you practice. BRBR. She was really afraid that Chu Feng had just returned from the dead end of the Tianfu secret realm and stepped into the vortex of the Zhongzhou imperial clan again, and that she was afraid that she would suffer the pain of losing him again. BRBR. Chu Feng looked at her pear blossoms with rain, and his heart was full of distress, but he still shook his head. BRBR. Jiangji, I know you are doing it for my own good, but I must go to the Kanglin imperial clan. BRBR. Jiangji was startled and looked at him with tearful eyes. BRBR. Why, is it because of the so-called imperial bloodline? BRBR. No, BR. Chu Feng took a deep breath and directly told what happened in the Netherworld Canyon, not only to Jiangji, but also to the Kanglin imperial clan. BRBR. He naturally understands the truth that the wind will destroy the trees that are beautiful in the forest. BRBR. But now he has been targeted. Even if he doesn't go to Zhongzhou, trouble will keep coming for him. BRBR. Before this, he still didn't understand how the people of the Lingxian Emperor clan knew that he had awakened the Supreme Bone. BRBR. But after seeing Chu Xianxiao, he understood that the Kanglin imperial clan had a formation to detect the Supreme Bone, and the Lingxian imperial clan might also have it. BRBR. What's more, there is no airtight wall in the world. Now that the Kanglin imperial clan and the Lingxian imperial clan have known that he has awakened the Emperor's bone, if he does not leave with the Kanglin imperial clan, the entire eastern region will become the center of the whirlpool. BRBR. Hearing the news that Chu Feng was ambushed, Jiangji's heart suddenly tightened. She didn't expect that Chu Feng's way to find her would be so dangerous. BRBR. You are not injured, are you? BRBR. Chu Xianxiao, not far away, listened to all Chu Feng's words. BRBR. A flash of shock first flashed in his eyes, and then filled with overwhelming anger. BRBR. The pressure of the Mahayana stage leaked out uncontrollably, making the surrounding air freeze. BRBR. He never expected that the Lingxian imperial clan would be so despicable. This was to end the Kanglin imperial clan's supreme talent that had never been seen in thousands of years. BRBR. At this moment, he didn't care about eavesdropping and asked directly. BRBR. Chu Feng, are you sure it is the Lingxian imperial clan's people who are surrounding you? BRBR. Chu Feng raised his hand and handed the Lingxian imperial clan tokens and the fragments of the heaven-splitting divine sword that he had collected from Xianyuan Han Ji and the 10 dragon guards to Chu Xianxiao. BRBR. These are the certificates found from the interceptors, which are enough to prove that they are members of the Lingxian Emperor clan. BRBR. The moment he saw the fragments of the sky-splitting divine sword, Chu Xuanxiao's whole body was filled with murderous intent. BRBR. The Lingxian imperial clan. What a Lingxian imperial clan. BRBR. This fragment of the sky-splitting divine sword is the most precious treasure of the Lingxian imperial clan, and only the core elders are worthy of owning that token. BRBR. This matter was definitely done by the Lingxian Emperor clan. BRBR. Millions of years of grievances, now coupled with the blood feud of intercepting and killing our genius, this hatred is irreconcilable. BRBR. He looked at Chu Feng and assured. BRBR. Chu Feng, I personally escort you back to the Kanglin imperial clan, and no one can touch you in the slightest. BRBR. Chu Feng nodded slightly and felt calm. BRBR. He then turned to look at Jiangji and whispered. BRBR. Yurong, Yue, and Shuha of Danyang sect, as well as Lingyi and Yuyan in the palace, please help take care of him. BRBR. Li Tian's arrest of Zhao Yurong and others has sounded the alarm for him, and he must improve his strength as soon as possible. BRBR. He has the heaven refining map, and as long as he has enough cultivation resources, he can continuously improve his cultivation level. BRBR. Since the Kanglin imperial clan is willing to provide him with training resources, why not? BRBR. Although the risk of going to Kanglin map is high, the benefits are also great. BRBR. Jiangji's eyes flashed with jealousy. This guy actually asked her to help take care of the woman. BRBR. Damn it. BRBR. However, she still nodded mysteriously. BRBR. Okay, I promise you. BRBR. The Yukongzhou of the Kanglin imperial clan took away the person Jiangji missed the most. BRBR. In the depths of the sect, there is Ano. Their figure staring at the afterimage of Yukongzhou leaving. BRBR. Taoist Linglong pursed her thin lips tightly, and the absurdity could not help but appear in her mind. BRBR. Will you come back? BRBR. BRBR. On the royal sky boat. BRBR. Chu Feng was practicing cross-leggedly when the door of the guest room was suddenly pushed open gently. BRBR. A middle-aged man walked in. His name was Chu Zhong, one of the core elders of the Kanglin imperial clan. BRBR. Chu Zhong walked up to Chu Feng with a gentle smile on his face. BRBR. My name is Chu Zhong. According to seniority, you have to call me uncle. BRBR. This is the first time we meet, so this is a meeting gift from me as an elder. BRBR. As he said that, Chu Zhong took out a white jade medicine bottle from his sleeve and handed it to Chu Feng. BRBR. This bottle is a top-grade fairy elixir collected by our clan. It will be of great benefit to your cultivation. BRBR Chu Feng took the porcelain bottle and opened it. There were 6 red elixirs inside. BRBR, but the smell of the elixir floated into his nose, which made him frown. BRBR, in his previous life, he was the Pill Emperor. How could he not see the problem with this pill? BRBR, this is not a fairy elixir at all, but a Qiju corrupt heart pill, which is extremely poisonous. BRBR, this pill can instantly corrode the meridians and dantian of monks. Even if a monk in the void refining realm takes it, he will die on the spot. BRBR, what happened to Jiangji did indeed happen. The person in front of him seemed to be doing it for his own good, but in fact, he wanted to poison him. BRBR Chu Feng raised the corners of his mouth slightly, but it was actually a bitter smile. BRBR, he didn't expect that the first person to attack him would be the Chu family. They couldn't wait to attack him on the road before they even arrived at the Kanglin imperial clan. BRBR Chu Feng sneered in his heart, but his face remained calm. Preet. Ding to be completely unaware. BRBR, thank you. BRBR, when Chu Zhong saw Chu Feng taking the medicine bottle, an imperceptible hint of evil flashed in his eyes. BRBR, practice well, and I will be there to protect you. BRBR, the corner of Chu Feng's mouth twitched slightly. He could not hear the implication of this. He wanted to see him take the elixir before leaving. BRBR, okay. BRBR Chu Feng nodded in agreement, opened the white jade medicine bottle, and poured out a pill. BRBR, the elixir exudes a strong fragrance and looks normal, but in fact it contains deadly poison. BRBR, in front of Chu Zhong, Chu Feng put the Qiju corrupt heart pill into his mouth, raised his head slightly and swallowed it, then closed his eyes and concentrated, using his spiritual power to refine the pill. BRBR, in just 3 breaths, Chu Feng's face turned pale, his lips turned purple, and his chest heaved violently. BRBR, poof. BRBR, he spat out a mouthful of blood, and his body fell limply on the couch. His breath was extremely weak in an instant, as if his life was cut off, and he was completely poisoned and died. BRBR Chu Zhong looked at Chu Feng dying of poison, and could no longer conceal the pride on his lips. BRBR, you, a loser, do you deserve to have the supreme bone? BRBR, after a pause, a cruel smile appeared on his face. BRBR, don't worry, I will bury you properly, but your supreme bones need to be left to my son. BRBR, after Chu Zhong left, Chu Feng, who had died from the poison, suddenly opened his eyes. BRBR, he was indeed poisoned just now, and the reaction to the poison was also real. BRBR, it's just that the heaven refining diagram has the ability to refine all things. BRBR, not to mention the mere Qiju corrupt heart pill, even the 9 heavens poison can be easily refined. BRBR, just now, he has been running the heaven refining diagram to swallow the toxins in his body, poisoning himself but not fatal. BRBR, at this moment, the heaven refining diagram is operating at full capacity, wrapping up all the poison. BRBR, the poison turned into wisps of extremely pure spiritual power and flowed into Chu Feng's dantian, allowing him to directly break through to the 6th level of divine transformation. BRBR Chu Feng picked up the porcelain bottle on the table and raised a sneer at the corner of his mouth. BRBR, use poison in front of me, and you will use your axe. BRBR in the main hall of Yukongzhou. BRBR Chu Zhong rushed into the main hall crawling on his feet, knelt down in front of Chu Xianxiao, crying and shouting with runny nose and tears. BRBR, something bad has happened, Chu Feng is dead. BRBR, what? BRBR Chu Xianxiao stood up suddenly, and the tables and chairs around him instantly shattered. BRBR, what did you say, Chu Feng, he is dead? BRBR Chu Zhong immediately nodded heavily and said quickly. BRBR, when I just went to find him, I found that he had been poisoned and fell to the ground. BRBR, everyone was shocked and gathered around him. BRBR, why did he suddenly become poisonous on the royal skyboat? BRBR, however, Chu Zhong had already made an excuse. BRBR, it must be a poisonous elixir in the Spirit Fairy Emperor clan's Neji. In order to improve his cultivation as quickly as possible, Chu Feng accidentally took the poisonous elixir. BRBR, as soon as these words came out, everyone nodded in agreement. BRBR, they heard with their own ears that Duke Chu said that they had captured 10 Na rings from the Lingxian Emperor clan, and there might be poison pills in the Na rings. BRBR, how can a boy from a remote place know whether a pill is poisonous or not? BRBR, let's go and have a look, maybe there is still hope. BRBR, if he dies, maybe we can dig out the supreme bone in advance and return it to the clan and transplant it on other geniuses of our clan. BRBR, this can indeed minimize the losses of our clan. And we can only wrong Chu Feng. BRBR Chu Xianxiao ignored the comments of everyone, he flashed and disappeared in an instant. BRBR, not long after, everyone swarmed into Chu Feng's guest room. BRBR, but when they saw the scene on the couch, everyone froze on the spot, their faces full of astonishment. BRBR I saw Chu Feng sitting on the couch, with a calm expression and a steady breath. How could he look like he was poisoned and died? BRBR even, Chu Xianxiao felt that Chu Feng's cultivation was obviously a bit stronger than before. BRBR Chu Feng, are you not dead? BRBR Chu Feng suppressed a smile, and then looked at everyone with a puzzled expression. BRBR what's wrong with you, how could I die? BRBR as soon as these words came out, everyone's eyes fell on Chu Zhong, BRBR Chu Zhong followed, and when he saw this scene, he felt as if he was struck by lightning. BRBR how is this possible, Chu Feng is not dead. BRBR his face was full of horror, pointing at Chu Feng and saying incoherently, BRBR impossible, he just, clearly fell to the ground with poison. Brother Feng, let me introduce to you. This is Chu Yi, who is also the genius of our clan. BRBR in the future, you must take care of each other in the clan. BRBR Chu Yi ignored Chu Xian and walked straight to Chu Feng. BRBR are you Chu Feng? The sideline disciple who came back from the eastern region? BRBR Chu Feng raised his eyes and looked at Chu Yi indifferently without saying a word. BRBR Chu Yi became even more angry when he saw Chu Feng being so indifferent. BRBR, let me ask you, how did my father Chu Zhong die? BRBR hearing this, Chu Feng's eyes suddenly flashed with amusement. He did not expect that the person who wanted to poison him turned out to be this boy's father. BRBR, you should ask the Supreme Elder, not me. BRBR Chu Yi's eyes were full of grief and anger. BRBR the Supreme Elder has already told me. He said that you were intercepted and killed by the Lingxian Emperor clan on your way back to your ancestral land. In order to protect you, my father fought hard and refused to retreat, and finally died in the attack. BRBR he took a deep breath and continued. BRBR Chu Feng, my father paid the price of his life to protect you. You owe me a life. BRBR Chu Feng looked at Chu Yi's hysterical appearance and smiled coldly, without any explanation or guilt. BRBR Chu Zhong was originally an undercover agent of the Lingxian Emperor clan. He collaborated with the enemy and betrayed the clan, and tried to poison him, and he died unjustly. BRBR Chu Yi was kept in the dark and reduced to a pawn. In his eyes, he was nothing more than a stupid waste, not worth his money. BRBR seeing Chu Feng sneer and say nothing, the anger in Chu Yi's heart completely exploded. BRBR Chu Xian on the side saw a sinister smile flashing in his eyes. BRBR on the surface, he pretended to be gentle, and took a step forward, pretending to persuade, but in fact he was deliberately trying to make someone angry. BRBR brother Feng, Chu Yi's father died in battle to protect you after all. Due to both emotion and reason, you have to repay this kindness. BRBR before Chu Feng could speak, Chu Yi directly stated the purpose of his trip. BRBR among the 8 places for blood baptism, one was originally mine, but now you have snatched it away. BRBR go to the clan leader and tell him that by giving up the place, you have repaid my father's kindness. BRBR the entire Kanglan Imperial clan only has 8 places for blood baptism, which is a supreme opportunity to awaken the supreme bloodline. BRBR the competition for the 8 spots was extremely fierce. He finally agreed to win one, but he didn't expect that Chu Feng would come out halfway and directly steal his spot. BRBR Chu Xian on the side also echoed. BRBR brother Feng, Chu Yi's father died because of you. Do you think the place for blood baptism should be given to Chu Yi? BRBR Chu Feng slowly raised his eyes and glanced at Chu Yi with disdain. BRBR is a waste worthy of blood baptism? BRBR what did you say? BRBR Chu Yi's hair instantly exploded, and the spiritual power in his body exploded, and the pressure of the 8th level of divine transformation swept out. BRBR, my father died for you. Not only are you ungrateful, you also dare to humiliate me like this. BRBR you, a bastard from the eastern region, dare to be so presumptuous just after you returned to our Kanglan Imperial clan, who gave you the courage? BRBR Chu Xian pretended to hold Chu Yi, pretending to be angry. BRBR Chu Yi, brother Feng is the supreme genius of the clan. How can you speak to him like this? Please apologize to brother Feng. BRBR although he said this, in his heart he secretly expected the two to fight as soon as possible. BRBR what he wanted was for Chu Yi and Chu Feng to have a conflict, and it would be best for both sides to lose. BRBR Chu Feng had gained a bad reputation as soon as he returned to the clan, and he will definitely lose the favor of the elders of the clan. BRBR moreover, he can take this opportunity to test Chu Feng's depth. BRBR Chu Yi has a bad temper. The more Chu Xian persuades him, the more angry he becomes. BRBR Chu Feng, I want to challenge you. BRBR if you have the guts, come with me to the stage of life and death, and live and die according to your destiny. BRBR the stage of life and death is where the young generation of the Kanglan Imperial clan resolve their grievances. After taking the stage, they will fight to the death. BRBR Chu Feng looked at the hysterical Chu Yi and shook his head gently. BRBR seeing Chu Feng shake his head, Chu thought that Chu Feng was afraid. BRBR, aren't you very arrogant? Now you know you are afraid? BRBR. More and more disciples from the clan came around after hearing the news, and they all started talking. BRBR. Chu is one of the top 10 geniuses in the clan. He has the 8th level of divine transformation. He has cultivated the top Kanglan hegemon body technique of our clan, and his combat power is extremely strong. BRBR. Chu Feng dared to offend Chu when he first came to the clan. I'm afraid he will suffer a loss. BRBR. If Chu Feng does not dare to accept the challenge, he will never be able to hold his head high again in the clan in the future. BRBR. The crowd's discussion reached Chu Feng's ears, but he carried a self-confidence that overwhelmed everything. BRBR. One move is enough to defeat you, so why go to the stage of life and death? BRBR. One move is enough? BRBR. As soon as these words came out, the whole place was dead silent. BRBR. Everyone's eyes widened with disbelief on their faces. They looked at Chu Feng as if they were looking at a madman. BRBR. Chu was the first 10 days in the clan. Jiao, the 8th level of divine transformation, has tremendous fighting power. Chu Feng is only at the 6th level of divine transformation, but he dares to that he can defeat him with one move? BRBR. How arrogant is this? BRBR. Chu was even more angry at Chu Feng's words. Ha ha ha, BRBR. One move is enough. BRBR. Chu no longer had any reservations, and his spiritual power exploded. BRBR. Kanglan hegemony body technique. BRBR. The Kanglan Ba body technique is a secret that is not passed down from the imperial clan. Once you practice it to great perfection, your body can become a saint, invulnerable to swords and guns, and capable of defeating all means. BRBR. Chu's body suddenly swelled, his skin glowed with golden light, and he was surrounded by golden domineering aura. BRBR. Blast it for me. BRBR. Chu roared, slamming his feet on the ground, and the ground instantly cracked into countless fine lines. BRBR. His figure was like an arrow from the string, rushing towards Chu Feng. BRBR. Clenched his right hand into a fist, condensing a golden fist shadow several feet in size. BRBR. This punch was Chu's strongest blow, the Kanglan breaking mountain fist. BRBR. Wherever the fist power passed, fine ripples appeared in the space, and the air was crushed by the fist power until it exploded. BRBR. Suffer death. BRBR. The surrounding tribesmen's eyes widened, thinking that Chu Feng would definitely be severely injured by a punch, or even die on the spot. BRBR. But at this moment, Chu Feng moved. BRBR. He has cultivated to the extreme in every realm so far. Even though he is 2 smaller realms lower than Chu, his spiritual power is far stronger than that of Chu. BRBR. So much so that he didn't gather his energy to move the formation, but just punched hard. BRBR. Chu Feng's fist, which contained supreme power, collided with Chu's golden fist shadow. BRBR. The next second, a horrifying scene happened. BRBR. Chu's powerful Kanglan mountain-breaking fist instantly shattered. BRBR. The shadow of the golden fist dissipated, the aura of the domineering body elapsed, and Chu's Kanglan hegemon body technique was vulnerable to the power of the supreme bone. BRBR. Crack. BRBR. The crisp sound of bone cracking clearly spread throughout the audience. BRBR. Chu's right arm was instantly broken, and his chest was hit hard by Chu Feng's fist. BRBR. He suddenly spurted out a mouthful of blood, and like a kite with its string broken, he flew hundreds of meters upside down, smashing a huge human-shaped pit into the hard stone wall. BRBR. One move. BRBR. Just one move. BRBR. Chu, who was at the 8th level of divine transformation, completely lost his ability to resist. BRBR. The whole place was dead silent. BRBR. Everyone froze in place, with horror on their faces. BRBR. They looked at Chu Feng as if they were looking at a monster. BRBR. The gentle smile on Chu Xian's face completely froze, and a turmoil arose in his heart. BRBR. Impossible. BRBR. This is absolutely impossible. BRBR. Chu is at the 8th level of divine transformation and has practiced the Kanglan hegemon body technique. How could he be defeated by Chu Feng with just one move? BRBR. Is the power of the supreme bone really so terrifying? BRBR. Chu was lying in the deep pit, with his bones shattered and his meridians cut off. He didn't even have the strength to move. He could only stare at Chu Feng, his eyes full of unwillingness. BRBR. He never imagined that the strength he was so proud of would be so vulnerable to Chu Feng. BRBR. Chu Feng walked up to Chu step by step and looked down at Chu who was lying on the ground. BRBR. Pop. BRBR. With everyone in the audience looking in shock, Chu Feng stepped on Chu's face. BRBR. The sole of the shoe pressed firmly against Chu's cheek, pressing his face to the ground. BRBR. Waste, just waste. BRBR. Hiss. BRBR. Everyone took a breath. Crazy, really crazy. BRBR. Chu was stomped hard on the face by Chu Feng, and the fine stones were embedded in the skin of his cheek, causing piercing pain. BRBR, but this physical pain is nothing compared to the humiliation in my heart. BRBR, he is the genius of the Kanglan Imperial clan. How has he ever been trampled on like this? BRBR at this moment, his eyes were red, his eye sockets were protruding, and his cheeks were twisted ferociously. BRBR, Chu Feng, I am going to kill you, you bastard from the eastern region, you will not die a good death. BRBR, he struggled desperately, kicking his limbs on the ground randomly. BRBR, no matter how hard he struggled, Chu Feng's foot that stepped on his face would not move at all. BRBR, the clan members who were watching were all silent, and no one dared to step forward to dissuade him. BRBR, at this moment of stalemate, Chu Xian walked quickly to Chu Feng, stretched out his hand and gently pulled Chu Feng's arm. BRBR, brother Feng, he is just a reckless man, don't be the same as him. BRBR, we are all a family, so we wouldn't have gotten into this situation. If word spread, wouldn't it be a joke to other clan members? BRBR, Chu Feng glanced at Chu Xian lightly, and naturally knew that he was pretending and being a good guy on the surface, but in fact he was plotting secretly. BRBR, however, he did not expose it, and slowly withdrew his foot that stepped on Chu Yi's face. BRBR, then I will give the third brother some face. BRBR, after saying that, he kicked Chu Yi hard in the face. BRBR, get out. BRBR, Chu Yi stared at Chu Feng resentfully, and wanted to pounce on him with all his strength, but was stopped by Chu Xian's cold eyes, and could only leave Lingxiao peak. BRBR, wait for me. BRBR, Chu Xian patted Chu Feng's arm, and his tone became more and more friendly. BRBR, I have prepared the spiritual wine treasured by the clan. Let us two brothers have a few drinks, and treat it as if I are the one who takes care of you and washes away the dust. How about it? BRBR, Chu Feng nodded sleepily. GHTLY, and his tone was calm. BRBR, third brother's kindness is hard to refuse, so I will be disrespectful. BRBR, that's right. BRBR, Chu Xian laughed loudly, hugged Chu Feng's shoulders affectionately, and led him to turn and walk towards the side hall. BRBR, as he walked, he whispered to Chu Feng about interesting things about the clan. BRBR, by the way, I have prepared a surprise for you tonight, I guarantee you will like it. BRBR, Lingxiao peak. BRBR, the night is like ink. BRBR, the candlelight danced and swayed, illuminating the whole room in red, and the warm light was dense, outlining the joy of the whole room. BRBR, in the room, Chu Xian's face lost the gentle smile it had during the day. BRBR, opposite him, stood a woman in a plain dress, with a slender figure and beautiful eyebrows, but there was an indelible bitterness hidden in her eyes. BRBR, she is the 7th grade alchemist of the Kanglan Imperial clan, Su Jian. BRBR, Su Jian has been obsessed with alchemy since she was a child. She has outstanding talent and even refined the long-lost love-taking fragrance in her family. BRBR, the incense of love is a poisonous incense that can make people emotional, and the person who refines the incense can use magic to control the poisoned person. BRBR, Su Jian has been in love with Chu Xian since childhood and regards Chu Xian as the only light in her heart. BRBR, but in Chu Xian's eyes, she was just an alchemist who could be used by him. BRBR, Jian, have everything been arranged? Do you think the elders of the clan will investigate thoroughly, and will my kind-hearted third brother be found responsible? BRBR, Su Jian's movement suddenly stopped, and her face instantly became a little ugly. BRBR, the corners of her mouth twitched hard again, and she was angry and anxious, but she had no choice but to do anything. BRBR, she really didn't dare to gamble on this kind of thing. BRBR, Chu Xian told her that this matter it must be done without being noticed. BRBR, if it really hurts Chu Feng and alarms the clan elders and the supreme leader, not to mention controlling Chu Feng, even Chu Xian will be implicated. BRBR, look, you won't be able to see anything soon. BRBR, Su Jian suppressed the shame in her heart and glared at Chu Feng fiercely. She no longer paid attention to his gaze. She just wanted to complete the spell as soon as possible and completely control Chu Feng. BRBR, but she did not notice that as the spell continued to be carved, a layer of drunken blush appeared on her delicate face at a speed visible to the naked eye. BRBR, spreading from her cheeks. It extended to her ears and then to her neck, which was so delicate. BRBR, at the same time, her breathing gradually became rapid. BRBR, the wedding dress on her chest rose and fell slightly with her rapid breathing, as if she was bearing an inexplicable huge pressure. BRBR, the spell she had carved on Chu Feng was gradually coming back to her own body. Or it's just that she was so focused on carving out the charm that she didn't realize it. BRBR, the complicated neckline of her wedding dress seemed to be getting more and more suffocating, making her breathless. BRBR, she subconsciously pulled at the neckline, trying to relieve the discomfort. BRBR, the deep shadow loomed under the flickering candlelight, rising and falling slightly with her rapid and panicked breathing. BRBR, but there was no trace of lust in Chu Feng's eyes, only a hint of cold. BRBR, Su Jian's fingertips had begun to tremble slightly, and the backlash had obviously begun to affect her movements. BRBR, she raised her eyes to look at Chu Feng, and saw that he always had a calm expression on his face. BRBR, are you not afraid at all? BRBR, hearing this, Chu Feng pretended to be frightened and patted his chest. BRBR, afraid, I'm scared to death right now, my heart is beating fast and my whole body is shaking, so, can you let me go? BRBR, Su Jian looked at him pretending to be scared and shook his head without hesitation. BRBR, no. BRBR, after the words fell, she completed the soul-controlling charm. BRBR, silver lines lit up on Chu Feng's abdomen, forming an invisible control chain. BRBR, Su Jian threw away the ink pen in his hand and began to activate the seal. BRBR, as long as the seal is officially activated successfully, Chu Feng will completely become her plaything in the future. BRBR, but for some reason, the heat in Su Jian's body surged more and more fiercely. BRBR, please bear with it, I'll be fine soon. BRBR buzz, BRBR, a slight buzz sounded in Chu Feng's body, and his body shook violently as the spell took effect. BRBR, the originally clear eyes began to become blurry in an instant, and it looked as if the soul charm had completely controlled the mind. BRBR, when he slowly concentrated again and raised his eyes to look at Su Jian, the expression in his eyes had completely changed. BRBR, it was the ultimate kind of admiration, like seeing the nine heavens fairy who is not stained by dust. Her eyes were full of obsession, but there was also awe that she dared not blaspheme. BRBR, Su Jian saw all this in his eyes, and his hanging heart finally fell to the ground. BRBR successful. BRBR, her soul control technique, coupled with the assistance of the love-stealing incense, really worked perfectly. BRBR, in order to thoroughly verify the effect of the spell, Su Jian Desi dead to make a request that was enough to test the degree of control. BRBR, she raised her chin slightly and ordered arrogantly. BRBR, kneel down and lick my feet. BRBR, Chu Feng's pupils on the couch trembled slightly and imperceptibly. BRBR, he never expected that Su Jian would make such a straightforward and excessive request in order to verify the control effect. BRBR, but he didn't expose it and did it exactly as he was told. BRBR, he wanted to see how far this woman who was used as a spearman by Chu Xian would go. BRBR, Chu Feng stretched out his hand and held Su Jian's slender ankle, feeling the soft touch through the silk and satin of the wedding dress on his fingertips. BRBR, Su Jian's ankles were slender and exquisite. The moment she was held by him, her whole body trembled uncontrollably. There was an inexplicable tension in her heart, and there was also a sense of excitement that even she herself had not noticed. BRBR, the next moment, her red embroidered shoes were thrown to the ground. BRBR, an exquisite jade foot wrapped in a thin plain white stocking was instantly exposed to the cool air. BRBR, you can vaguely see the shape of the slightly curled toes inside the socks, which is breathtakingly beautiful. BRBR, Chu Feng untied the laces of the socks and took off the slim white socks completely. BRBR, the exquisite jade feet are completely exposed to the air. The arches are slender and the ankles are white. Under the intertwining of moonlight and candlelight, they glow with a warm luster. BRBR, Su Jian crossed her legs and looked at Chu Feng condescendingly. BRBR, she looked indifferent, but her heartbeat almost echoed throughout the room. BRBR, just when Chu Feng was about to kiss her arch, Su Jian was the first to flinch. BRBR, she pulled back her feet suddenly, and then asked coldly with some curiosity. BRBR, just now, what were you thinking about? BRBR, Chu Feng raised the corners of his mouth slightly. Why, suddenly stood up and leaned close to Su Jian's ear, whispering. BRBR, I miss you. BRBR, boom. BRBR, these straightforward words were like thunder from the sky, hitting Su Jian's head hard, causing her to freeze on the spot, and her whole body was stunned. BRBR, a hot blush appeared on her cheeks, and a layer of white heat seemed to rise above her head. BRBR, he is indeed a country bumpkin from the eastern region, and he is so mean. BRBR, Su Jian scolded sternly, with a trace of panic in his voice. BRBR, but she knew deep down in her heart that all Chu Feng's actions were to please her after being hit by her soul-controlling spell. BRBR, such a straightforward expression of desire just proved that she had completely succeeded in controlling Chu Feng. BRBR, after thinking about this, Su Jian suppressed the shame in her heart and regained her cool controller attitude. BRBR, from now on, I am your master. BRBR, the master will love you well. BRBR, Chu Feng stopped pretending and threw Su Jian onto the bed. BRBR, a bitch is worthy of being his master? BRBR, you, BRBR, she was shocked and angry. She didn't expect Chu Feng to be so bold. BRBR, get off. BRBR, but Chu Feng seemed not to hear, still pressing on her, the obsession in his eyes not diminishing at all. BRBR, a good night is too short, let's stop playing those tricks. BRBR, what did you say? BRBR, Su Jian had an inexplicable premonition of uneasiness in her heart. Just when she was about to use her spiritual power to shake Chu Feng away, her pupils suddenly trembled. BRBR, a heartbreaking pain came from her meridians. Su Jian couldn't help but groaned, and her face instantly turned pale. BRBR, she was horrified to find that the spiritual power in her body was completely out of control. BRBR, what made her even more panicked was that an indescribable strange feeling suddenly shot up from the depths of her dantian, like a prairie fire, sweeping across her body instantly. BRBR, what's going on? BRBR, Su Jian's voice was trembling. She could no longer maintain the posture of being in control, and her whole body fell into an unprecedented panic. BRBR, Chu Feng leaned close to her ear, whispering like a devil. BRBR, it seems that in the heart of the third brother, you are just a chess piece. BRBR, otherwise he wouldn't worry about what will happen to you after the soul-controlling spell backfires? BRBR, Su Jian's brain buzzed and instantly became blank. BRBR, her beautiful eyes were wide and round, and the ends of her eyes were slightly red. BRBR, how did you know? BRBR, as soon as she finished speaking, the spiritual power that was already flowing out of control in her body instantly lost all restraints and began to flow out crazily. BRBR, the cultivation within the body is like a flood that bursts a bank, flowing away rapidly. BRBR, what exactly have you done to me, and why am I constantly losing my cultivation? BRBR, Chu Feng had a hint of coldness in his tone, and at the same time he had already untied Su Jian's wedding dress. BRBR, I'm just treating others the way they are treated. BRBR, BRBR, a broken trembling sound was squeezed out from the depths of Su Jian's throat. Even if she was belatedly aware of it, she had completely reacted at this moment. BRBR, Chu Feng was not controlled from the beginning, and had already seen through everything about her. BRBR, it was at this moment that she noticed that the curse mark on Chu Feng's body had disappeared without knowing it. BRBR, I have clearly engraved the spell on your body. Where's the curse mark? BRBR, Chu Feng's fingertips gently pointed at Su Jian's abdomen, piercing her last chance. BRBR, of course it's on yourself. BRBR, Su Jian's throat tightened, and she no longer cared about being reserved, and opened her belly band in a panic. BRBR, the NE. Second, her whole body froze, as if she had fallen into an ice cave. BRBR, the curse mark was really on her body. BRBR, how is this possible? BRBR, Chu Feng looked at her collapsed appearance without any pity, but directly asked, BRBR, tell me, what is the purpose of my third brother letting you control me? BRBR, Su Jian trembled all over, but gritted his teeth and said, BRBR, I will never betray Mr. Xian. You can't even get a word out of my mouth. BRBR, no matter what means you use, I will not. Well. BRBR, one day and one night. BRBR, the dragon and phoenix red candles that burned all night last night have long since burned out into a pool of warm wax oil, solidifying on the bronze candlestick. BRBR, Su Jian curled up in Chu Feng's arms, as if everything had been drained away bones. BRBR, the red wedding dress was scattered around the bed. The cold and arrogant 7th-level alchemist was no longer aloof at this moment. BRBR, last night she was still willing to die and refused to betray Chu Xian. BRBR, but after one night. BRBR, from the initial resistance, struggle, humiliation, panic, and compromise, she has now completely surrendered. BRBR, this cannot be blamed on her. The soul-controlling spell has backfired on her, and she is also unable to control herself. BRBR, master. BRBR, Su Jian whispered softly, with a hint of cautious flattery. BRBR, she knew that she could never go back to the past. BRBR, she was a pawn sent by Chu Xian to plot against Chu Feng, but now her body was taken over by Chu Feng, and her soul was conquered by Chu Feng, and she became Chu Feng's completely. BRBR, every time she thinks of Chu Xian, her heart no longer has the admiration of the past, only disgust remains. BRBR, just when Su Jian was in a trance, a burst of hurried footsteps came from far and near, and finally stopped outside the door of the wedding room. BRBR, then, a voice that deliberately suppressed anger came from outside the door. BRBR, Brother Feng, are you up? You are a country bumpkin, but you still don't admit it. Chu Yao smiled and shook her head. After we all enter the Tianxian pond, the Holy Land will be enveloped by the immortal energy, and people outside will not be able to find out what is happening here. BRBR, now the 8 of them stopped pretending and started sarcastically. BRBR, you can't get a trace of immortal energy. You can only blame yourself for being useless. What does it have to do with us? BRBR, the immortal energy in Tianxian pond belongs to the 8 of us. Just watch us practice and watch us become stronger. BRBR, it doesn't matter if you have the supreme bone, Chu Feng. We are the gods in the Kanglan imperial clan. When you see us in the future, you will kneel down and kowtow. BRBR, while speaking, the 8 people started to use their skills and began to frantically absorb the immortal energy from the celestial immortal pond. BRBR, I saw the milky white fairy energy in the Tianxian pond, like hundreds of rivers returning to the sea, rushing towards the 8 people crazily, pouring into their bodies along their pores, tempering their blood. BRBR The 8 people showed expressions of enjoyment on their faces, their cultivation levels were improving rapidly, and they were even more mocking towards Chu Feng in their hearts. BRBR They thought that Chu Feng must be full of panic at this moment and was helpless and could only watch them divide the immortal energy. BRBR But Chu Feng's expression in the formation's eyes did not change at all. BRBR Suppressed by the formation, unable to use spiritual power? BRBR For others, this may be a desperate situation, but to Chu Feng, it is nothing at all. BRBR He possesses the Heaven Refining Diagram, which is a supreme treasure that transcends the foundation of the imperial clan and does not need to rely on his own spiritual power to activate it. BRBR Just when the 8 of them thought they were sure of victory, the Heaven Refining Diagram in Chu Feng's body quietly started to rotate. BRBR A domineering devouring power swept out from the Heaven Refining Diagram and instantly enveloped the entire Tianxian pond. BRBR The fairy energy that was originally rushing toward Chu Hao and the other 8 people was like encountering a black hole in the face of this devouring force. It instantly changed direction and poured into Chu Feng's body desperately. BRBR The 8 people who were enjoying the fairy energy a second ago suddenly froze with smiles on their faces, and their eyes were full of astonishment. BRBR Huh? Why did the immortal energy break? BRBR Chu Hao frowned and tried his best to run his skills, only to find that the original steady stream of immortal energy suddenly disappeared without a trace, and he could no longer inhale even a trace of immortal energy. BRBR Me too. Chu Lai's eyes widened with a look of confusion on his face. I had so much to suck just now, why did it suddenly disappear? BRBR Chu Yao's face also changed. She tried several times, but still couldn't absorb any fairy energy, and she felt uneasy in her heart. BRBR Something's wrong, the immortal energy seems to have been sucked away by something. BRBR The 8 people stopped their exercises and looked around. BRBR When they saw the immortal energy in the Tianxian pond pouring into Chu Feng's body at the center of the formation like a tsunami, everyone was stunned, and their mouths were opened wide enough to stuff an egg. BRBR It's Chu Feng. Chu Hao pointed at Chu Feng, his voice trembling. Wasn't he suppressed by the formation? BRBR At this moment, Chu Feng's whole body was wrapped in milky white immortal energy, forming a huge whirlpool of immortal energy. The entire immortal energy in the Tianxian pond was being devoured by him crazily. BRBR The devouring power of the Heaven Refining Diagram was unparalleled. It was not something that 8 people could resist. BRBR They tried their best to fight for the immortal energy, but as soon as the immortal energy got close to them, they were forcefully taken away by Chu Feng's devouring power, leaving no trace behind. BRBR Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. BRBR The 8 Desolation spirit locking formation clearly suppressed his spiritual power. How could he still be able to absorb the immortal energy? BRBR Let's all take action together and we will definitely not let this guy succeed. BRBR The 8 people instantly became panicked, and they could only join forces to activate the formation again, wanting to increase the pressure and at the same time try their best to absorb the immortal energy. BRBR But no matter how hard they tried, it was to no avail. The immortal energy in the Tianxian pond seemed to be monopolized by Chu Feng, and he took it all into his body. BRBR The day passed quickly. BRBR He exhausted most of his spiritual power, but he didn't even get a trace of the immortal energy. BRBR On the other hand, Chu Feng closed his eyes and sat quietly, the immortal energy flowing into his body continuously, tempering his blood, and the supreme bone in his chest was emitting an increasingly bright light. BRBR On the second day, the 8 people were exhausted and sat in the pool, pale and panting. BRBR They looked at the whirlpool of immortal energy around Chu Feng, their eyes full of despair. BRBR What the hell is going on? BRBR Chu Hao couldn't bear it anymore and was about to take action against Chu Feng. BRBR If they continue like this, they won't even get a trace of immortal energy, and all the benefits will be taken by Chu Feng. BRBR But just when he wanted to get up, Chu Yao immediately stopped him. BRBR Don't move. BRBR Hearing this, Chu Hao couldn't help but frown. BRBR Why are you stopping me? BRBR A hint of bitterness appeared on Chu Yao's face, and then she expressed her helplessness. BRBR Once the 8 Desolation spirit locking formation is activated, it cannot be stopped until it completely devours the spiritual power of the person in the center of the formation. If there is any abnormal movement in the middle, we will definitely be counterattacked by the formation. BRBR As soon as these words came out, the expressions of the other 7 people changed. BRBR Why didn't you say it earlier? So what do we do now? BRBR Looking at the current situation, let alone swallowing Chu Feng's spiritual power, it would be good if we can keep our own spiritual power. BRBR Is this all we can do and watch? The immortal energy will be sucked away by him. BRBR Chu Yao's face was also a little ugly. Who would have thought that Chu Feng would be so weird, resisting the formation of 8 of them together? BRBR I have said the ugly things before. If you act rashly, don't blame me if the formation backfires on you. BRBR Chu Hao clenched his fists, wanting to move but not daring to move, feeling extremely aggrieved in his heart. BRBR in the next few days, the 8 people also joined forces again to try to activate the 8 Desolation spirit-locking formation again to stop Chu Feng. BRBR but they discovered to their horror that not only were they unable to stop Chu Feng, but even their own spiritual power began to be sucked away by the overbearing devouring force. BRBR now they were completely panicked. They could do without the fairy energy in the Tianxian pond, but how could they use all their spiritual power to become Chu Feng's wedding dress? BRBR Chu Feng, what are you doing? Stop it quickly. BRBR you are devouring our spiritual power. You are harming your own people. BRBR Chu Feng is trying to suck us dry. I will sue the Council of Elders. BRBR however, Chu Feng has no intention of stopping the operation of the Heaven Refining Diagram. He just heard the conversation of these people clearly. BRBR from the beginning, they planned to reduce him to a useless person. In this case, how could he be so merciful? BRBR instead of keeping the 8 henchmen, it would be better to turn them all into useless people. BRBR swallow the Heaven Refining Diagram for me. BRBR for 9 days, Chu Feng was able to swallow up all the original immortal energy in the Tianxian pond using only the Heaven Refining Diagram. BRBR the Tianxian pond, which was originally steaming with immortal energy, now becomes crystal clear, with no trace of immortal energy overflowing anymore. BRBR and at the moment when the immortal energy was swallowed up, the supreme bone in Chu Feng's body suddenly burst out with an unprecedented golden light. BRBR the golden light broke through Chu Feng's clothes, shot straight into the sky, and penetrated the sky of the entire Holy Land. BRBR in an instant, the color of heaven and earth changed, and the Holy Land shook. BRBR in the sky, there are bursts of fairy music, the sounds of the sky are lingering, and billions of colorful rays of light fall from the 9 heavens, covering the entire ancestral land of the Kanglan Emperor clan. BRBR in the twilight, the phantoms of dragons and phoenixes circled and danced, the sounds of dragons and phoenixes resounded throughout the world, and auspicious aura swept across all directions. BRBR this kind of vision of heaven and earth far exceeds any blood baptism in the past, and even exceeds all the records of the Kanglan imperial clan throughout the ages. BRBR on the viewing platform, Chu Tsongshuan stood up suddenly and stared at the vision in the sky. BRBR this is a vision of heaven and earth where immortal bones come into the world. It is hard to find and never seen in thousands of years. BRBR the elders around also exploded and stood up one after another. BRBR, the supreme bone is already a legend, but I didn't expect that another immortal bone would appear now. BRBR. Our Kanglan imperial clan is going to give birth to a great immortal bone emperor. BRBR who awakened the immortal bone? This son should be the emperor's son of our Kanglan imperial clan. BRBR in the Tianxian pond. BRBR Chu Hao and the other 8 people looked at this earth-shattering vision of heaven and earth, and then felt the rapidly plummeting cultivation level in their bodies. Their faces were already ashen. BRBR their cultivation has plummeted all the way, and now they have fallen to the nascent soul realm, and they are still falling. BRBR no, BRBR Chu Hao let out a shrill scream. He could clearly feel that the cultivation he had cultivated for many years was being lost at an alarming rate. BRBR, my cultivation, Chu Feng, what have you done? BRBR, stop it quickly, let us give you our spiritual power, do you still want our cultivation? BRBR, Chu Feng, we are the same race, you can't do this to us, you will be punished, the clan rules will punish you severely. BRBR, my spiritual roots have been sucked, my roots. BRBR, if you dare to drain us, the elders of the clan will not let you go. BRBR the 8 people were in a mess, but now it was too late to beg for mercy or to threaten. BRBR the golden light in Chu Feng's eyes flashed, surrounded by fairy charm. He glanced at the 8 people indifferently, his tone was cold. BRBR you brought everything upon yourself. When you plotted against me, did you ever think about today? BRBR after his words fell, the devouring power of the Heaven Refining Diagram surged again. BRBR the 8 people were horrified to find that their bodies seemed to be locked in place by invisible shackles, and they could not even move a finger, let alone get up and escape. BRBR they could only watch helplessly as everything about themselves was forcibly extracted by an invisible force, and was refined and absorbed by Chu Feng. BRBR even if Chu Hao wanted to forcefully escape from the HT Desolation spirit-locking formation, he couldn't do it. He hated it. BRBR, Chu Feng, even if I become a ghost, I will not let you go. BRBR the 9-day bloodline baptism finally ended at the moment when all 8 people's cultivation was drained. BRBR the faint fairy charm surrounding Chu Feng slowly converged, and all the golden light that originally shot straight into the sky merged into his body. BRBR at the same time, his cultivation also broke through to the 9th level of divine transformation. BRBR Chu Hao and others finally felt that the power of the swallowing sound disappeared. They were paralyzed in the water, their eyes were empty and lifeless, and the spiritual power in their bodies was gone. BRBR Chu Yao's spiritual roots were broken, and even Xian Ni's body was completely refined, turning her into a complete useless person. BRBR she stared at Chu Feng with malicious eyes and cursed. BRBR Chu Feng, I will not let you go. BRBR in 9 days, the 8 of them went from being the highly regarded geniuses of the Kanglan imperial clan to useless people who were inferior to ordinary people. BRBR at the same time, the fairy mist that shrouded the Tianxian pond dissipated, and a group of elders came from the air and rushed into the Holy Land. BRBR originally, they were full of expectations and wanted to see who had awakened the immortal bones in this blood baptism. BRBR but when their eyes fell on the 8 people sitting slumped by the pool, everyone suddenly stopped in their steps, with only horror on their faces. BRBR, what's going on? BRBR, Chu Hao, how did they become like this? BRBR the spiritual roots withered, the spiritual power was gone, and the bloodline foundation was completely destroyed. Who the hell did this? The baptism of blood depends on chance. They tried to seize the opportunity with conspiracy and tricks. Now that they have ended up like this, they can only blame themselves for their own evil intentions and cannot blame anyone else. BRBR then, Chu Tsongshuan suddenly raised his head and looked around at all the clan members. BRBR, who else wants to punish Chu Feng? BRBR the voice echoed in the Holy Land, making everyone's eardrums buzz, and the whole place was silent. Everyone lowered their heads and did not dare to meet Chu Tsongshuan's eyes. BRBR after a moment of silence, a reluctant elder in the crowd spoke. BRBR, clan chief, Chu Feng harmed his own clan, and you protected him like this, aren't you afraid of chilling the hearts of the clan members? BRBR boom, BRBR Chu Tsongshuan's eyes flashed with a sharp look, and without any hesitation, he raised his hand and struck out with a palm. BRBR the golden palm wind was as powerful as a mountain, and it instantly hit the elder. BRBR the elder didn't even have time to scream, before he was severely blown away by the wind of his palm and hit the jade wall in the distance. BRBR he spurted out a mouthful of blood, his bones were shattered, and he was seriously injured. He collapsed on the ground and could not get up again. BRBR Chu Tsongshuan retracted his palm and asked again in a deep voice. BRBR who else? BRBR this time, the whole place was silent and you could hear a pin drop. BRBR everyone was silent, and no one dared to stand up. BRBR the 8 cripples in the fairy pool all looked desperate. They had understood that no one could make the decision for them. BRBR seeing this, Chu Tsongshuan took this opportunity to directly announce a decision. BRBR Chu Feng has awakened his immortal bones. From today on, I have decided to make Chu Feng the emperor of my Kanglan imperial clan. He will enjoy all the courtesy of the emperor and assume the authority of the emperor. BRBRA. As soon as the words fell, the surroundings were silent for an instant, and then the pot exploded. BRBR make Chu Feng the emperor's son? BRBR Chu Feng is just a bastard of a branch. How can he be the emperor of my Kanglan imperial clan? BRBR, how can I leave the emperor of my Kanglan imperial clan to a bastard with no foundation when he is responsible for the rise and fall of the clan? BRBR a group of elders objected one after another, especially the elders of the direct branch whose faces were ashen. BRBR Chu Tsongshuan, the 3rd elder of the direct branch, was the first to stand up, with dissatisfaction in his tone. BRBR clan leader, Chu Feng has little qualifications and low cultivation. How can he assume the great responsibility of being the emperor's son? BRBR as soon as these words came out, he was immediately echoed by countless people. BRBR the 3rd elder is right. Chu Feng's cultivation level is not even average among the younger generation. How can he be the emperor's son? BRBR if a bastard becomes the emperor's son of my Kanglan imperial clan, wouldn't it be known that he would be laughed at by other imperial clans? BRBR clan chief, you can't disregard the face of the imperial clan just because Chu Feng has awakened his immortal bones. BRBR the ridicule from the crowd rushed towards Chu Feng like a tide. Anyone else would have been ashamed and angry BRBR but Chu Feng still stood on the same spot, but his whole body slowly exuded the pressure of the 9th level of divine transformation. BRBR the air seemed to freeze at this moment, and the surroundings instantly became silent. BRBR the expressions of all those who raised objections suddenly changed, and they all turned to look at Chu Feng. BRBR this. The pressure is at the 9th level of the transformation of God realm. BRBR who would have thought that Chu Feng would break through to the 3rd level in just 9 days BRBR everyone who just kept saying that Chu Feng's cultivation was low, now. They all closed their mouths, their cheeks burning with pain, as if they had been slapped hard. BRBR Chu Tsongshuan looked at this scene, with a flash of relief in his eyes. BRBR what else do you have to say now? BRBR, but just when everyone thought that the matter was a foregone conclusion, several great elders of the direct branch still stood up with gloomy expressions. BRBR, the leader was Chu Feng, the great elder of the direct branch. He is Chu Feng's elder brother and has a high prestige in the clan. BRBR clan leader. Even if Chu Feng has the 9th level of spiritual transformation and awakened the immortal bones, he is still a bastard. BRBR, the emperor of our Kanglan imperial clan, has always been appointed by a direct descendant. How can we change it easily? BRBR, the ancestor, is currently in a life and death seclusion and will be released from the seclusion in the near future. It is better to wait until the ancestor comes out of the seclusion before making a decision on the matter of the emperor's son. BRBR, hearing the elders mentioning their ancestors, Chu Feng's face instantly turned extremely ugly. BRBR, he clenched his fists tightly, his heart boiling with anger, but he could do nothing about it. BRBR, the ancestor of the Kanglan imperial clan, is the Dinghai divine needle of the imperial clan, and he has a strong reputation in the clan. BRBR, even though he is the clan leader and holds the great power in the clan, in front of the ancestor, he must always obey and not do as he pleases. BRBR, however, he knew from the beginning that if he wanted to establish Chu Feng as the emperor's son, he would definitely encounter opposition from everyone. BRBR, so he took the next best step and stated his true purpose. BRBR, since you think Chu Feng is not qualified to be the emperor's son, I will make Chu Feng the emperor's son. BRBR, seeing that everyone he was still objecting, he immediately added in a cold voice, BRBR, in the ceremony of the emperor's son in 3 months, if Chu Feng cannot become the emperor's son, I will resign from the position of clan leader. BRBR, as soon as these words came out, the elders of the direct branch immediately suppressed what they wanted to say. BRBR, the Kanglan imperial clan has a total of 9 holy sons, representing the 9 direct branches. They are all candidates for the emperor's son. BRBR, the position of the emperor's son is still pending. The real emperor's son will be selected at the emperor's son ceremony 3 months later. BRBR, even if Chu Feng becomes the holy son, he will never be able to win the position of the emperor's son among all the holy sons. BRBR, seeing that Chu Feng was so determined, Chu Feng could only take the lead and reluctantly agreed. BRBR, I will obey the clan leader's orders. BRBR, Chu Feng turned his head and glanced at Chu Feng, feeling a little helpless in his heart. BRBR, he knew how difficult Chu Feng's situation was in the Kanglan imperial clan. He had no father, no mother, and no support. BRBR alone, struggling to survive amidst the suppression of the direct branches and the exclusion of all branches. BRBR, even now that he has awakened his immortal bones and shown his astonishing talents, he is still alone and unable to gain a foothold in the clan. BRBR, since he could not directly give Chu Feng the position of emperor's son, he could only find a backer for him. BRBR, the Lixian imperial clan. BRBR, looking through the sky-reaching jade mirror, one after another stared at the fairy light phenomenon in the direction of the Kanglan imperial clan that appeared in the mirror. BRBR Shanyuanju's always calm face completely lost its previous calmness, his face turned pale, and the aura around him surged uncontrollably. BRBR, he could clearly feel how terrifying the immortal aura contained in that immortal light was. It was an immortal bone that only existed in ancient legends. BRBR, those who possess this bone are born in harmony with the great path, and their future achievements will be limitless, and they may even have the opportunity to reach the top of the legendary imperial realm. BRBR, the appearance of a supreme bone in the Kanglan imperial clan has already made the entire Lixian imperial clan fearful. BRBR, now, the aftermath of the supreme bone has not dissipated, and someone in the Kanglan imperial clan has awakened the immortal bone. BRBR Shanyuanju raised his head, his gaze seemed to penetrate the endless void, looking directly in the direction of the Kanglan imperial clan. BRBR and the Kanglan imperial clan, first someone awakened the supreme bone, and now someone has awakened the immortal bone. Are they going to defy heaven? BRBR, the expressions of several elders were solemn, and their voices were full of fear. BRBR clan chief, this vision is definitely a sign of the awakening of the immortal bones. It is recorded in the ancient books that the immortal bones came to the world, the rays of light penetrated the sun, and the immortal sounds filled the sky. It was exactly the same as the scene in front of us. BRBR, what kind of fate is this that defies the heavens of the Kanglan Emperor clan, first the supreme bone, and then the immortal bone? These two supreme physiques come together in one clan. In the future, the Lixian imperial clan may no longer be able to suppress the Kanglan clan. BRBR, the two come from the same clan, so we want the Kanglan imperial clan to completely overwhelm our 9 imperial clans. BRBR, the Lixian imperial clan and the Kanglan imperial clan are both strong contenders for the top of the 9 imperial clans. The two sides have fought openly and secretly for countless years, winning and losing, and have always maintained a delicate balance. BRBR, but now that the Chiyang Pill Imperial clan has given birth to 2 supreme physique geniuses, this balance is about to be completely broken. Brbr Shan Yuanju listened to the words of the elders, and the murderous intention in his heart became stronger. Brbr at this moment, there was a sudden rush of footsteps outside the temple. Brbr I saw an elder staggering into the hall and reporting Shan Yuanju's crying. Brbr clan chief, I have brought back the corpses of the 10 dragon guards. Shan Yuan Hong, there are no bones left. Brbr as soon as these words came out, the entire hall fell silent instantly. Brbr the people sent to kill Chu Feng all died in the eastern region. Brbr they had already noticed that these people's soul cards were broken before. The reason why they checked again was just to know who killed the 10 dragon guards and Shan Yuan Hong. Brbr in addition, I also want to bring their bodies back. Brbr Shan Yuanju's eyes fell on the 10 cold dragon guard corpses on the ground. The corpses had long been stiff, and the wounds on their bodies were all killed by one blow. The technique was extremely cruel. It was obvious that he had encountered an absolute strong man and did not even have a chance to resist. Brbr the aura around him instantly became extremely cold, and a terrifying killing intent erupted from his body, sweeping across the entire hall. Brbr after a long time, he slowly spoke. Brbr a rich burial. Brbr the elder trembled all over, cowed out quickly and took the order, and retreated with the corpses. Brbr when the palace became quiet again, Shan Yuanju once again looked in the direction of the Kanglan imperial clan in the Tongtian Jade Mirror. Brbr immediately use all the power in the clan, at all costs, to find out who awakened the immortal bone in the Kanglan imperial clan. Brbr whether it is the person who awakened the supreme bone or the person who awakened the immortal bone, they must die. Brbr if the Kanglan imperial clan wants to rise against the sky, we, the Lingxian imperial clan, will never allow it. Brbr 10,000 Demon Palace. Brbr the top force formed by the 3 imperial clans, Suenio, Taimong, and Ninetails, is the holy land of the entire demon clan. Brbr at this moment, in the main hall of the Suenio imperial clan, Feng Chenyu, the leader of the Suenio imperial clan, was standing on the observation deck outside the hall, looking up at the fairy light that stretched across the sky. Brbr Feng Chenyu is wearing a long dress with a fiery red phoenix pattern. She has a graceful figure and beautiful appearance. Her phoenix eyes are long and narrow, and she has a charm and domineering feeling of a demon clan. Brbr she is the leader of the Suenio imperial clan. Her cultivation is unfathomable. She has a very high voice in the 10,000 Demons Palace. She is always strategizing and calm. Brbr but at this moment, Feng Chenyu's eyes widened suddenly, her pupils shrank suddenly, and her face showed an unprecedented look of shock. Brbr she stretched out her slender jade fingers and pointed at the fairy light in the sky, her voice trembling slightly. Brbr that is, the vision of the awakening of the immortal bones. Someone in the Kanglan imperial clan has awakened the immortal bones. Brbr behind her, several elders of the Blackbird imperial clan also raised their heads and looked at the vision in the sky. Brbr the rays of light are accompanied by the immortal sound, this is the supreme immortal bone. Brbr what kind of opportunity does the Kanglan imperial clan hide to be able to give birth to an immortal bone owner? With such a physique, even the Phoenix Bone Saint of my 10,000 Demons Palace is inferior by 3 points. Brbr immortal bone is one of the top physiques of the human race, comparable to the supreme demon bone of our demon clan. With such a genius, the Kanglan clan will probably become even mo. Domineering in the future. Brbr Feng Chenyu's phoenix eyes narrowed slightly, and thoughts surged in her heart. Brbr the Kanglan imperial clan was already powerful, and now that they have another immortal bone prodigy, it will undoubtedly be even more powerful. The 10,000 Demon Palace must be more cautious when dealing with the Kanglan imperial clan in the future.